holds the footy up. Boy, we're going to have some fun.
The AFL in 2026 on ABC Sport.
And the siren sound. Here we go. Listen to the roar. It is showtime.
Hey, take a seat, because it don't get better than this.
Right to the goal line. Jamie Elliott, the man who gravity forgot.
That's why we love AFL football.
On ABC Sport, this is the AFL.
Sit back, relax, witness the greatest. It don't get better than this.
From 45 and rides it all the way home.
An ambitious effort. Unbelievable. The left foot is a goal.
Oh, yeah.
Take a seat, because it don't get better than this.
Robinson kicks on goal. The prancing pony.
What a goal.
He's off and running from 45 to get the party started.
Take a seat, because it don't get better than this.
It's bouncing. It's through. Bailey Smith. He'll want the cameras on him right now.
Like camera action, baby. Countdown to contact.
Spins around and buries it. Loads up from 55. That's a monster bomb.
40 metres out, snaps towards goal. What a beautiful finish.
Baker goes square, goes for glory.
He eyes the goals and sends it home.
100% pure footy. Every minute of every match, all season long.
Gathers, snaps, goal.
She's just football at its best.
Take a seat, because it don't get better than this.
Kick on goal. Dribbles it through. What about that? Took them all on and said, I'll have some of this.
Bailey pinches his pocket and bang, bang, bang. That's the price you pay against the Premier.
Watson snaps. Oh, Watson puts it through. And the Wizard arrives precisely on time. He's built for the big stage. On his left boot, his kick is good.
AFL.
Inside 50, off the step, turns and goes bang. And snap.
And goal.
There's some bravery through the middle of the ground.
How good is that? What a goal. He wastes no time. He whacks it through for another. It doesn't have to be your night, but it can be your moment. Hands it to Charlie Cameron. He can walk it in. Show him your tail lights, Charlie.
Welcome to ABC Sports coverage of the 2026 AFL Premiership season.
Runs the 50 out. What a way to finish.
On radio
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
and ABC Listen.
You take a seat, because it don't get better than this.
The Crows head to the MCG to take on the Tigers off the back of an emotional showdown win last week. Adelaide looking to face the bottom place side and gain some momentum in season 2026. Currently sitting 11th on the ladder with 4 wins and 4 losses. The Tigers will have other ideas despite a crippling injury crisis. They did topple the West Coast Eagles last week to secure their first win of 2026. Great to have your company for Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. Matt Clinch with you from the MCG as the sun is beating down. It is a cool day in Melbourne, but hopefully we get a contest this afternoon. There is a late change for the Tigers. Unfortunately, youngster Sam Grill is out. Pick 8 from 2025. He has been managed, and Luke Traynor comes in for the Tigers this afternoon. Matt Clinch calling the action alongside Corbin Middlemas this afternoon. Great to have you, Corby. Welcome.
Don't call it a comeback, Clinchy. Lovely to be here on a Sunday. Happy Mother's Day to all the mums out there, and particularly my mum, Helen, as well, as we shout out all our mums across the country. And shout out to people, too, where Mother's Day can be perhaps a more troubling day for various reasons. Maybe you've lost a mum. Maybe people were hoping to be mums that haven't quite been able to achieve that yet. So thinking of all of you out there today as well. Richmond 1-7, as you said. So finally back in the winners list up against another team that's coming off a win in the Adelaide Crows, 4-4. It felt like it wasn't that long ago that this was our grand final matchup, and yet that was 9 years ago now since they met here in the 2017 grand final. Only 3 members remain, 2 from the Tigers being Nick Vlosten and Nathan Broad. And then for Adelaide, Rory Laird is the lone surviving member of that team from 9 years ago, back out there today with obviously both teams in a very different situation than they were then, contending for premierships.
They certainly are. Adelaide, the minor premiers from last season. They get Nick Murray back in this afternoon and Jordan Dawson, the Crows captain, after an emotional fortnight for him watching in the stands for the showdown. He will line up for the Crows this afternoon. Our Sunday pairing are here and ready to go. Daniel Harford, welcome to you.
Clinchy, this is exciting. Now, I love working with you on Sundays, but when the big dog steps in, I mean, there's some...
Nice of you to say half.
There's
Don't get called the big dog. Oh, sorry.
There's some real aura that steps into the commentary box when Corbin takes the microphone and puts it on his sponsor.
He's good too.
Magnificent.
He's good too.
Magnificent. But happy Mother's Day to my mum, Denise. Just thinking, too many Helens or Denises going around these days.
No.
Just thinking that.
Yeah, unfortunately it dates them a little bit,
Yeah,
doesn't
it dates them a little bit. But Nana Niece is having a nice day with the kids, the grandkids somewhere, I think. So go get them.
I like it. Benny Cameron is missing, but Corby's brought the energy this afternoon. Bob Murphy is with you once more for a Sunday afternoon. Great to see you, Robert.
Gentlemen, nice to be in your company as always. Beautifully put, Corbin, with Mother's Day. I wouldn't want to add anything sort of clumsy on top of that. I would just take out your mother's name and just put in my mum's name. Monica. Also, not too many monikers. Not heaps of monikers getting around. But no, it's great to be here at the MCG. Another beautiful Sunday afternoon and an intriguing matchup.
If Ben Cameron was here, he would say it's a good moniker.
He would. He really would.
He's taken to the chair nicely.
Yeah, well done.
He's realising the role he's got to play this afternoon.
Back
Great to have you, Corby.
This is going to be fun now.
It is indeed.
He's in Ben Cameron mode. This could go anywhere.
This might be the loosest version of Corby we get to see, and I'm all for that. So the Adelaide Crows come to the MCG. They're probably a little lower than what their fans would have hoped to have seen them this season. Trying to build throughout the season, 4 wins and 4 losses. And yet when in the minor premiers for last year and you bow out in straight sets, it's hard to immediately start in the same position in which you finished the season, Bob. So what are you curious about in terms of Adelaide? Can they be ruthless this afternoon?
That's the word. They're a curiosity, Adelaide. I think we all would have had a crack at our ladder predictors at the start of the season. I think Adelaide probably gave me the most heartburn of just about any club. I think I ended up picking them to finish 7th, and it was really end up just like close my eyes and point at the ladder, because top of the ladder and finished well clear top of the ladder last year, and then of course we know what happened in the finals where they were just bundled out in dramatic fashion. And this year we've sort of seen a bit of both of those sides of Adelaide. They're a little bit Jekyll and Hyde. They've got a lot of talent. When they can put it together, they can make sides look second rate. They look like they're starting to find some rhythm. So we'll see whether they can show that, bare their teeth today, because the Tigers have been disappointing this year, had their win last week. Often is the way in footy half when sides haven't won a lot of footy, and in Richmond's case hadn't won at all, and then they get one.
Yep.
There can be that little exhale. The intensity and just the little attention to detail can sometimes fall away the week after. So we'll see if the Tigers can answer their own challenge. But the big curiosity for me is just how ruthless, I think was the word used there, Clinchy, of the Crows today, how they start and whether they can dismantle the Tigers quickly.
Yeah, and they're a funny team, as you say. That massive success home and away last year for them, and then the massive failure in finals. The emotion of that I still think it resonates within this group. They don't look like a team to me that believes they can just yet. Mm-hmm. Their midfield's got some issues. Their back, I quite like them, I must admit. Forward line's ever evolving, I think. Taylor Walker's out again today. So changes again. They're just not a team that looks to me to be as cohesive as they were, certainly through the home and away season last year. And for the Tigers, last week was a huge result, just to get everyone off their back. And the possibility of an exhale, it's a good phrasing, I reckon, Bob, is absolutely real. Although I'm just reading the stuff that Adam Uze's been talking about today in the paper, and even just listening to him through the week, I'd be surprised if that was a conversation that would be allowed to go on, or a feeling that would be allowed to fester through the rooms there at Punt Road with the Tigers.
We know the injury list for the Tigers. It's become quite unfortunate. They've used 36 players. They've got 16 on the injury list. Now make that 17 as Dion Prestia is out. Tim Taranto comes back in this afternoon. But it's a coaching challenge for Adam Uze to try and sell the message each week. And a win last week, snapping a 12-game losing streak from last season through this, at least gives them something to try and build on with such a young list.
Yeah, they are. They 36 players at this point of the season is far from ideal, so they've had to navigate a fair bit already. The Tigers probably overperformed last year in some ways, the Tigers, and underperformed this year, so they've had a fair bit of pressure. And I must admit, I've been surprised a little bit by the amount of pressure on the Tigers and Adam Uze at various points this year. They've been disappointing, but I think there's some logical reasons you could look to explain those away. You'd love to see them, I would anyway, I would love to see them attack the Crows today with the same sort of intensity and bravery that we saw from them just about every week last year. They would, if they lost games, it wasn't through a lack of bravery with the ball and intensity to chase and do all the hard things in footy. So that's the early question I've got of, they beat West Coast last week. Has it just taken a little bit of the pressure off, and will they have that real hunger, that real appetite? Everyone, we came to play and we'll redline it, but will they really meet the standard today and answer the bell? We'll wait and see in this first quarter.
But I think that's been the issue. You talk about the criticism early for the Tigers. I think it's been about not being as competitive for as long through games. And again, I know there's new additions to the roster, but with experience given and gained last year for a lot of these guys, to understand the level, understand the requirements week in, week out, they haven't measured up to that, which has been largely disappointing for a lot of Tiger fans, I reckon, and for footy fans. And I'm one of those. I expected a bit more of the Tigers so far this season. They haven't produced anywhere near the competition that I would have liked or expected from them so far, outside that Carlton game early, and they probably should have won that game. And maybe that changes things. Maybe they get that win early and it changes the expectation, the feeling, the vibe in the rooms, who knows. But they've been largely disappointing, I reckon, and they get a chance to against another quality team to show that they can compete. Last week was a step forward game style-wise, I reckon. The way they played, they really took it to West Coast. They took the game forward. The handball game evolved significantly throughout the contest, and they got the result and the reward on the back of it. So hopefully we'll see a bit more of that, a bit more aggression in their movement, particularly offensively.
The bottom three sides, Richmond, Essendon and Carlton, with just the one win to their name, but backing it up from week to week and trying to find some consistency is what the fans are looking for this afternoon. Or Bolter went into the ruck, then went forward. Yeah. He was one of the shining lights for Adelaide in their win over the West Coast Eagles. Just reverting back to the Adelaide Crows, Daniel Harford, Bob Murphy, Matt Clinch, Corbin Middlemas, Andrew Mays will take us inside the two rooms ahead of the game. Matthew Nix described the showdown victory as a momentum changer. 20 more inside 50s against Port Adelaide. They only took the one mark inside 50, and obviously they are very reliant on Riley Thilthorpe now without Tex Walker. Darcy Fogarty played in the sample yesterday. So the curiosity also about Adelaide is, can they try and tinker on a couple of elements of their game, given they are playing an opponent they should win at a venue where they're away from home?
Well, watching them live when they were at the peak of their powers last year, I saw them absolutely destroy the Western Bulldogs at Dockland Stadium. And the triple threat of Fogarty, Thilthorpe and Walker on that day, just with the beautiful kicking, and they are a beautiful kicking team if they're given the chance, under the roof, it was startling of just how dangerous they are. So with Thilthorpe, the loan of the trilogy today, a fair bit does, fall on his shoulders, and they're big, broad shoulders. They're capable. He's star of the competition, but he's a key for them today. And whether Isaac Rankin, whose season is building, can feed off him, it's a challenge for the Tigers.
Yeah, I'm keen to see Adelaide dominate today. I think Adelaide should dominate today. From what I've seen so far, and on the back of last week's win, I think they should have got enough out of that. Now, they sort of grabbed out of the fire late, obviously, with the drama of that finish, which was unbelievable in itself. Probably shouldn't have had that goal, the free kick against them for the push in the goal square initially. Yep, which created that opportunity. But I think on the back of that, like a real big build-up, meeting the moment and getting a big moment late in the game going your way and making that happen, I think is a good sign. I'm still a bit, as I said before, worried, not worried, but I'm just anxious about what they can achieve throughout this season. And I think that does put enormous pressure on everyone at the footy club on the back of what they did last year. So I'm keen to see them dominate today. I want to see Richmond fight a bit, but if I'm an Adelaide supporter, I would expect domination today. I expect a 50-point win.
They haven't had one of those days yet, have they, this year?
No.
So I think their biggest wins against Carlton by 28 points. They've won 2 games by 1 point, and they beat Collingwood coming from behind by 2 goals.
Was a big win early in the season. That was a really strong performance in the end.
Just to build on what you were talking about there, Half, around the pressure. So every AFL club is under some type of pressure. It's like, pick your type of pressure, but you're all under pressure. The Adelaide one, if I step back and look at Adelaide, it's one of the least attractive types of pressure they're under, because they just can't really fix it until finals. So in the background of every training session, every team meeting, every pre-game warm-up, we've just seen them out there, they play the Tigers today, there's just this dripping tap of, but it doesn't matter until you get to the finals.
Yeah.
we have to do enough to get there. But then there's the dripping tap.
Yeah, you won't
or
satisfy
the static in the background. Pick your metaphor. But it's a really long burn, slow burn, uncomfortable home and away season that they're enduring at the moment. That would be my guess.
Yep, spot on.
I reckon the other team that's going to live that pretty soon, if not already, is Sydney, where they've got this grand final scarring where you kind of, we know they can win lots of home and away games, and they're doing it at the moment, and they're playing a slightly different brand, and it looks sensational and everything else with the forward handball game. But I'm with you. I feel for those teams where it sort of feels like you can't do anything about it until you get to the spring.
Talk about shades of pressure. Well, there's shades of bravery too, isn't there? We talk about, there's the obvious go back with the flight, put your head over. Then there's the gut running, that sort of bravery. The bravery of footy teams as well is, if you want to go all the way, you have to be ready to have your heart broken. So the Crows, to face that fear, they have to make the finals and risk having your heart broken again. And for the Swans, how much do they want to get there to go to another grand final and risk having it all happen again and your worst nightmare happening all over again?
And that's such a coaching challenge, isn't it, for Matthew Nicks?
Happy Mother's Day, everyone.
Because apart from the sides beaten in a grand final, really, Adelaide is the next seat, really. The side that finished on top of the ladder, bowed out in straight sets. They make a couple of changes to their list. Isaac Rankin missed the end of last season. Dan Curtin plays his second game today, but there's not that many changes from season to season. And yet they're trying to get better this season and having an outstanding season last year and not being able to capitalise in September. So that analogy that you start at the bottom of the mountain each year and they start their pre-season again, but really for them it's about qualifying and then trying to hit their peak form in the back end of the season as opposed to the early season. So I think those numbers you made reference to, Corby, they've only scored over 100 points, the Adelaide Crows, twice so far this season. Last year, 13 times they kicked over 100 points, but only once in the last 5 games, including the 2 finals. So that three-headed monster is still a question mark, not to mention whether all 3 of them can be fit and firing when it comes to September.
That's going to be a management issue, isn't it? So we hate the management of players and in and out each week. Drives me bananas anyway.
Yeah.
But they've got Tex is a bit of a nomination there because he's 35 plus. So you're allowed to have a managed moment every now and then in that scenario. But that's why I'm worried about their forward line. It's ever evolving. The midfield is a relative concern compared to the top midfields in the competition, and their forward line's ever evolving. And I don't think, and your numbers clearly back that up, it hasn't taken too many games by the scruff just yet. So that's the challenge for Matthew Nicks and Co. And you talk about pressure and that slow dripping tap is a great visual for what they are, because there's nothing that will satisfy footy fans. Adelaide Crows fans won't be satisfied. They could win another 15 in a row. How many games left? Close enough. And they still, Crows fans will be saying, oh well, got to win a final first.
Yeah, the drip gets louder.
Yeah, still got to win a final. It doesn't actually mean anything just yet. We've qualified, but we haven't actually won a final or improved on last year yet. So it's a fascinating dimension of what Adelaide is at the moment as a footy club.
Thoughts of Daniel Harford alongside Bob Murphy, Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemas to call the action. Across town at Docklands, it's the Demons who lead the West Coast Eagles by 41 points in the third quarter. The Demons 11-6-72 to the Eagles 4-7-31. Melbourne kicked 5 of the first 6 goals of the match, and the D's leading by 41 points. We have been the Demons Sunday specials.
Yeah, I had to take my scarf off on the way in.
Yeah.
Bob had face paint on.
It took me ages to wash my face paint off. D's supporters texting me.
3:15
They're not happy either.
It's the D's.
They have been a regular on Sunday at the MCG. But for Mother's Day, the 2 games are somewhat a little bit curious in terms of how they have landed. The final member of our team is Andrew Mays, a chance for us to head inside the Adelaide camp, and he's down with one of their assistant coaches in Scott Burns. Maisie.
Thanks, Clinchy. Scott Burns joins me from the Adelaide Football Club. I want to start, Scott, away from today's game, just what happened here about 12 hours ago at the MCG. Can you believe Scott Pendlebury is still playing, considering, I think, when he made his debut, you might have even been captain of the football club?
No, I think Bucks was. It's going back even further. So I think we worked out I played about 50 games with him. So that my kids at home just shake their head and look at me. I can't believe you played games with Scott Pendlebury. And I think that's a little bit more how old I look, maybe, than how fit he looks at the moment. So they rip into me all the time. But it's been an amazing effort. He's one of those players. He's always been that professional and that committed to being such a great player, and he's done well because I reckon there was just when I was coaching 16, 17 around Collingwood, he was pretty sore in his back, so it's just been an amazing effort for him to keep going and keep performing, because you've seen this year when Collingwood have played well, he's still been a star of that team.
Seen a couple of players like that. One of them's in your side with Tex Walker. They sort of look like maybe the end was coming, but they've been able to rejuvenate themselves. What's changed, do you think, maybe in the last, 10 or so years, where we're seeing a lot of these players play deep into their 30s?
Yeah, well, I think there's no doubt that professionalism's increased over the last 20, 25 years. The other thing, you've got to be a good player, which they both are. So they just know how to play the game. They do the right things at the right time when the team needs them. And it might not be actually getting the ball themselves. They might be setting up their teammates in good positions. Tex was pretty sore, I reckon, around that 2020, around in there somewhere, around COVID. And I think sometimes we'll kick the right people off too. I mean, you might be around that 30-odd and you're a bit sore. You might cover, you might just be covering an injury. You're at 80, 90%. And the game's just so fast and so quick now. You do get exposed or you do look a yard off. But when they get over those little niggles and they get right, they've still, opportunity to perform.
Plenty of speed in the game. We'll see a bit of a pacey forward line today as well from the Crows. Tell us about the different mix in there at the moment. Obviously missing Taylor Walker today. Darcy Fogarty's making his comeback and was good yesterday in the sample. Tell us a little bit about that forward mix and what's had to change.
Yeah, well, Darcy's been out for 5 weeks and Kalachi hasn't quite been able to get it together. So they both played yesterday and got through well, which was good. So we'll keep an eye on them over the next week or two to see what we do. But there's opportunity as well. So at the moment, with Fogarty and Tex out, you've got the two Murray boys, and Nick will play up there today. And he played a quarter up there a few weeks ago against Brisbane, and he has played a little bit forward for us at times. And he's a competitor. He jumps at the ball, he launches at the ball. So if he doesn't mark, at least gets to ground for our smalls. And Toby Murray's very much a work in progress, and he's, not sure how old Toby is now, might be 22, but in our eyes he's 19, 20. He was a little bit later developer, and he's an excellent second ruck for us in there as well. And that's the difference with the big boys. The small boys are generally pretty similar. The Rankin and Rochelle a little bit more on ball at times this year, and that's given opportunities to Pedler, who's finally fit. Now, Pedler's got a lot of attributes that we love. He's hard, he's tough, he runs well. And Zachy Taylor's the other one who's come in, and if we can get the ball in Zachy's hands, he can really use it, which is, we have a few workhorses down in that forward line, but he's got that little bit of quality and class with ball in hand.
I'll talk about Jordan Dawson, but I won't talk about his situation. I want to talk about the coaching situation. What, as a coach, have you learned over the last couple of weeks about dealing with players who obviously go through something so extremely personal and tragic? What have you learned as a coaching group?
What I've learned is that when you're building a squad or building a team, and a lot of that build is on respect, care and connection, when things like these happen, we rally around each other, and we've done that terrifically well as a club. And I think if you spoke to Jordan and the family, how much the Adelaide Football Club has helped and supported them, and there's off-field people, it's not just coaches, our welfare department, our integrity officer, our footy manager and Adam Kelly, that have gone down out of their way to help out. There's things that have been done privately, whether they're phone calls, text messages, one-on-one conversations that they really appreciate, that family, but especially Jordan. He knows he feels at home here, and we say it all the time. It's not your blood family, but it is your family in so many ways. You spend so much time with them, and you go through the troughs and you go through the highs, and you've had people with significant injuries you've had to help and support. So when you've had a core group of players that have really looked out for each other for 4 or 5 years, there's no doubt that we put our arms around Jordan, and he's really not supportive, that's not the right word, but just loves the fact that we've gone out of our way, he thinks, to support him and the family, but we haven't. We just love him as a person, as an individual, so we want to make sure we're there to comfort and support.
Heard Matthew Nicks talking during the week about the energy he's brought as well, just being back and his presence around the club as well. Talk to us about his leadership on his return.
Look, he's an outstanding leader, and this is, if I just go back a little bit, just another point with his game that he came in and played against Brisbane. If you look at that game, one of the best things I saw was Tex going out of his way to give him the handball to have that shot on goal. Just those little things. Like Tex, any other time of the week or any other time of the year in a game would snap that goal. He knew, Tex knew that Dawes was there, and I want to give it to him. I want him to feel that we're with you, mate, at that point in time. And you can see how emotional it was for him. And so we have these little things that happen. That's what we all saw because we see the telecast, but there's so many little things like that have happened through the week that have helped him. But as a leader, I think the support of a Sloaney and Tex has really helped him get to where he has so quickly as a strong leader. We always thought that when we played at Sydney, we watched him pretty closely before we traded him in, and we loved his direction and leadership and voice when he was playing in the back line up there at Sydney. And look, he's a hard worker. He's not afraid to voice his opinion, but he'll certainly put his arm around blokes and support when they need that as well.
And last one, just playing at the MCG as well, the experience, you don't get to play here often, and I know Matthew Nick's also mentioned he hopes you're back here later in the year. Tell us about, you've played a lot of footy here, you've coached all around Australia. What is it about the MCG, and what do these players have to learn about playing here that might be different to other grounds?
Well, I think mainly it's if you play these big Melbourne clubs, it's the support that they get, the big crowd. But in terms of the surface and the dimensions, no, there's nothing really here that's unusual. It's not like the old Subiaco oval that was long and skinny, or down at GMHBA, that's a different type oval. So no, the oval, we've actually had a pretty good record over the journey. I think probably the last 4 or 5 years, even the 2 to 3 where we weren't going that well, we still put up some pretty good performances here against some good teams in Melbourne and Collingwood when they were up and running. So it is a ground that actually suits us. So we just love getting over here and playing on it. It is, it's the home of footy. I reckon Adelaide Oval's the home of cricket. When you go there, it's just outstanding. But when you get a full crowd here at the MCG, it's the best place to play footy.
Good luck today, Scott. Thanks for your time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you to Scott Burns and to Andrew Mays down on the boundary. It's Richmond taking on Adelaide this afternoon from the MCG. Your Sunday afternoon footy coverage with Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemas to call the action. Bob Murphy and Daniel Harford are your experts. It's a delicate conversation around what Jordan Dawson has been through for the last 3 weeks, and yet Scott made the reference about respect, care and connection to try and support players and their families as best as they possibly can. He's obviously a leader of this footy club and would love to just come in and put his bag over his shoulder and focus in on the contest at hand. But in terms of teammates and trying to support him getting back to what he does best, what's the right tone for Adelaide to try and support him as best they can?
I'm not sure if there is a right or a wrong. I think, Corbin, I think you and I spoke about this last Tuesday on the podcast. You're dealing with so many unknowns. I mean, not telling anyone that anything they don't already know, but grief will trickle along at its own pace. And when you're dealing with footballers, human beings, whatever it is that they do, whether it be work or elite sport or playing AFL footy, the tenderness and the grace is that footy can sometimes be a real balance for someone, and it can be a nice escape and just to give some sort of reprieve from the heartache. But then there's also the sensitivity and tenderness around it can also just be too much, and there's too much for one person. So you can hear in the voice of Scott Burns, and I think this is something that all footy clubs handle exceptionally well. That if to play and to train is a nice balance, then by all means support the player in that regard. And also there's no need for any follow-up conversation if the player says it's just all a bit too much for me today.
Yeah, and I hazard a guess that there's been fairly delicate conversations, sincere conversations with Jordan about how he wants this to look from his perspective at the moment as well. And he'll let them know how it needs to be for him. And does he want people up in his grill all the time? Yeah. To leave him alone, let him just go about his business, let him have those moments where this is that extra dimension to his life that nothing else can touch for those 2.5 hours on game day or training day, that this is a little window of solitude within the team environment, and maybe that's what he needs. So I'm sure there's plenty of conversations being had.
And there's a chance that those two things can happen a week apart. 1 week is the best thing he needs. The next week he feels like he wants to be anywhere else.
Out or outer.
Yep. So we'll see what day it is today for him. But I mean, I think the whole football world puts their arms around him and hopes he's okay, regardless of how he goes today.
You can hear in the background the Adelaide Crows theme song. Jordan Dawson front and centre as he, alongside Ben Keys and Rory Laird, leads the Crows through their banner. Some of the mothers and maybe the partners are in attendance as a guard of honour as they break through their banner and start their preparation at the city end of the MCG. And the jungle drums are beating for the Tigers. The late change is that Sam Grill, one of their young up-and-comers, pick number 8 from last year's draft from the Oakley Chargers, is a late out this afternoon. He's being managed. And Luke Traynor, a key defender, pick 21 in 2024, comes in.
Managed?
Yeah.
He's 14 years old. He'll be fine.
Well,
Going
it's
on.
only
I'm not satisfied with that. Managed.
It would have been his 9th game of footy, so it's not like he's played a lot this season.
What does that mean?
I don't understand. I'm not
What does that mean? Managed is not what the player is injured with. That's what the administration did when filled out this form. You managed the forms.
Especially given they named the team on Thursday, they trimmed the squads on Friday.
Yeah.
He last played on Saturday. It's been 8 days. And what they woke up an hour before the game and thought, you know what? Managed. That's the
They
reason.
may as well have just put a dash.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't bother.
Do not
Just don't bother asking. We're not going to tell you anyway. Dash.
Just go,
I think there's a room for the
No
dash in
reason
the game.
provided. Yep.
Because that's ridiculous. Like, as you say, Corbin, the timeline doesn't match up with anything here.
No.
What the hell's going on?
Yep.
Failed fitness test, or, the transparency
Well, tell us.
between club and media is not great when it's managed.
Well, fans think about
when there's no Sunday afternoon game in Melbourne, that's when I get managed at the ABC. That's managed. It's got nothing to do with wonky knees or lower back pain, although that's prevalent too. No, I am managed.
The Richmond players are coming out with bouquets of flowers.
Oh, gee whiz.
Every single one of them is walking out of the race. They've got their partners as part of the Guard of Honour as they get ready to go through the banner. And they are delivering bouquets of flowers to their wives / mothers / partners / whoever's important in their
all
life.
the Denises and Helens.
All the Denises
Monicas.
and Helens and Monicas.
Monicas, yeah.
And Denise's, yep.
Normally a post-game affair to give the flowers out, but maybe that's a sign as to Richmond might be
It's like they're the
fearing
mums.
what could happen this afternoon. So let's get out of the way.
It's a long way from nothing more tigerish than a wounded tiger.
With a bouquet of
There's
flowers.
nothing more flowery than a gerbera flower. Gee whiz.
The Gerber's in there too. By the way.
Just a horrendous flower, the gerbera, as an aside. Just don't even bother. For anyone listening, if you're going to give flowers, gerberas, put them in the bin.
You just never quite know where we're going to end up on a Sunday afternoon.
Well,
Great to have-
Well, they brought out the flowers,
Did.
Clinchy. I don't know. I need
Some
to.
hydrangeas in your life.
Yeah,
Give us
now we're talking.
Terrific stuff.
Gerberas in the bin.
Well, remember the Demons. Frank Checker-Hughes, who we talk about, obviously in relation to these two clubs, who's a premiership coach with both teams, actually served in the Defence Force, and the medal for the best player on the ground in the Anzac Day Eve clash is named after him. He's also the man who's been credited. He was a premiership coach, both the Tigers and the Demons. He was credited with changing the Demons' name. So they were once the Melbourne Fuchsias, which was a type of flower. And essentially, so the story goes, Checker Hughes got them in the rooms one day and said, I want you to go out there and play like Demons. And they thought, that sounds a bit better than Fuchsias. So then all of a sudden they became the Demons.
And the Hawks were the Mayblooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So there you go. So we did have some teams named after flowers.
Nothing more Maybloomy than a Maybloom.
Yeah, I was going to say that if she was
And for what it's
shaking
worth,
in my boots
Still
with the
fear in the
Mayblooms.
opposition. Who are you up against this week? The Mayblooms.
Yeah, the Mayblooms.
Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be good.
They've got a strong outside game.
No wonder they didn't win a flag till 61.
And for what it's worth, the partners and the mothers are chuffed, having got their flowers as they made the Guard of Honour. And the Tigers, as you can hear, have made their way out onto the MCG, led by Tim Taranto in the absence of Toby Nankervis this afternoon. There's 17 on the injury list for the Tigers, having recorded their first win for the season last week in the West against the West Coast Eagles. As they make their way into their preparations at the punt road end, a chance to go down and join them. Andrew Mays is down with one of their assistant coaches, Jake Batchelor. Maisie.
Thank you, Clinchy. Jake Batchelor has joined us, assistant coach with the Tigers. First things first, must be good coming back to the MCG off the back of a win.
Yeah, it is. It's nice to return back to our home in front of hopefully we get a nice crowd here on a Sunday arvo with beautiful weather and conditions and a strong team in. Winning's obviously great, but the exciting thing is we've treated it like every other week that we still want to get better, and it's one win's not enough for us. We want to keep putting our best foot forward and keep improving as a team, so that when our experience comes back in, and we're in a much better spot to finish off the season.
How hard is it, especially for a young group who would naturally get buoyed by a win? How hard is it to sort of keep them level early on in the week? I suppose the long trip back from Perth helps.
Yeah, it does a little bit. Yeah, we stayed the extra night just to be connected as a team, and I don't think it's been too hard for the young players, to be honest. We've got some great leadership in the four walls. They might not be on the park, the players, but shared their experiences and understanding of, a win's great, but what got us the win was our process and our ability to fight together and stay connected throughout the whole game and be on the same page for as long as we can. So, we're in a great opportunity here where we can put another good performance forward.
I want to talk about the youngsters and more from a coaching point of view as well. So we know you've had to spin the magnets here, there and everywhere with the unfortunate injury toll. But in terms of youngsters, what's your opinion on their exposure at this level? Is it good to stick in one position and play you get drafted as a halfback flanker and you play 3 years at halfback, or do you actually think it helps the development going forward, going back, trying up on the wing? What's the utmost for a coach there?
My personal view is if you're on the grass in front of 40+ thousand people every single week playing against the best players in the competition, I think that's enough exposure, and the stuff that we do throughout the week with the learning and the players that buy into their growth throughout the week is utmost important. So I think just being out here and just learning each week around whether it's reaction time or learning off one player that spit out on you that you weren't prepared for, and just being 1% better than the previous week, I think is really important. But that's one of the benefits of our injury list at the moment. We're not necessarily having to flip the magnets, but we've got opportunities for young players to be able to add another string to their bow and bring some more strengths that we may not have been able to expose if we had a fully fit list. So we're in a great spot.
One of those was sort of teaching an old boy new tricks with Noah Bolt, who's probably more of a senior member in the team, and we've seen him sort of in that slightly different role, being able to roll forward and bits and pieces through the ruck, and we know he's sort of a great utility. Tell us about his development, and obviously so good to see him play so well last week.
Yeah, Noah's easily in our top handful of influential players on and off the field. He's very important to us, and the impact that he has on his teammates is profound. And when he got given the opportunity to showcase his strengths as a centre bounce ruckman and then follow up, not just around the centre of the ground, but up forward as well in the goal square, we saw his exposure there. But he just fights and has a crack, and I think the new centre bounce rules have really helped that change in role for him. I think U spoke about it a couple of days ago. What will happen when Nank gets back might be something that we continue to look at, because it could be a great weapon for us. Our second ruck could be jumping over first rucks, which is really exciting for us. But he's bought into it so well, and like I said before, he's one of our most influential players that we want to keep relying on.
On the Crows as well, what's sort of been the main focus this week? They're sort of in a similar position, having come off a really good win last week, sort of come down from the showdown and then a little bit of a break. What's the focus for you guys today? Yeah, we need to be prepared for a really strong contest, and our mids are going to be up for a big fight early on. They've got some great mids coming back. Jordan Dawson's come back in, and they show that when they get territory and they win post clearance contested possessions, they're a really strong team. So we know that we're going to be up to our eyeballs in that, but it's a challenge that we want to thrive on, and we want to live in this space where we're prepared for it. We meet challenges front on, and we know that if we bring our best, it'll be a great game. Jake, all the best today. Thanks for your time on ABC Sport, and hopefully Tigers can put in a good performance.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks to Jake Batchelor alongside Andrew Mays down on the boundary. The crowd is slowly building this afternoon, but we're probably looking at around sort of 25 to 30,000 on a Mother's Day, which would be a good effort from the Tigers Army and for those in the travelling Adelaide Crows Brigade and those based in Melbourne. It's Richmond taking on Adelaide from the MCG. Sunday afternoon footy. The one late change, Sam Grill, is out for the Tigers and Luke Traynor comes in. The two changes for the Adelaide Crows, Nick Murray and Jordan Dawson come in for Jordan Butts and Taylor Walker. Approaching three-quarter time at the Docklands. It's the Demons who lead by 46 points over the West Coast Eagles. 13-7-85 to the Eagles 5-9-39. So for the D's, 4 goals to Jacob Van Rooyen. Paddy Cross has a couple for the Demons. Well, great to see Andy Moniz Wakefield playing in his first game in a couple of years after an ACL reconstruction. He's also booted a goal. He was the late in for Daniel Turner, while Jake Waterman has booted 2 goals for the West Coast Eagles. There was a collision from Cozzy Pickett early in the match against Jake Waterman, which will be interesting as to whether the match review officer does have a look at that. Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemas to call the action. Andrew Mays down on the boundary. Bob Murphy and Daniel Harford, your experts on ABC Sport. We're a couple of minutes away from the game getting underway. We've heard from inside both camps, and we might have the two Murray boys starting forward, Bob and Half, so maybe a throwback to the Jarman brothers when they featured in the forward 50 for the Crows. It'll be interesting to see whether Adelaide can get back to their ruthless best this afternoon.
Yes, it's a pretty high bar there for the Jarmans. Two of the most beautifully skilled players the game has ever seen.
Entertainers as well.
Entertainers as well, yeah, of course. Andrew in the long sleeve. They were beautiful players to watch. That's as close as... Darren Jarman's kicking is about as close to art as the game could ever produce.
I was at the Hawks his last year. My first year at the Hawks was Darren Drummond's last year. And just listening to him kick the football, it just made a different sound.
There you go.
I've never forgotten it. He was the only one that ever made that sound when he kicked the football.
Yep.
It was just different. He was a beautiful player.
Beautiful player. So we'll see if the start of any game is interesting, but I'm fascinated by the first 5-10 minutes here, just to see what sort of mood the Adelaide Crows are in, and just to see how the Tigers handled their first win of the season last week. Perfect conditions for footy. Absolutely glorious out there.
I wonder what the mums have done with the flowers.
He's still there.
Well, I would hazard a guess. I don't know what if the types of flowers were a mix, but what I can tell you is if any of the mums got just solely gerberas, they won't make it to a vase.
They're in the bin.
You wouldn't bother.
They're in the bin.
It is it'd be pretty inconvenient, wouldn't it? Imagine going to
Carry
sit
them
and
around the whole afternoon.
That's right, the whole afternoon.
That can't be it. I mean,
Up in the stands.
At the end of the game, maybe. Nice touch.
Trying to put on your coat.
Yep.
I'm not sure it's part of his brief, but Andrew Moes is in the front row for us this afternoon. You're also on Flower Watch, Maisie, to try and work out what happens with all these bouquets given by the Adelaide Crows and Richmond players. Good afternoon once more to you.
Thanks, Clinch. I'm more an Aga Panthers man myself.
You
Disappointed
would
not
be.
to see
That
them
works.
anywhere appearing down here. Jordan Dawson won the toss, meanwhile, and has elected to kick to the city end. It'll be interesting to see how he goes this afternoon. Nice to see Tim Taranto, the opposing captain, back in the lineup as well. Plenty of energy around the Tigers. The crowd's come in a little late here. Fair few luncheon duties for Mother's Day, and interesting to see how this young team deals with a little bit of success last week.
Thank you, Maisie. It's Richmond and Adelaide from the MCG. The Crows looking for back-to-back wins. Here's Corbin Middlemas.
Bolter went up, had a heavy landing on the way down. In the end, the Crows win it. Neil Bullen, first clean disposal, gives it to Peatling. Short kick finds Philthorpe. So here he is, the thrill seeker. He's got the footy at centre-half forward, and he can have a look from there. About 55 metres out is what he'll need. Man on the mark right on the arc.
Looks like Peatley might be given the job of running with Taranto for the Tigers in the middle of the ground. It's restart at the centre bounce. Centre start these days.
This will be a perfect start for the Adelaide Crows. Riley Philthorpe, he's got the flags on the scoreboard supporting him. The kick is online. Does it have the trip? Not quite. Bolter gets back to knock it through. So a behind to start the scoring. Rushed on the line. Adelaide one behind. Richmond yet to score. One late change. Sam Girl's out. Luke Traynor comes in. Adelaide as named.
Tom Brown looks to bring the Tigers back into play. We'll swing it out to the members' side, where Campbell is the target in a 2-on-1. Laird came in from the side. It clears to the back, and Jaden Short might run onto it. The two Crows crashed into. Hand pass away to Seth Campbell. He runs to half forward, looks up inside 50. Can't get it over the back of Lynch. In front position. It's brought down by Ball-Ace. Adelaide with a chance to try and clear. Hand pass comes out to Ball-Ace. Kicks looking for Neil Bullen on the bounce. It goes out of play, and a boundary throw in front of the Richmond bench. Adelaide are behind to Richmond yet to score.
Great set play by the Tigers, and they're kicking all the numbers. We're to the southern stand side. They kick to the members stand side, 2-on-2.
Bold move, wasn't it?
Yeah, I like it.
While at Docklands, it's the Demons who lead by 46 points at three-quarter time over the Eagles.
McAndrew gets his way to the front, palms it down. And then Ross and Keys hunt out after it. Neither can trap it. Spills to Isaac coming. Handball away towards Philthorpe for the Crows. Ran into the tackle. Got it out to Neil Bullen. He's locked up. Miller makes sure he's going nowhere and penalised, holding the ball.
Good tackle pressure by the Tigers. Early signs are good.
The Tigers going inside 50 to the punt road end. Kicks into the sunshine. Miller. Bouncing footy. Picked up by Dawson. Handball to Ball-Ace. Goes back by hand to Worrell. That's a high up and under coming out of defence and puts it out on the full.
Just getting the ball to swing. Worrell there at the MCG.
Free kick for the Tigs, and Rechko's going to take it as he just ducks out to his left and then kicks off his preferred right boot, turns it over. Laird.
Gee, it could be a frustrating day for the big forward for the Tigers. Tom Lynch, 3 times they've gone to him already, the Tigers, and each time the delivery's been worse than the one before.
So Laird goes short with the kick to Cook, the hero from last week. Long kick down the wing. Target is Toby Murray. No mark, but he's getting a free kick.
He can get frustrated too, big Tom Lynch. I don't know if you've noticed that half.
Come across it from time to time.
Sends it down to half forward. Taken there by Philthorpe. He turns, kicks inboard. Rankin takes the mark at centre half forward, decides to play on. Rankin, low trajectory, kick to the top of the goal square, trying to trap at Nick Murray, who's been named there at full forward, and a pack forms behind him. The ump says, I'll have it, and a ball up. Deep forward for Adelaide, so one behind plays no score. 3 minutes in, Sunday footy on ABC Sport. McAndrew hooks it down behind. Taranto's got to move it. Somehow got a little kick away. Tresice off the back flank, kicks down the wing. Wants Lafau, got it to him on the half volley.
It was a good take as he slides in. Hand pass away to Steely Green, tries to work it up the wing. And a nice pass to McAuliffe. And takes the mark centre wing on the members' side. Adelaide leading by a point. As McAuliffe looks up towards half forward. Tom Lynch is the deepest target, goes shorter than that, and Lafau takes the mark. He's at left half forward.
Just on their heels, the Adelaide defenders at the moment.
Lafau veers out to the right. Tom Lynch is the target, wrestling with ball lace, never got to them. Jonty Fall tries to bring it down to the front. Ross tries to get a hand pass clear. Laird comes over the top for Adelaide. Wrestles for the footy, and it's a ball up 35 metres out from the Richmond goal at the punt road end.
Now they've got a stoppage there, Bob, but I hate the kick. 3-on-2 against. When you've got targets around the arc, you can get the ball to, just own it and get a shot at goal.
McAndrew one down the tap. Steely Green trying to get boot to ball. Berry gets it out. Hand pass towards the boundary line. Pete Ling from half back kicks up towards the wing. Nick Murray crushes in to an opponent, and eventually it's Tresice who takes it back for the Tigers. Hand pass to Jaden Short. Swings it into the middle of the ground, and this might open up things, although Petrenko's dropped the mark for the Tigers. He quickly regathers in front of Cook. Hand pass to Vlosten. Sends it out wide, and Sonsi takes the mark for Richmond.
Shadows of the grandstand. Tigers home game, all in black with the famous gold sash, of course. Kicks inside the forward pocket, the intercept mark for McAndrew.
With the white numbers too, Corbin. Bob and I were talking about that before. It's difficult to see.
Yeah, the white on the yellow. It's light on light. Not so sure about that. And then Adelaide's all in white. Just a little splash of the tricolours across the front of the jumper. Bit of kick to kick here in the end. Bolter ends up with it. Goes short to Jaden Short, appropriately. He just dabs the kick. In the middle of the ground finds McAuliffe. He's a long left-footed kick as he sends a pass into the pocket. Punched away by Court, but Lynch was held. And Ball Ace just tugged his jumper, and the ump was right on the scene, so Lynch will get it. Right forward pocket, he'll kick from about 20 out.
Well, that's the benefit of giving Tom Lynch at least half a look at it. They've already had 4 or 5 opportunities to go to the Tigers' key forward, and they've been really, really ordinary passes. That time it was a little bit better. Still could be a little bit more to his advantage, but a bit of a panicked Adelaide defender.
This would be a dream start. Tom Lynch sets the tone. Knocks through the first of the day. And a veteran out there for Richmond, the oldest Tiger on the ground at 33, kicks the day's first goal. 6 minutes in, the Tigers won straight, Adelaide one behind. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Andrew Mays on the boundary.
Yeah, little injury concern for Tom Brown. He was involved in that heavy collision, and it was actually his wrist, and his arm went dead, so he came straight off. He's straight to the second row, getting that looked at by a couple of physios and the doctor as well.
If you look a bit puzzled about the dead arm there, I'm happy to just give you an example of how it feels and just the symptoms of it. But it was a heavy hit that Tom Brown got, and he's left it sort of dangling as he came off. So we'll see if he can get a bit of life back into that arm. He needs 2 of them today.
Bob Murphy and Daniel Harford with you on ABC Sport. McAndrew rises up and wins down the tap to the back to Saligo. Cuts on his right-hand side. Kicks up inside 50. Thilthorpe the target. Miller brings it down. Gets a hand pass away. Too sharp for McAuliffe. And Rankin's onto it. On 50. Kicks towards the goal square. Rochelle out number 2 on 1. And getting back, Rashenko takes the mark for the Tigers on the behind line. Richmond leading by 5 points after Tom Lynch kicked the opening goal of the match. He's had his own issues in front of goal. 5 goals, 11. As the Tigers up towards half-back. Broad back with one arm. Can't take the mark. Trying to tap it to his own advantage was Burton against the boundary line. He does get it away to Hopper, who runs the boundary line. Tries to chip it up towards half-forward. On the bounce for Tom Lynch. Gets the hand pass away. Trying to cut his way through coming. He lost the footy, though, and Berry takes it back for the Crows. The 1-2 with Keys on the Shane Warne stand wing.
What a showdown it was for him. Berry, as he looks inboard here, turns it over, and Broad takes the intercept mark. Goes laterally to Ross. Handball away to Jaden Short, runs, carries, draws the defender, gives it to Vloston. His premiership teammate, short kick, misses Burton, and Rankin on the intercept. Here go Adelaide back the other way. Short kick to Keys. Green lights with plenty on up in front, puts it out in front of Rochelle, collects on the bounce, tackled out of play. Boundary throw-in, 40 metres out from the Crows' goal at the City end. So Richmond 1 straight, Adelaide 1 behind. 8 minutes travelled opening term, Tiggs by 5.
6-4, the inside 50 is the way of the Tigers early. Adelaide had one within 10 seconds. McAndrew up against Noah Bolter. Umpire spotted a free kick for a hold, and it's going the way of the Tigers. Noah Bolter will get that. So Lockie McAndrew in just his 11th game, but a challenge against a mobile Noah Bolter, who's stepping in for Toby Nankervis out through injury. Bolter goes all the way back to the last line of defence, where Trezise has it for the Tigers. Switches it into the back pocket. They try and build on the last line of defence. Gray has it, hemmed into the back pocket. He tries to dance around. Nick Murray on the mark, gains a few extra metres, kicks a right-footed ball up towards the wing. Jonty Ford will present, trying to rise over the top of Berry, can't take the mark. Spinning out of traffic, Ross received the hand pass. He runs the members' wing, draws an opponent, hand pass to McCall if it opens up. He shoots it inside 50. It wasn't a great kick. And Cook gathers for the Crows, bouncing his way out of defence.
Goes by hand here to Berry, who turns and surge kick forward. It'll work for Rochelle. Takes the mark. Forward 50's open. Decides to dab it to the little tick lead of Pedlar, who comes back at him and takes the mark at centre half forward. 40 out.
Great forward craft by Petler there. Was leading hard back into the space. Not much the Tiger defender could do. Once he pivoted, tick lead as you describe it, Corbin, and then the kick was just nice to advantage, and did the rest.
One of 5 left footers in their team today. Luke Pedlar with the bright yellow boots on right in front, and he kicks the Crows first of the day. Straight through it goes. And the lead swings back the other way. Adelaide early doors, 1-1. Richmond 1 straight. We're 10 minutes in, and this is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. Bob Murphy and Daniel Harford.
Scores from turnover. They're what you want to get in charge of in a game of footy these days. Just that transition, that quick transition back from half back, ended up in the hands of Rochelle. It was a fortunate relative kick. Fortunately ended up in his arms, but the speed of the ball from getting the half back to forward 50 just didn't enable the Tigers to put any pressure on in the defensive 50 for them. And the little hit-up kick was beautiful from Rochelle. He knew exactly what he wanted to do, as did Pedlar. That's chemistry between the players. That's good.
6 goals for the season for Luke Pedlar. No Taylor Walker this afternoon. Darcy Fogarty got through a game in the Sample yesterday, so trying to maximise his chances in the middle of the MCG. McAndrew in the middle of the ground. Free kick for a Shepherd going the Tigers' way. And Hopper's going to take the advantage. Bursting out of the centre square. Sends it long. The foul led up. Racing back to goal was full. And in the end, Ball Ace takes an easy mark. Top of the defensive goal square. Can chip it to Jordan Dawson, the Crows' captain. Back in the lineup this afternoon.
And that's good system from Richmond coming out of centre bounce. Someone up at the leg, someone going back. That's options and system. You're creating your own space there. It's a good format. It just didn't work.
Short to Peatling, who now honours the lead of Wayne Miller. He's having a great season as he tries to wait a kick, looking for Jordan Dawson. He takes the mark, then looks to play on immediately, away from Burton of the Ties. Gets a hand pass out to the wing, where Worrell looks to send Adelaide inside 50. Rochelle's the target, wrestling with Broad. And Broad's able to make the spoil and see the ball out of play. Throw in 45 metres out from the Crows' goal. Andrew Mays on the boundary.
Confirmation that Tom Brown is done for the day as well. So his afternoon lasted about 2 minutes. It is his wrist. So obviously they're going for scans on that wrist during the week.
Thanks, Maisie. As McAndrew palms it straight down to Saligo, tumbles a kick goalward, not a lot of height on the kick, won't score, and in the end, it's going to be kept alive in the opposite pocket. Nick Murray collects, tackled, trying to shake the Gray tackle, lost. And the 50 Shades of Campbell Gray just all over the top of him. He able to win possession for the Tiggs, got it in the back pocket. And appropriately, when you carry that surname, he's got the number on his back to match. Exiting defensive 50, but turns it over, and McAndrew takes the intercept mark. Handball away towards Worrell. His kick into oncoming traffic. Hayes Brown smothers. Falls down towards Ross. He gives it off to Sonzi. Hurried kick down the wing. Ball lays hands on it. No mark. Spills to Millerer. Adelaide win it back. Worrell by hand to Michael Annie. And the switch is on all the way out to Curtin at centre half back.
Good to see Dan Curtin featuring in his second game. He chips it out into space. We're running onto it. Rankin marks. Might give it back to Curtin. Good transition for the Crows. He runs the worn wing. Kicks the ball inside 50 in the direction of Thilthorpe, but getting back. Good mark taken by Gray. He rises in the middle of the pack and marks for the Tigers. Immediately looks to switch. Back to Jaden Short. And Richmond look to build from half back. Sonzi chips it up to half back, and now a chance to try and build as Ross from left half back just tries to poke a kick over the top of Cook and finds Jaden Short. He's attacking side of the members' wing. As off a step, he tries to send it up towards Lafau. In from the side, Ball Lace trying to offer support. At the very back of the pack, it's gathered by Worrell of the Crows. Back to Ball Lace. He can chip it back inside defensive 50. And Rankin's worked his way all the way back to the defensive goal square.
So clearly a direction you'd think, what we've seen so far for Adelaide, to just try and take the ball from one side to the other and keep the Tigers' defensive system in shift mode. They're having to find a way to just cover all the ground here at the MCG rather than just the little lane down the line all the time.
So Rankin to Curtin to Dawson, the kicking game, and their best users all with it in hand as the kick goes down the wing to Rochelle. Hands it back to Dawson, drives his kick into the forward pocket. Nick Murray not quite. As it broken up late, knocked out a play by Gray. So we'll have a throw in half forward for the Crows.
So do you reckon, Corbin, you distracted me now?
Yeah, 100%. That's why he wears it.
That's why he wears it.
Yep.
50 Shades of Grey,
and he wears
number 50 because of that.
Yep. Which I actually love. It's like
Never
Oscar.
thought of that. That's fantastic.
Like
He's
Oscar,
leaning in.
Yeah.
Leaning into it.
It's like Oscar Baker wears number 13. Love it. Baker's doesn't.
Baker's doesn't.
Makes sense. If you've got a name that sort of matches a number, I'm here for it.
I'm more than okay with that.
Yes.
Risky Mother's Day gift.
I don't know.
What time are we? We're up to 3 o'clock somewhere?
Risk reward. We're working in the extremes.
The Tigers try and find a way out of defence. Richenko takes the mark on the wing, and they're out now here. Taken away by Burton. Hand pass forward. Hayes Brown gets involved. Hand pass from Taranto. They've got this to half forward now. Lafau around the body. Bouncing ball for Campbell. He's in the right forward pocket. Hand pass around the boundary line. Full dribbles it towards the goal square. Getting back. It's gathered by Taylor. He gets the hand pass away on the last line of defence. Cook kicks up to half back. Charging in. Vlosten brings it down against the Lego. Still a chance for the Tigers. Running onto it, Ross gets the hand pass away. Linkswick coming. Hand pass to Hopper. Good vision. Finds Burton. Patience from the Tigers. They have players loose inside the forward 50. And the mark is taken by Tom Burton, looking for his first goal in AFL footy.
Class from Hopper. 52 metres out, gets the ball under extreme pressure, and just had that presence of mind just to slow down, find that short little pass.
In his third game of footy, the SSE pick-up at the start of 2026. It's a not bad kick, but it just drifts left and through for a minor score. Scores are level at 1-1-7 apiece. We played 16 minutes in the opening quarter. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
His body language showed the desperation that he wanted that to go through the big sticks. He needed that moment. He was shattered.
Dawson brings it into Michael Annie, runs along the half-back flank, kicks down the wing, wanted Thilthorpe, knocked away from him. Saligo picks it up, good tackle. He's opposite number, Taranto got him. And Taranto wins possession back right on halfway for the Tigers. Hands it off to Miller, short kick to Tresice. One of 3 left-footers in the Richmond team today. And there he is. Kicks to a contest in the forward pocket. About 6 jump-ups. Spills down to Laird of the Crows. Handball trying to link up with Dawson. Unsuccessful. Clever touch on that from Ball Ace. Knocks it away to Peatling. Kicks out of defence. Cook the target. Spills down towards Sonzi, though. Tigers back with it. 60 metres out. Hands it away to Ross. Kicks to centre half forward. Intercept mark. Nice work. Keys picks it off for the Crows at centre half back. It's a tie game. 7 points apiece. 17 minutes in.
Keys to Peatling, back inside the defensive 50 to Worrell. Tom Brown for the Tigers out of the game with a wrist forearm injury following a collision with Nick Murray in the opening few minutes of the match. The Tigers 1 down on the bench. There's a late change as well with Sam Grill outmanaged and Luke Traynor came in. The Crows switch it across half back. Borlays gets it from Max Michaelani and sends it up the wing in the direction of Nick Murray. Spoiled away from him by Miller. Running on Berry but losing his footing. Thankfully had the support of Cumming. He kicks it high inside 50 looking for Thilthorpe. Presents at the front. Gray tries to tap it away from him. Hand pass from Keys into the pocket. A centering ball in the end by Toby Murray. And the mark is taken by Alex Neil-Bullen. Trainer just couldn't quite get a fist to it. And Neil-Bullen marks no more than 30 metres out, slightly right of centre.
So a lot of repeat 50s for the Tigers so far, which means all the numbers are in there. When you're trying to get the ball back in, you can't quite find the space. As opposed to Adelaide have had a lot of transition opportunities. Then they find the space, they get the ball back in the corridor to players like Neil-Bullen.
Alex Neil-Bullen, the premiership tee, comes in to put the Crows back in front. And he puts through their second goal of the match. 2-1-13 to the Tigers, 1-1-7. 18 minutes gone, opening term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. It's the Crows who lead by 6 points. Meanwhile, at Docklands, it's the Demons by 32 points. Time on almost approaching in that final term. Melbourne 14-7-91 to the Eagles 8-11-59. Daniel Harford and Bob Murphy, your experts on ABC Sport.
Yeah, it was a really nice, unselfish pass from Nick Murray deep in that right forward pocket. Didn't even have a thought to have a shot for goal himself. His eyes went straight into the corridor, and it was just a nice, sympathetic pass, really. It was just a soft touch. Alex Neil-Bullen, he doesn't miss him from there.
So Lynch kicked the first, last two for the Crows. They lead by 6 points. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Hayes Brown and Toby Murray share it down the two rucks. Berry thought he had a play on it, knocked off it. Still a loose footy inside the centre square. In the end, Taranto got his arms free. Handball to Trainer, the late inclusion to Rechko, who kicks out wide, looking to try and link up with Burton. In a tangle here with Miller. Ball comes out, says keep going. Hopper hands it away. Then the kick smothered. Ricochets back towards Burton. Burton trying to push it inside 50. Rechko's sloppy footy away to Taranto. Now to Ross. He's tackled under pressure. Handball into the forward pocket. There's only Adelaide jumpers there. Saligo to Bond. Away to Borlays. Tackled upended. Ball spills to Lynch. Centering kick to full forward. Toby Murray tries to kill it from 15 out. Whistle on the play. It's a Richmond free. And that was an ugly passage of footy, but in the end it's going to result in a Richmond goal, and that was the objective at the start.
So Bolter's going to get it, we think, for a push in the marking contest.
Ooh. It's against Michael Annie.
Yep. Didn't make a play at the ball. Jumped in his back.
Wasn't pretty, was it? Richmond just keep it moving forward. They did so through a series of handballs. In the end, they get the shot at goal that they desired at the start. Noah Bolter. He's playing his best footy up the ground, stabs it through, and the game's tied again. 2-1 to 2-1. 20 minutes into the opening term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. 13 points apiece. Just blew a little kiss to either mum or partner.
Maybe he forgot the flowers.
Or the florist. Yes.
Maybe he's making up.
Yeah. Andrew Mays on the boundary.
Yeah, Worrell wasn't part of that aerial contest there. The contest before, he just came limping to the bench, getting some work done on his ankle. Shoe and sock is off, so they're just trying to get that right before sending him back out.
Thanks, Maisie. Leading possession getter on the ground for the Crows. Josh Worrell was 6. Lance also leads the way for the Tigers with 10.
So we've had flowers, we've had kisses blown. If we get poetry written by a Tiger today, that'll just round it out nicely, I think.
Back in the middle of the ground, McAndrews rises, but it's Hayes Brown who takes it out of the ruck for Richmond, trying to get a hand pass forward. Peatling slides in, trying to wrestle it away from Taranto, and the umpire ball it up just to the right of the centre circles here in the middle of the MCG. This time McAndrew does decisively tap it down, but Taranto read it best. His kick is an up and under kick. Recho tries to knock it down. Trainer with a little kick, dribbling along the ground. Chopped off by Jordan Dawson of the Crows. Sends it up wide to Pedler. Broad just shoves him out of the way, but can't gather the loose footy. It will be a lasso free kick the way of the Tigers. So Nathan Broad, the premiership Tiger, to take it at right half back. Scores locked at 2-1, 13 apiece. His kick in ball was a little cute. Looking for Hopper. Might have been a little bumble there. He's given the benefit of the doubt.
Hang on.
Or is he? Clearly dropped it, and the umpire's now going to ball it up, realising on the big screen perhaps that there was a bubble and it hit the turf. So a ball up, centre of the Shane Warne stand wing. Scores locked at 2-1, 13 apiece.
Well, certainly it was bobbled, hit the deck. So the correct result is he's probably holding the ball because he didn't. The tackle was laid by Rankin, but he was under the impression it was a mark.
The umpire waits for the ruckman. Hayes Brown wins it down to Taranto. Tumbles a kick forward, picked off by Millerer. Half-back for the Crows. Handball to Laird, back to Millerer. And a switch play. Kicks out to the opposite back flank. Michael Annie waits for it to bounce. Collects, kicks down the wing. Good work from Taylor, who darts in front of the benches, takes the mark. A short laterally to Isaac Cumming. Lad from Broken Hill sends the kick up to half forward. Rankin can't mark, but keeps it in front of him. Darts away from his opponent. Rankin to finish on the run. That's what he can do. Puts on the jets, finishes at speed. There's very few in the game that can do that. 3-1 to 2-1. Adelaide back on top, 23 minutes in. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Yeah, it's a great moment from Isaac Rankin, and he needed it. Like, he has found the footy. That's his 7th disposal, but he had wasted a few golden opportunities when going inside 50. But in that case, well, the seas parted for him, almost Moses style. And when you got the wheels and talent of Isaac Rankin, you can almost mark it down, and that's exactly what he did. It was a class finish.
That's 2 goals from defensive 50 for the Adelaide Crows. Their ability to transition is a problem for the Tigers at the moment. 2 of the 3 from D50. Keep an eye on that through the afternoon.
Isaac Rankin with his 9th goal of the season, having kicked a goal in the showdown last week. Adelaide in front by that margin. Back in the middle of the ground. Now Bolter wins down the tap, but here's Rankin again on cue. Hand pass back to Berry. Great follow-up from Bolter. Forces a turnover. Burton dodging and weaving for the Ties. Cuts out to his right. Sends a high ball inside 50. Lynch the target. Full over the top. Knocks it down. Campbell the crummer in the right forward pocket. You know how this ends. Seth Campbell amongst the Richmond fans as he celebrates a Mother's Day special. Running deep into the right forward pocket. The perfect crumbing small forward goal. Scores level once more, and the Tigers up for the fight early. 3-1, 19 apiece, 24 minutes gone. Opening term, Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
I don't know if all of Seth Campbell's kicks sound as nice as Darren Jarman's, as you articulated pre-game half, but that one off the boot must have sounded pretty good because he liked it, the Tiger fans liked it. Tight angle, beautiful exponent of the right snap there. Gorgeous footy.
Good set of clearance from the Tigers. And I was watching him. I didn't even watch the ball as he kicked it. I was just watching him. And he just sort of took a look off the boot. And he looked at the crowd. He looked back at the goals. He knew exactly, as soon as he kicked it, that was going straight through the middle. He's a bit special, this kid, I reckon. There was
Richmond going forward again as the ball sits up in front of Green. Tries to knock it down to Lafau. Intercepted Millerer for the Crows, centre half back. Handball away to Peatling. Handball missed Bond. Has to go and get it. Off the back flank in the last bit of the sunshine as the shadows get longer, trying to link up with Berry. Unkind bounce, Floston intercepts, gives it to Hopper. Handball out towards Rechko, high up and under inside 50. Lafau somehow got a hand on it, but it spills through to Bond, and Adelaide can tidy it up again. Millerer gives it back to Michael Annie. Dangerous kick, trying to switch play to the opposite pocket, almost broken up. In the end, Adelaide calm it down as Taylor hands it away to Cook. His kick a turnover, and Tresice has got it.
He comes inboard, McAuliffe on the bounce. Tackle by Neil Bullen, needs Tresice's help. Hand pass to Gray. He can't find a way through. Ricochets back to Tresice. Tackle by Rankin, great intent. Richmond under the pump at the moment. Neil Bullen pressures it. Burton gathers. Hand pass to Floston. Get it out of here. All the way to centre half back where Miller has a bit more time. He switches across half back and Trainer marks. Looks to the outer wing. Richo leads up and takes the mark for the Tigers. He kicks out to Bolter, so this is better for Richmond. Composed after all the pressure on half forward. Down low the kick for Lafau. Good clean pick up in front of Worrell. Gets the hand pass back to half forward. Richo looks to kick up towards Seth Campbell, who marks hard against the boundary. 53 metres out from goal. Richmond's leading goal kicker last season with 28 goals. He's up to 12 this season, once more leading out in front. So he doesn't mind his distance.
There was a comparison to Nick Watson with Seth Campbell after 51 games, or it was through the week I was reading, and they're very, very similar. We know what Nick Watson's become.
Tigers would like their own wizard as Campbell tries to veer out his boundary side, gives it a good ride. It's to the goal square. Juggling effort from Lafau and Tom Lynch. Lynch in front claims the mark.
He's going back for his shot.
Off a few hands, the umpire says that he's going to ball it up. As Lynch was trying to line up for the shot on goal, umpire said, no, thank you, mine.
Slapped off the chest of Lafau with all of that. Taranto's going to get another play at it from the restart. Kick goes right to the goal line and offhands is helped through for a minor score. Richmond put their nose back in front. Ticks by 1, 3-2 to 3-1, 27 minutes in. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Voice of Corbin Middlemas alongside Matt Clinch, Bob Murphy and Daniel Harford, your experts. Andrew Mays on the boundary. Coming out of defence. Opens up play to Pedler. Adelaide transitioning around the Shane Warne stand wing. Rochelle marks and looks inboard to Curtin. Bounces off Nick Lostone. Has it at left half forward. Gestures for Neil Bourne to lead, and he does all on his own. Trezise trying to peel off to help the key defenders. And Neil Bourne marks in the left forward pocket. He's about 40 metres out from home, though.
Just a good stretch from Cumming, wasn't it? Looked like it was one of those 50-50 balls, but he was able to stretch as far as he could and get a hold of it and bring his teammates into it. And now they get a shot on goal, the Crows.
Neil Bullen already has a goal so far in this opening quarter. Tough shot from the left forward pocket of the City end. He comes in and strikes it from 48. He misses to the left-hand side and through for a minor score. Scores level here at the MCG through 28 minutes. Meanwhile at Docklands, it's the Demons who lead by 26 points. A couple of minutes to go in that match.
As well and truly in the D's keeping at half-time, so the Eagles putting a prettier face on the scoreboard after the half. Out of defence, Vlostom, long kick to the wing, but it's intercepted by McAndrew. And Adelaide might have a chance for a late one here. Looks for Toby Murray, leaps up in the pack, free kick.
Tigers.
It's going the Tigers' way. Last line of defence. It's going to come back to Vlostom.
4-1, West Coast way in the final term there, Corby.
That'll do us. So it's quarter time, an entertaining start. Our last game of round 9 in the AFL Premiership season. 3-2-20 apiece. The Tigers coming in without Sam Grill, who was out-managed, the club told us. His place in the lineup taken by Luke Trainer. The goal kickers, one each for Lynch, who kicked the first of the game, Bolter and Campbell. Meanwhile, for the visitors, Pedler's got one, Rankin and Neil Bullen. So 3-2-20 apiece, scores level, quarter time.
The Crows 4-4 throughout the season. Richmond 1-7. Adelaide trying to get their season going in 2026, but scores are tied at 20 apiece. The thoughts of Bob Murphy and Daniel Harford in just a moment. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
She's gotten worse. What's the Vanguard?
Ursula Carlson, No Filters, brand new comedy.
Contracted early onset Karen.
Ursula, streaming now on ABC iView.
This is the 2026 AFL Premiership season with ABC Sport.
Punched away by Court, but Lynch was held. And Paul Ace just tugged his jumper, and the ump was right on the scene, so Lynch will get it. Right forward pocket, he'll kick from about 20 out. This would be a dream start. Tom Lynch sets the tone. Knocks through the first of the day. And a veteran out there for Richmond, the oldest Tiger on the ground at 33, kicks the day's first goal. Short laterally to Isaac Cumming. And from Broken Hill, sends the kick up to half forward. Rankin can't mark, but keeps it in front of him. Darts away from his opponent. Rankin to finish on the run. That's what he can do. Puts on the jets, finishes at speed. There's very few in the game that can do that.
Campbell the crummer in the right forward pocket. You know how this ends. Seth Campbell amongst the Richmond fans as he celebrates a Mother's Day special. Running deep into the right forward pocket. The perfect crumbing small forward goal.
The AFL on ABC Sport.
On radio.
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And ABC Listen.
An arm wrestle of an opening term of the MCG. Scores level at 3-2-20 apiece between the Tigers and the Crows. Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemas call the action. Andrew Mays down on the boundary. The thoughts of our experts, Daniel Harford and Bob Murphy.
Well, half the game started, before the game started, actually, the Tigers ran out with flowers for Mother's Day, and then we had Noah Bolter blowing kisses. Mercifully, if anyone was worried, not that we were, if anyone was worried that maybe they were distracted and they wouldn't meet the combative nature of the game, well, I think that what we saw in the first quarter there was what the Tigers have answered the bell, and they've taken in from their win last week some intensity, and they've brought the vigour today. They've had enough of the footy. They've been intent with their tackling. They've had enough of the footy with 18 inside 50s, I think, in the first quarter to
18 to 12,
to 12 up the other end for the Crows. The quality and class, that'll be the question of whether they can maintain that ownership of the footy and be able to keep the game played in their first half. But as you rightfully alluded to, half, when the Crows were able to get it and get possession and run it through, it was a little bit too easy from defensive 50 into their forward 50. So they looked dangerous with those 12 inside 50s that they had. Phil Thorpe's been well held already, but if they're able to move the ball so easily when they get their hands on it, it could be trouble for the Tigers. But evenly poised, you'd have to say the Tigers would be really, really happy with that first quarter.
Yeah, well, I mean, talk about Adelaide's ability to transition. They kicked their 3 goals, all from the defensive half, 2 of those from defensive 50. Richmond have kicked the goals from turnover as well, although they get it in different zones. They've kicked them from centre bounce and one from the forward 50 turnover. So everyone talks about a forward half game and that type of thing, and trying to rely on your ability to transition from defensive 50 to forward 50 is a dangerous mode to want to play as your DNA. I don't think that's necessarily Adelaide's DNA, but I'm a bit worried about Richmond's capacity to snap from attack to defence. Now, that seemingly is a bit of a problem at the moment, because they're moving the ball quite well, and when they get their hands on the footy, they're 56% in the forward half, so they've had the territory advantage in that first quarter as well. But I'm just worried about them switching off when they've got possession of the footy, not really preparing to be in transition mode to defend on the way back through. That's what it looked like to me in the first quarter, and Adelaide exposed them pretty well in some space in their forward 50 as a result.
Sort of question coming into this afternoon's game, would Adelaide rock up with the right mindset, given they are playing a side who's on the bottom of the AFL ladder? The explosive pace of Isaac Rankin, the finish from Seth Campbell in the forward 50, or Adelaide happy to play this sort of high offensive, you have your go, we have our go, and see how much they might finish in front by, or do you think the coach would be keen to tighten that up in the second quarter?
It's a great question. It's a really interesting question. I would think that they would just back themselves in to be able to steamroll the Tigers, and I think they would be pretty confident that they would have a higher gear and higher intensity that the Tigers wouldn't be able to go with if they were able to lift. But we'll see. We're about to see the sides are just about to break from their huddles, and we'll see what adjustments have been made.
Look, Adamu's have been wrapped with the way they've been good around scrimmage and contest. 8-5 clearances, so +3 in clearances and +8 in contested possession, so 36 to 28. So Matthew Nix has got some fuel to have a crack at his guys around contest and scrimmage as well, that they weren't able to lift to the standard that Richmond set in that first quarter. Adamu's would be happy about that. Matthew Nix would be annoyed by that. So that's the growth for Adelaide. It's also an opportunity for Richmond to exploit their dominance around contest.
Tom Brown's got his arm in a sling, so had that wrist injury, as Maisie reported for us earlier, so that's the end of his day. He hasn't had a run at it at all. I was a little surprised he didn't start in the team at the beginning of the year, played every game last season, and yet despite all their injuries, found himself in the twos, had to work his way back in, played a couple of games, got dropped, recalled, and now he's hurt. So just hasn't had a run at it at all through the first 2 months of the young season.
He has a disposal next to his name. Nick Murray starting as a forward, hasn't touched the footy yet, and Jordan Dawson returning to the side has played across half-back in the opening quarter. Scores level at 3-2, 20 apiece as we get the second quarter underway. McAndrew wins down the tap for the Crows. Taranto goes racing after it. Spills back the way McAndrew. Kicks around his body up towards half forward. A bouncing ball. Vlosten bumps into Nick Murray, who now lays the tackle on him over the top. Has to try and knock it out. Umpire circles and will ball it up.
Gee, the Tigers have to be careful there. I mean, as good a player as Nick Vlosten is, he was under a lot of pressure there, and his teammates just completely abandoned him. He hadn't won the footy yet. It was just a bit too risky for me.
McAndrew wins the tap down against Hayes Brown. Taranto tries to get a hand pass clear. Miller chops it off for Adelaide. Hand pass through traffic, looking for Keys. Tries to slap it away to his own advantage. Tackle by Broad. Ball spills clear. Rochelle gets a hand pass away. Neil Bullen through traffic. Steadies and fires. Misses to the right-hand side. So 3 shots on goal for 1-2 for him. Enough to give Adelaide the lead by a point.
Yeah, he's the one that's causing some grief. He's a little hit-up player and ground level player for Adelaide at the moment. He's only had the 4 disposals. 3 of those have been shots at goal. Sorry, he's only had the 3. They've all been shots at goal.
Short, just taps it into the back pocket.
In for a big day if he has 25 touches. Fred Fanning style.
Here's Miller. Goes long down the wing for Richmond. Ball spills off hands through towards his teammate there in Green, who got it out towards Sonzi. Back to Green. Hand pass forward to Ross. Here go the Tigers down the wing. Sweeping hand pass finds Bolter. Waits for Ross to come with him. Gives it back to him now. Handball back to Bolter. Bolter decides to finish and misses. There's a string of handballs from the Tigers, almost the Damien Hardwick days of Richmond. That misses 2, so scores level again. 2 minutes into the second quarter, 21 apiece.
Miller brings the close back into play. Rory Landmark's in the back pocket and poke it over the top to Rankin, who runs into space. Melbourne winners by 32 points at Docklands over the Eagles. As Miller across half back, once more involved in the transition, kicks up towards Keys. Nick Flostone slides in and spoils it out of play. A boundary throw in under the Shane Warne stand side. Scores level 3-3, 21 apiece. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Coolish Sunday afternoon in Melbourne. The sun is breaking through. The floodlights are on for later on this afternoon as the ball's spun back into play. McAndrew works his way to the front, tries to drop it down. Peatling dumped in a tackle by Hopper, and the umpire circles and will ball it up.
No need for the yellow ball, though, is there?
Probably not.
Using yellow ball here this afternoon.
McAndrew down to Rankin, who bursts away with a bit of pace, pops it inside 50. Philthorpe went up one-handed, controls it at the ground off the deck, got it away to Neil Bullen, handball away to Rankin again, trying to step his way around Rechko, turns, kicks corridor, finds Rochelle, and he's running mate in the right spot at the right time, and the brilliance of Isaac Rankin leads to this scoring opportunity.
It's not a field littered with superstars, is it? And you can just see when Isaac Rankin gets the ball in his hands, he just has skills and power and class that's at a higher level than most other players out there. That was quite exquisite.
Rochelle to finish off the work from straight in front, and the kick fades horribly out to the right and behind. Adelaide go back on top, 3-4 to 3-3. 3.5 minutes into the second term. And the game that really hasn't been plugged into the electrical socket so far. It's a 1-point lead for the Crows, early doors second term.
It feels a bit like 11th versus 18th at the moment. Nick Floston brings the Tigers back into play, kicks up towards Gray. He can't gather the footy, offers the chase against Cook. Nice little sidestep. Just worked around the tall and kicks up to Neil Bullen. The lead up forward, who marks 50 out from home, out to the right. He looks into the pocket. Toby Murray, the target, can't take the mark. Getting back, train, a little dribbling kick by Keys into the pocket. Nick Murray lays the tackle. And the umpire says no opportunity for Floston to try and get it clear as he's lying face down. A bit of turf in the forward pocket for the Crows.
Nick Murray's kicked 2 goals in 75 games, playing as a forward today. And as Hopper is tackled while the ball up.
Somebody go and get that Thripney bit on the foot 50 where Cook turned around before.
Yes.
He turned on the Thripney. It was quite something.
From the ball up, going back out of play as Hayes Brown's handball's knocked out. So we'll have a boundary throw in. Forward pocket for Adelaide. And they kick into the punt road end of this second term, and the shadows are lengthening. It's winter around the corner, of course. Sun goes down early in these parts, and just a little pocket or a little corner of the ground still in the sunshine. It's a popular area too, those blocks behind the goals at the punt road end. As they get a good look at this, McAndrew grabs it out of the ruck, trying to kick it forward, only as far as Miller. He's mowed down at the tackle from Philthorpe. So repeat stoppages, another ball up inside Adelaide's attacking arc.
So this is a new mode for Adelaide this quarter. They didn't get much of this in the first quarter.
Rankin's trying to get a run at on the move. Taranto's blocking him. McAndrew follows up his ruck work and can't break through. Nick Flostone lays another tackle.
Taranto on high alert here with Isaac Rankin buzzing about.
Shelley's trying to get involved as well as it comes down his way. His kick is partially smothered, spills out the way of Miller, gathers on the goal line, trying to find an avenue out of defence, kicks up towards Steely Green. Good, strong mark. As he led in front of Cumming and tries to open up play for the Tigers. Gets it to Sonzi, kicks up the wing to Broad, who wants the players streaming past. Now he's making the case that in the end it wasn't stood by Hugh Bond, who was given that instruction by the umpire, and now a 50-metre penalty. So given the stand instruction, takes Broad from half back to half forward. Not a great kick, might work for full though, sliding forward. Can't take the mark, and Dawson gets a hand pass from Laird. Into the back pocket for Miller. Back to Jordan Dawson, the Crows captain, kicks up towards Nick Murray. In from the side, Trezise, brought it down. Late whistle. He's taken high. We'll get a free kick.
The umpires looking at each other, waiting for the other one to award that free kick. Nobody did. So the senior one stepped up.
Might be a forward now, but he's still got that ear massage as Trezise goes laterally to short. Long kick to Lynch, who rips it down in a pack of 5 or 6. And Tom Lynch with the veteran moves has got it 45-degree angle, 15 out.
Blimey, Teddy, that was a strong mark. Just stood like a gum tree in the middle of that chaos. Stuck the two branches up. Yeah, I'm sticking with the metaphor. Got the eucalyptus around it and took a mark.
Let's see how the gum drop, the ball drop goes here as the kick.
Oh, Tommy. Did it go through?
I think just. Sharon had to breathe in, but he snuck it in the near post. It is a goal for Tom Lynch, and it's Richmond who are back in front. 4-3-27, Adelaide 3-4-22. Lynch doubles up. 7 minutes played. Second term. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
Goal would have gone the oak, must admit, but Gum's fine too. Regardless, it was an outstanding contested mark. As you say, one of
and
5.
Metaphor.
Well, it's an okay metaphor. Outstanding mark. 1 of 5 in the contest. Just stood still, didn't jump. Had ball eyes on him initially and then pushed off him to create the space. Everyone came in late, but he was the one. That big, giant oak.
That's it.
Left standing.
Yep.
Still not sure that went through
the eucalypt. Big eucalypt.
Tom Lynch for the couple of goals of the match puts the Tigers' nose back in front by 5 points. Back in the middle of the ground, Noel Bolter doing the ruck work against McAndrew. Not officiated out by C. It's a free kick going Adelaide's way. Rankin held off the ball. He'll take the free kick. Hand pass to the runner. Miller off half back. Out to the wing where the run is on display. Bond kicks inside 50 on the bounce for Keys. Gathers in front of Trezise. Hand pass to Berry in the right forward pocket. Thought about the kick. Now the hand pass to Cook. Hemmed in against the boundaries. Centering ball to the top of the goal square.
Well done.
Shelley trying to shove at his opponent. But Trainer, the late inclusion, holds the mark top of the defensive goal square.
Handball away to Broad. Broad runs himself into a dead end and then hooks a kick out of defence only as far as Neil Bullen. The white jumper's back on it for Adelaide. Neil Bullen laterally to Rankin. Tried the step, mowed down, good tackle.
Not high, I reckon.
Oh, he's called it high.
Yeah, we'll go with
Ross, just over the shoulder. That's a bailout for Rankin. Ross did well to pick the body. Just got him a little high.
He has rushed a couple of these opportunities today, Isaac Rankin.
The umpire just trying to clear out Dawson, who's running around the back looking for a handball, and Steely Green, as is his right, standing right there with him. Rankin dabs it inside 50. Philthorpe hands to it, no mark. Ball hits the deck, Tigers work it out. Trainer goes back to Rechko. Has to get a little hustle, get a move on towards Ross. Handball away towards Taranto. Hand pass wide to Hopper. Now off the back flank, Lynch, very short, finds Green. And the Tigers can take a breath here. 5 points up. 9 minutes gone, second term. Richmond by 5.
A chance for Richmond fans to take a deep breath. He marks in front of the Olympic stand below us and goes short back to Nick Florstone. Across half back to Trainer. Swings it out to Nathan Broad, who can mark it left half back for the Tigers.
It's got the outnumber on the wing here, the Tigers. If they can make it work.
Richmond by 5 points as Short runs into space and gives it back to Broad at full stretch. He ran a long way and then does get a bounce as he kicks up towards the 50. Falls up against a couple, brought down by Max Michaelani. Running onto it, Miller. Hand pass to Worrell. Hand pass to Laird, all in tight confinement. He shows good patience just to chip a ball to Cook, who marks it right half back for the Crows.
Of course, the hero last week, Braden Cook, he's going to get 50 here as well. Probably missed in all of that. He actually had a career-high disposal count for the night, had 21, kicked a goal, which was a pretty memorable one at that.
A big one, yeah. He's a fine player,
isn't he?
Yeah, I really like him.
Good user. Kick of the footy, comes across the centre square to Curtin. Short kick, finds Pedler. And he marks, and it's this situation where there's two guys in the protected zone. No one knew who to stand. They both just stopped still. And Pedler's able to poke the pass over the top to Philthorpe, who runs into the vacant space.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point. The confusion of the stand rule for which player was responsible for standing left a big hole just on the defensive side of the mark. And Philthorpe couldn't believe his luck.
Yeah. Sonsi and Rechko, so they're both standing there thinking, do I have to go? No one wanted to move, and the leading lane that presented means Riley Philthorpe gets this look at it. 40 metres out, just left of centre, starts the kick to the right, can't bring it back at all. In the end, he's lucky to sneak it through for a behind. Richmond by 4, 4-3. Adelaide moved to 3-5, 11 minutes into the second.
That's two that have drifted significantly to the right to this left-hand side of the punt right end of MCG. Maze, there's no breeze, is there?
Absolutely none, Harf. So, no, they can't use that as an excuse.
Oh, no, just a couple of shanks.
Jaden Short brings the Tigers back into play. Long kick up to the wing. As we welcome listeners from Melbourne and the West Coast Eagles to the MCG. It's the Tigers lead by 4 points. Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemas call the action. Andrew Mays on the boundary. Daniel Harford and Bob Murphy, your experts. Scores were locked at 3-2, 20 apiece at quarter time. An arm wrestle between the bottom place Tigers, who got their first win last week against the West Coast Eagles. Adelaide, the minor premiers of last year, 4 wins and 4 losses, trying to get their season going. Berry tackled, brought down by Taranto. No whistle for holding the ball. Getting back Ross. He's had a good start for the Tigers, position number 13. Hand pass to Vlosten, kicks it up the wing. Max Michaelani shoved out of it by 4. Legally, says the umpire. He kicks up towards Lafau. He hugs into his chest at right half forward. Has the run of Campbell inboard. He links up over the top. Steely Green looks to centre it unselfishly.
Good footy.
Finds the player Tyler Swansea. He thought about the hand pass back to Campbell. He's played on, has he? No, umpire says he hasn't. He was ahead of his mark, so there was confusion left, right and centre. I'm sure Adamuse would be ripping at his hair, thinking just kicked the goal.
Oh, goodness me. Adamuse would have just swallowed his tongue just then. The panic.
All's well that ends well if Tyler Swansea can do the deed from directly in front, 35 metres out, looking to finish the work for the Tigers, and he does so. Richmond extend their lead out to a 10-point lead, the biggest lead of the match for listeners that have just joined us. Been a goal apiece either side for the first sort of 45 minutes of the match, and Richmond leading by 10 points at the 13-minute mark of the second term. 5-3-33 to the Crows, 3-5-23.
It's a bit of a moment for the Adelaide Crows right now.
I couldn't agree more.
You're playing the 18th team in the competition. They've won 1 game for the year, the Tigers, and that link-up play there, it was a little bit like captain's run 2 days before the game where you got the witches' hats out and you do as you please. Well, the Tigers just did as they pleased there. They just ran and waltzed the ball all the way through with running hands and enough space and enough skill. The Crows are 10 points down. They need to respond here.
Last 3 in the game for Richmond. Either side of quarter time. Bolter leaps up, palms it down. Taranto. Was he held without it? There was a whistle. The umpire said yes, it's coming back. And the acting captain for the Tigs will get it middle of the ground. Sam Gorilla laid out. Pick 8 in last year's national draft. His place taken by Luke Traynor.
What reason, Corbin?
He was managed.
Managed, of course.
8-day break coming back from Perth. As Taranto sends a kick out to half forward, leaping for a Bolter, no mark, spills down towards Fall. He dishes a hand pass off to McAuliffe, kicks to full forward. Lafau had a hand on it, not to be. At the drop, Bond gives a handball away to Worrell, short kick to Pedler, and marks at half back. So 5 lead changes, as Clinchy said, it's been close throughout. A goal either way for most of the proceedings, and now Richmond with the last 3 lead by 10 points, 14 and a half gone second term.
Crows switch to the back pocket. Rory Laird looks to play up towards Curtin, who marks at right half back. Second game of the season for him. Called to play on. The kick up the wing in the direction of Taylor, who marks under the Shane Warne stand side. Just a bit of sun poking through here at the MCG as he wants to swing it in the middle of the ground. Jordan Dawson, who's played across half back this afternoon, comes into the middle of the ground with a kick that finds Pedler. He wants to move it. High ball in the direction of Thilthorpe. He works Miller underneath it, and then Miller makes the spoil. Pumped away by Traynor, straight into Red Show's path, and in the end it's Cumming who gets a hand pass back to Miller. Tigers out of defence with a searching kick up towards Swansea, who pulls in a one-handed mark. Richmond's confidence is starting to rise.
A couple of big moments here from Miller, and the good one-on-one
he has
win against Thilthorpe. And then a beautiful execution of defensive 50 exit.
Tiggs is switching play, so they're going to come out the northern side. Also earlier, Tom Brown, his day didn't last long. He's got his arm in a sling out of the match with what has been reported as a wrist injury. Vlosten off the back flank, goes long down the wing, and Dawson takes the intercept mark. And most importantly, Bob, the Tigers ran out on the ground as all as one.
Yes.
Carrying
flowers.
Yep. Bunch of flowers to give to their partners and loved ones as they made their way out. Not the ferocious start we're used to seeing for a football team burst onto a ground. Berry's handball away to Laird. Long kick to centre half forward. Spills down towards Traynor. He's tackled. Ball bobbles out. Says play on. Taylor grabs it. They got him, and a ball up centre half forward for the Crows.
But in fairness, the biggest revelation today is that Campbell Gray wears number 50 because there are 50 shades of grey. We weren't aware of this. You were across this.
I was. Now you're fully caught up. You've missed nothing.
You've missed nothing.
That was some of Corby's best work.
Although the disdain for the Gerbera from Bob
yes.
was evident early.
Oh, it's a dreadful flower.
0437 774 774 if you want to join us throughout the afternoon.
If you sent your mum gerbers today for Mother's Day, hang your head.
Hopper tries to clear it for the Tigers.
Shame.
As far as lead for Adelaide, hand pass to Miller, a kick smothered, spills out the way of Shelley, can't gather for the Crows. Too slow, reeled in and brought down. A great lunging tackle from Curtin and wins the free kick for the Adelaide Crows, and that's the sort of desperation Matthew Nicks would be pleased to see. Just a little lackadaisical this afternoon, and Dan Curtin in his second game for the season, a chance to bang through his first goal of the season.
So their forward pressure's been all right in this quarter. Richmond done a really good job to find ways through a couple of times, but they're putting a lot of pressure, a lot of heat on Richmond when they are trying to exit D50 at the moment. They get their man there. Well done, Dan Curtin, but that's been a positive for them, I reckon, this quarter.
He's had a frustrating off-season with injury, trained with Jordan Dawson in the midfield group, trying to build up his kilometres. A chance for his first goal of the season, close to the man on the mark from 48, but sends it straight through the middle. Adelaide have their first goal of the second quarter, breaks a run of 3 consecutive goals for the Tigers, and the margin is back to 4 points Richmond's way. 5-3-33 to the Crows, 4-5-29. Daniel Harford and Bob Murphy, your experts on ABC Sport.
Well, I think it was your call earlier, Corbin, where you said the game didn't exactly have electricity injected into it. And when the deficit got to 10 points for the Crows, it was a bit of a moment, and it still is a bit of a moment. But the chase-down tackle of Daniel Curtin there, and then the finish from right on 50, that's the sort of intensity and quality that you would expect from an Adelaide team that finished top of the ladder in last year's home and away season. We haven't seen enough of that this year or today in particular.
Back to 4 points, Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Ruck Shearer down, comes to Hayes Brown, and he's tackled by Peatling. Big boy, Ollie Hayes Brown, the former Wildcat. Perth Wildcat, that is, 208 centimetres, tallest Tiger of all time. Basketball background. As McAuliffe grabs it, he's tackled, dispossessed. Saligo takes the advantage, gives it off hurriedly. Kick comes inside the attacking arc from Taylor, slips out the back door. Nick Murray's onto it. Nick Murray goals. Adelaide in front, and the defender turned forward for just the third time in his 75-game career, finds the major opening. Adelaide by 2, and so much for Richmond's little purple patch. That's over. They now trail 5-5 to 5-3. Crows by a couple. 19 gone in the second. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Yeah, I know it was a free kick and a quick exit from the centre bounce, but you can't underestimate the impact of Dan Curtin's tackle in all of this.
Yeah.
And the resurgence and the energy that brings to your team for Adelaide. It was a nice finish in the end. 2 Richmond defenders went up and weren't able to bring the ball to the front of the contest, spilled to the back, and Murray found his way, which is pretty straightforward in the end. But I just reckon that Dan Curtin moment is going to be, or could be, quite significant.
It was a pretty awful attempt from Nathan Broad. He's a good player, Nathan Broad, but he's had a couple of moments today, and that was an attempted mark that he just had to either take or bring to the front.
Bob Murphy with you on ABC Sport. Hayes Brown tries to get a hand pass to McAuliffe, taken high. Free kick going the way of the Tigers in the middle of the ground against Berry. So good involvement from Zach Taylor, getting a clearance for Adelaide in that last goal. McAuliffe veers out to the left, drives Richmond long inside 50. Where's Lynch? He's got 2 in the pack, can't take the mark. Trying to juggle it, Dawson off hands. He's tackled immediately by Lynch. The umpire will ball it up 30 metres out from the Tigers goal. The city end of the MCG. Adelaide last led at the 23-minute mark of the opening term. Lynch does the roving. Hand pass to McAuliffe on the left. Tries to curl it through. Misses left-hand side. It's a 1-point lead the Adelaide Crows way. Time on second quarter.
There's another one. McAuliffe off a career high. Had 28 against West Coast last week. Led out of defence. Kicks up to the wing. Punched away by Broad at the drop for Loston. Toby Murray tackles him. Ball comes out. Picked up by Broad. Richmond back with it. Was he taken high? Yes. Second man into the tackle, Keys over the shoulder. So
he gets the free kick there, Nathan Broad. He just looks a bit unsure of himself today, Nathan Broad. Even that spoil, I usually see him go back and have the confidence to mark that footy.
Shares it with Short, and then a little kick finds Hopper in the same spot in front of the benches. Hopper with it. Richmond with possession, Adelaide with a 1-point lead. Time on in the second term. Kick goes down to a contest involving Lynch. Spills front and centre to Green. Did the tackle get a little low? Umpire said no, and no prior, so a ball up. Half forward for Richmond, 52 metres out from their goal at the city end.
A replay showed that was the right call from the umpire on the thighs by Jordan Dawson.
Footy was the winner there, wasn't
Absolutely.
it? It was a great front and centre take, but the tackle from Dawson was equally as impressive.
Steely Green has a bit of the Tom Papley's about him. You'd love to play with him, not against him. McAuliffe drives it inside 50 for the Tigers. Balled away by Peatling. Here's Seth Campbell, one way then the other. Centering ball to Green. Is that 15? It is.
Not even close.
Not even close.
The umpire believes so, despite the thoughts of our backbench.
Not a chance.
About 8.5.
Like, you take the win if you're the Tigers, don't worry about it, but there's not a chance that went 15 metres.
Judging by the line markings and the cutting of the grass, it looks like it's barely 10. I've got to
Closer
agree
to
with
a smother than a mark.
Steely Green will take it, though. 3 disposals so far for the match. 3 kicks, I should say. They're looking to make one of them a goal as it comes in to return the Tigers to the lead from 40 metres out. He celebrates with his forwards. And Richmond once more continue to fight in this Sunday fixture at the MCG. Tigers by 5 points, 6-4-40 to Adelaide 5-5-35. 7th lead change of the match. Plenty of thoughts coming through on the SMS 0437 774 774 with Bob Murphy and Daniel Harford.
Well, we asked at the start of the broadcast today, pre-game, for Richmond to show us they were prepared to compete again. They had the win last week. It's been a challenging year for them. I don't reckon personally that they've been in games often enough, long enough so far this season outside of last week. So this is a really good sign. To back that up with a really competitive effort. Now, we're not even halfway through yet, but this is a really positive sign. They were challenged before. They've hit the lead. They've held onto a lead. They've a couple of goals against them, and they've gone again. So this is a positive afternoon so far for Richmond. The challenge is going to be to stay with it for the entirety of the match.
3-2 in the quarter, Richmond's way. Back in the middle. Both rucks miss it completely. Comes down towards Ross. Surge kick forward for Richmond. High up and under inside 50. Lafau competes. 2 Crows collide. Heavy landing in all of that for Worrell. Ball sits up for Sam Cumming. Kicks into the forward pocket and it's helped out by Ball Ace on the bounce. So a throw in forward pocket for the Tigs. And Worrell's back on his feet, jogging back to the defensive goal square.
Yeah, Lafau's got a presence.
He's lively, isn't he, Lafau?
Richmond by 5 points. Forward 50 stoppage for the home team. Spills down off the hands of McAndrew to Campbell. Campbell caught holding the ball. So it's going Adelaide's way and a free kick to Bond. Had a bit of help from McAndrew in the tackle. Free kick for Adelaide, full back.
Tigers with 3-2 in this second quarter. All the way back to Worrell. Last line of defence and now to Rankin.
Don't mind that from Campbell. So he hits the ball at speed, takes them on, gets tackled, holding the ball. He's the type of player, if I was coaching him, he'd say, I don't mind that happening once or twice a week. I want you to just take the game on so that they have to bring you down with great tackling like the Crows did in that instance.
Rankin to Cumming up towards half forward. Pedler competes. The hand pass from Peatling chopped off. Redshow gathers for the Tigers. Hand pass to Hopper underground. Hand pass back to him. This is good transition. Hand pass away to Flosson into the middle of the ground. Short. Almost corralled. Hand pass to Gray. Side step from the big player. Once and twice around Nick Murray.
Nose.
They've got a bit to show the Tigers. The 50 shades of Campbell Gray there, Corby, as Trezise through the middle of the ground. Hand pass away to Short. Cuts one way, then the other. He sends it out to the wing, and a chance to try and build here as Trezise just calms things down.
I've never read the book. What's it about, Half?
I was going to say, it feels like an After Dark special.
Oh, I've heard something about a washing machine. I don't know.
Don't continue.
It's Gray right in the middle of the ground on cue. The number 50 on his back, kicks to full forward, hands on it from Ball Ace. He's pushed off it, spills out Adelaide's way. Bond got a little hand pass in all of that to Laird, and then a huge crunching tackle holding the ball. 2 Tigers came in. Isaac Cumming tried to take him on, and again your man Lafau's involved. Got a bit of help from Ross, ripped to the ground, and a free kick from McKelty Lafau. Centre half forward, 30 out.
Yeah, he's got a bit of something today. He's really vibing, as the kids would say these days.
They do. Yep.
Strong tackle. They do say it. And McKelty is living it this afternoon for the Tigers.
Would you say he's got a bit of Riz, Half, or would that be just a bit too much?
No,
too far?
I think he's a bit skippity.
Lafau. Vibes are high. Knocks it through. And it's the Tigs by 11 points. Richmond 7-4-46, Adelaide 5-5-35. We're 26 minutes into the second term. It's a Sunday footy on ABC Sport, and Richmond are giving last year's minor premiers all they can handle.
Just the reaction time from Lafau as a forward, young forward in the game, and the appetite and the reaction, the want to get that tackle. It wasn't classic technique. It was more about will than anything else, and grip and grit.
Also, how do you guys know what the kids are saying these days?
Well, we're Sigma, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Not sure what that means, but my son still says it.
We've worked out how to use the AI.
That's a more logical answer.
I call it sound younger.
Richmond by 11 points. Last 2 goals of the match. Berry out of the middle of the ground. Half pass to Rankin. Break glass in case of emergency. Inside 50. A bouncing ball for Thilthorpe. Can't gather. Half pass chopped off in the end. Trying to get it forward. Curtin and the Tigers defence lock it in. Jaden Short offering good support to Luke Traynor on the bottom of the pack. And getting up, Saligo gives it back to the umpire. 35 metres out from the Crows goal at the punt road end. McAndrew over the back, trying to knock it down to Curtin, spinning, tackle, dispossessed, no whistle. Taranto on the bottom of the pack, tries to knock it out. Traynor competes against his fellow midfielder and Hopper. Tries to get a hand pass clear. It's desperate for Richmond in defence. And the umpire will ball it up. Only about 40 metres out from the Crows goal. The Tigers by 11 points.
Teased by 32 in the earlier fixture over the West Coast Eagles. Only 2 games. Sunday of round 9, so this is it for the round as Rankin, first disposal at the restart, handball to Berry in the pocket, snaps from a tight angle but misses near side. Behind, Richmond by 10, 28 minutes gone in the second term.
The voice of Corbin Middlemas alongside Matt Clinch with you. Andrew Mays down on the boundary. Bob Murphy and Daniel Harford, your experts on ABC Sport. Lots of correspondence around Flowers, Bob, as he threw out the question. Traralgon Tiger asks if gerbers are appropriate for a gravesite. I'm not sure that's exactly the tone we're going for. Pete in Ballarat wants to know what if gerbers are the only one left at the servo. You're trying to do a mad dash.
No, well, you just got to cop your whack and you didn't get there in time. That's on you.
Right. Tigers, I don't think have gone anywhere, have they, Corby? As Trezise and Short have shared it in the last line of defence. Up towards Lafau, caught behind. McAndrew brought it down. Rochelle with a hand pass back to Jordan Dawson, and he's going to switch it across half back. And Adelaide with a chance to try and build as Borlase marks. Swings it out to the run of Cumming. He marks it right half back on the Shane Warne stand side. Better movement now. The kick out wide for Taylor. And Zach Taylor has it at right half forward for Adelaide. They find themselves 10 points in the rear after the Tigers have shown plenty of fight. 4 goals to 2 in this second quarter.
Navigated it beautifully, Clinch. There was absolutely nothing happened. 3 times they kicked the ball to each other on the last line. Short and Trezise just waiting for someone to come at them as Dawson sends a kick down to half forward for the Crows. Tried to sell a bit of contact from Lafau. It wasn't forthcoming, and McAuliffe takes the intercept mark for Richmond. Short to Seth Campbell. The Tigs have led only once at halftime this year, and that was last week against the Eagles. And they're in front here with the seconds ticking down on this first half of footy. Long to a contest on the wing. There's a free kick for an illegal block. And that'll do us. It is halftime at the G, and Richmond playing from in front. The home team 7-4-46, Adelaide with work to do 5-6-36. It's a 10-point buffer for Richmond at half time. And the fans that have rolled up on this Mother's Day, there's plenty of footy mums out there, don't worry about that, they're all here, and the Richmond fans are enjoying what they've seen from their team. A very sober understanding of where this team's at, heavily in development mode with an injury list as long as your arm, and yet they've shown plenty of fight. They won the quarter 4 goals to 2. They lead the game by 10 at half-time. The goal kickers, Tom Lynch has got a couple, 1 for Bolter, 1 for Sonsi, Lafau, Campbell and Steely Green. They're the 7 goals for Richmond. Meanwhile, for Adelaide, 5 individual goal kickers, Curtin, Nick Murray, Pedler, Rankin and Neil Bullen. Richmond by 10 at half-time.
As Corby told you, just the second time the Tigers have led at half-time this season. Last week against the West Coast Eagles. The thoughts of Bob Murphy and Daniel Harford.
Really impressed by the Richmond Footy Club today. The Crows have got a bit of work to do. The margin is certainly not at a stage that they won't be able to reel it in. It could be, 5-10 minutes of good footy in the second half of the Adelaide Crows. But I've just loved the appetite that the Tigers have shown. They've been challenged a couple of times themselves, but they look connected out there. They look like they've played with intensity. Their appetite to defend and get after loose balls has been really noticeable. And I think they look dangerous enough when they go forward. Bolters look dangerous. the big fella, Big Tommy's looked really dangerous. And Lafau, he's a better player than I realised. He looks lively. He's unsettled the Adelaide Crows defence, and they are currently asking Adelaide the question of how much do they want it. If they thought that they were just going to roll into the MCG and dismiss the last place Tigers, well, they had another thing coming. And this second half is a real moment for the Adelaide Crows Footy Club of what kind of footy team are they? They're currently 11th, finished last season on top of the ladder, as we've talked about quite a lot, but it's fair and reasonable. This is a side that went into last year's final series as an absolute contender, and they're currently being challenged by the side that's sitting last on the ladder, and they look like they want it a little bit more than the Adelaide Footy Club at the moment. So a lot of big questions for the Adelaide Crows in this second half. The Tigers, well, they're the ones giving us all the answers at the moment. They've got a bit of work to do to finish it off, but at the moment couldn't be more impressed with how the Tigers have attacked this Sunday afternoon game.
Give me the RFIs on Matthew Nix's whiteboard. What's he looking for, or what areas is he looking for significant improvement after half time?
You know, I think it's actually across the board. So it's a bit of general. So I would simply ask a big, broad question: how much do you want it? How much do you want to defend? How much care do you want to have with the footy when you kick it to your key forwards? Because at the moment, it's just a bit...
it's a bit through the motions.
It's a bit through the motions. Yep. There's lethargy to it. There's a bit of, someone else will do it. Isaac Rankin will do it. Riley will do it. Well, guess what? They're currently not doing it. And Richmond, it's a classic example of Richmond have got 23 out there, and the Crows are, if I have to. Will you do it? Let's see how it goes. If you don't, I will.
That great intangible of sport, where you feel like, if we improve 20%, we'll catch them. But then you breathe life into the opponent, and they improve 20%,
and then you get a little bit of rub of the green. You know, the short kick's paid as a mark.
Yeah.
That was unlucky. Well, yeah. But that's what happens in sport.
When you're chasing the game and you let a team back into it.
You leave the door ajar, and at the moment, the Tigers, they're not thinking, do I have to? Will I? Maybe. Will Tom do it? No, they're just like, just jump in and do your bit.
Walking through the door with the flowers is what they're doing.
Well, do you know what? Let's go with the flowers if they can finish this off, they can go 4 quarters. It could be, don't worry about Mother's Day. Every weekly tradition. Come out with the flowers, as long as they're not gerbras.
Until we lose. That's coming through loud and clear on the SMS. 0437 774 774. What's Murphy got against gerbras? They're a colourful flower.
It's little kid stuff.
Yeah. Do you know what,
they're flowers for toddlers.
I'm not the best.
Nothing against toddlers.
I'm not the best speller at the best of times.
Okay.
But in a spelling bee on plants, I'd be awful. Like gerbras and hydrangeas, and I have no idea where to start. I'd be throwing vowels all over the place, hoping that I'm somewhere close.
If it was a spelling bee and they were offering categories, you wouldn't pick floral and fauna, would you?
And then even when you see it written, you go, that can't be right.
Yeah, that's not it.
That's not it.
Why is there a D in there?
0437 774 774. Gerbras for the cranky mother-in-law who dislikes her daughter's husband.
Wow.
Yeah, see, there could be subtext in the gerbras. I don't know.
Grant in Hobart, bloated, full of food after Mother's Day lunch and loving it, sitting back listening to the footy. Where have you guys been? Well, we've been calling here all afternoon, but for audiences that came from Docklands, Melbourne, 32-point winners over the West Coast Eagles, 15-9-99 to the Eagles, 9-13-67. So a bit of mayo put on the end by the West Coast Eagles, who claimed the bragging rights in the final quarter with 4-2, but Jacob Van Rooyen booted 5 goals for the Demons in their victory. Just a reminder, every game available on ABC Listen. If the game you're wanting to hear is not on your radio, you can just download that for free and click on either the ABC AFL button or the AFL Extra button, and each game is covered. Half-time here at the MCG. It's the Tigers who lead by 10 points over the Crows. Let's bring you the latest from the ABC newsroom.
This is ABC News with David Rowlands. One Nation leader Pauline Hanson says her party has proven everyone wrong after winning its first ever lower house seat in federal parliament. Candidate David Farley leads the count for the seat of Farrer by around 14,000 ballots, with more than 80% of the votes counted. The Liberal Party has admitted it needs to adapt to gain government again after losing the regional New South Wales seat that had been held by the coalition for almost 80 years. Hanson says it's a resounding result.
No one ever thought that we'd break the ceiling of winning the House of Reps seat. Well, we've proven yesterday we can. It wasn't just a fall over the line, we won it resoundingly. And when you look at the Liberal Party's vote and the National Party vote between both of them, I think they got 23%, the Libs are down to 13%. That's a clear indication they're on the nose with the people.
Victoria's Labor government has also taken a swipe at the coalition after the Farrer by-election result. Victorian Minister Melissa Horne says it's a massive blow to the Liberal Party.
What you saw in the Farrer by-election and also the Nepean by-election is a complete collapse in the Liberal vote. That is because people can actually see through what the Liberal Party is offering, which is nothing but division and cuts in Victoria.
The Financial Times newspaper is reporting that Germany is reviving efforts to buy Tomahawk cruise missiles from the United States. The report says it hopes to persuade the Trump administration to agree to the sale of the Tomahawks, together with their ground launchers. There's no comment as yet from Berlin or Washington on the report. The reported move comes in the wake of a recent spat between US President Donald Trump and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. The European Union's Public Health Agency says everyone on board the cruise ship hit by the deadly hantavirus outbreak is being considered a high-risk contact as a precautionary measure. The Dutch-flagged MV Hondius is now off the coast of the Spanish island of Tenerife, with plans underway for passengers to be disembarked securely and flown out on charter flights. The BBC's Sarah Rainsford has more from Tenerife.
This is a complex operation involving more than 24 countries. It'll be managed by medics and officials in protective masks. The hantavirus is carried by rodents and not normally transmitted between people, but 3 died on the Hondius and several people have been infected. At the isolation unit of a local hospital, an emergency care bed has been made ready should anyone else fall seriously ill. But for now, no one's showing any symptoms. This ordeal won't end once the passengers are on shore. The hantavirus has an incubation period of up to 9 weeks.
And the Hondius has now arrived at the port of Tenerife. Back home, and it's been revealed a youth detention unit inside a Perth maximum security adult prison sat empty for at least a week. State political reporter Kian Burke has more.
It was revealed in Parliament Unit 18 Casuarina Prison had just one young person in it for the last full week of April and none the week after. It had been built as an adult prison but was hastily converted to house young people in mid-2022. Inspector of Custodial Services Eamon Ryan says with the adult prison system over 100% capacity, it's time for a rethink.
It seems a terrible waste to have that facility sitting there with no one in it at a time when you have men sleeping on a mattress on the floor in a cell occupied by 2 other people.
The Justice Department says it needs a second detention option away from Banksia Hill Detention Centre to safely manage young people until a new under-construction facility is opened.
Lifesavers are warning of the dangers of rock fishing after a man drowned on the New South Wales Central Coast. Nandi Nadir has the story.
The 41-year-old was swept into the sea off Snapper Point at Fraser Park yesterday afternoon. One of the 2 men he was fishing with tried to save him but couldn't. The man's body was located and winched by helicopter. Police say he had a flotation device. Surf Lifesaving New South Wales say the death is the 54th coastal and ocean drowning in the state so far this financial year. Of these drownings, 10 have happened at rock platform locations.
In sport, Wellington will meet Melbourne City in the A-League Women's Soccer Grand Final after the Phoenix downed Brisbane 2-0 in the second leg of their semi-final in New Zealand. Trailing 2-1 from last weekend's first leg, Wellington's Michaela Woods struck late in the first half to level the aggregate score. With neither side able to break the deadlock in normal time, Woods pounced on a mistake from the Raw defence to prod home her second of the afternoon in the 102nd minute. The Grand Final will be held next Saturday in Melbourne. ABC News.
Get your documentary fix on ABC iView.
We have an industry that's just running riot.
Like Sean McAuliffe's Going for Broke.
Last spin, come on.
Todd Sampson's Why.
The best things in life are on the other side of fear.
And more. Streaming now on ABC iView.
This is the 2026 AFL Premiership season with ABC Sport.
Just Trusaisko's laterally to short, long kick to Lynch, who rips it down in a pack of 5 or 6. And Tom Lynch with the veteran moves has got it 45-degree angle, 15 out. Just. Sheeran had to breathe in, but he snuck it in the near post. It is a goal for Tom Lynch. And it's Richmond who are back in front. Kick comes inside the attacking arc from Taylor. Slips out the back door. Nick Murray's onto it. Nick Murray goals. Adelaide in front. And the defender turned forward for just the third time in his 75-game career. Finds the major opening.
Here's Seth Campbell, one way then the other, centering ball to Green. Is that 15? It is.
Not even close. Not even close.
The umpire believes so, despite the thoughts of our backbench.
About 8.5.
As he comes in to return the Tigers to the lead from 40 metres out, he celebrates with his forwards. And Richmond once more continue to fight in this Sunday fixture at the MCG.
Spills out Adelaide's way. Bond got a little hand passing all of that to Laird. And then a huge crunching tackle holding the ball. Two Tigers came in. Isaac Cumming trying to take him on. And again, your man Lafau's involved. Got a bit of help from Ross. Ripped to the ground. And a free kick from McKelty Lafau. Centre half forward, 30 out. Lafau. Vibes are high. Knocks it through. Richmond giving last year's minor premiers all they can handle.
The AFL on ABC Sport.
On radio.
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And ABC Listen.
Half-time at the MCG. The Tigers up for the fight. They lead by 10 points at half-time against the Crows. 7-4-46 to Adelaide, 5-6-36. Tom Lynch has a couple of goals for the Tigers. While a quiet first half for Riley Thilthorpe. Just the one behind next to his name, as he tries to have an impact for the Crows with 5 disposals. Make that 2 behinds here at the MCG. Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemas call the action. Daniel Harford and Bob Murphy are your experts. Earlier at Docklands, it was the Demons by 32 points over the Eagles. 15-9, 97 to the Eagles, 9-13, 67 in a game in which Jacob Van Rooyen booted 5 for the Demons, as Melbourne look to continue their climb up the AFL ladder. They're in 7th spot on the AFL ladder, 6 wins and 3 losses. We haven't done a fair bit of the Demons on a Sunday afternoon at the MCG. Crosstown at Docklands, they were too strong this afternoon. And Demons midfielder Jack Steele joined our team post-game.
Thanks, guys. I'm down here with Jack Steele. Jack, firstly, congrats on the win. The sting kind of came out of the game at the very end there. How did you see that play out?
Yeah, that's what King sort of just said in the meeting we had. Obviously, it's always great to win AFL footy and get the 4 points. That's not an easy thing to do, but yeah, we probably took the foot off the pedal a little bit in that second half, and we really could have maximised on some of our opportunities, but a little bit disappointing in that sense, but we'll learn from it and we'll go again next week. We've got a 6-day break against Hawthorn, so we're really excited about that challenge.
You guys just went in for a very brief meeting. What else came out of that? There wasn't long, I guess, to say anything at all, though.
No, just, obviously it's a 6-day turnaround, so make sure we're doing everything we possibly can physically to get ready for that. And obviously it's against Hawthorn, so they're pretty good. So we got to come in on Tuesday. We'll get tomorrow off and come in on Tuesday just mentally ready to go and physically get going as the days go on.
Physically, this game, it seemed to go back and forward. There wasn't a lot of stoppages, I suppose. Do you feel like it was quite a taxing game despite the scoreboard?
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm beaten up physically too bad like I usually am in a big sort of contest stoppage game, which is nice. But yeah, it was a bit of a different game. But yeah, I'm glad we could nearly kick 100 points again. It's always fun when you kick big scores, and this week we're actually able to limit them to a lesser score, which was nice. So I think, our defensive coach in Jared Rivers will be pretty happy with that.
Without Brody Myercheck, it was Jacob Van Rooyen who commanded that forward line. 5 goals in the first game of the year against St Kilda. 6 goals, 5 goals this game. How good is that for the confidence of someone like him going into a game against Hawthorn?
Yeah, we obviously saw he was capable of doing something like that in round 1 against the Saints, and for him to do it again is awesome. Because he's a young player and he's a real confidence player, really. So when he kicks a few in the first quarter, you know he's on for a good day. So for him to do that in the absence of Brody Myercheck is, just great for his confidence and great for us, really.
It's an easy question for me to ask, but when you guys go into halftime with a pretty handy lead, what is the message at halftime about, I guess, do you extend it into the second half, or do you know that you've got Hawthorn next week and have to maybe ease the pressure a little bit to stay fresh?
Our heads are still well and truly in this game when we come out at halftime. We do speak a lot about the first 5 or 10 minutes, especially as a midfield group. It was always going to be won and lost out of that part of the ground from our perspective anyway, with the arsenal they have in there in Yeo and Reid and Kelly. And so we really wanted to smother them and really get on top of them in there. And I suppose in the first 5-10 minutes of that third quarter, really just put the heat on them just to hope they would roll over. But they're a really proud club and team, obviously, and they didn't do that. They made it a lot harder for us. So, yeah, heads were still well and truly in the game until the end.
Just one on Andy Moniz Wakefield comes back for his first game and gets a goal. How good is that to see?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like, I was here with him when I think he got told when Daniel Turner rocked up he was a bit crook. So he was very pumped to get his opportunity. It's been a long time out of the game. I think he did his knee well over 12 months ago. So for him to come in, play a different role, he's a backman by trade. To come in and play a forward role and get on the end of his first career goal is really great. He's a character of the group, and I'm so happy for him.
And just one on yourself, Jack, coming into this side. It's fun footy at the moment. The Demons are the fun team to watch. How are you finding it?
Yeah, I'm just trying to play my role and sit back and watch the likes of the Pickets get to work and watch Gorney do his thing too. So I'm just enjoying being a part of it, and Kingy's creating such a fun and enjoyable environment to be around. So, I'm just trying to pinch myself at times because I'm so lucky to be a part of this club.
Former St Kilda captain, now with the Demons, Jack Steele, chatting there with Lex Pesce in the rooms following the Demons' 32-point win over the West Coast Eagles. Jacob Van Rooyen, with his 5 goals, got the 3 votes from Chad Wingard and Nathan Burke in the ABC Footballer of the Year. Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemas with you from the MCG. Andrew Mays down on the boundary, Daniel Harford and Bob Murphy. Match review findings have come through, so fines for Jacob Costanti, not once but twice. Tom Papley as well, Harry Himmelberg, Phoenix Cothard and Lockie Schultz for making contact with an umpire. No problems for Oisin Mullen with his head clash with Darcy Moore. And the interesting one will be the collision with Cozzy Pickett involving Jake Waterman in the earlier match. So it's getting a bit harder to try and decipher a few of these. There was the one with Tim English, who got the friendly fire from his own teammate in Matt Kennedy. So it has led us into a couple of the games next week, which are going to be intriguing. The Brisbane Lions kick-off proceedings against Geelong at the Gabba on a Thursday night. The Sydney Swans host Collingwood without Darcy Moore with that concussion protocol. And then the Demons and the Hawks all of a sudden becomes an intriguing game. The Demons, who were 14th last year on the ladder with 7 wins, all of a sudden they're up the ladder to 7th spot at the moment.
And no Barras and probably no Gunston too for the Hawks, you would think, if he's in a moon boot post-game.
I reckon the Constanti one, I reckon he can consider himself pretty lucky. Like, we're trying to stamp out guys giving each other whacks in the guts behind the ball.
Yeah.
That was about as close as you could do that without having to... Like, he's basically giving him a roundhouse to the kidney. He just threw his full body at him because he got his sternum on the back of his opponent, and it was more a body check than a punch. I think we kind of knew what he was doing, so I think he probably can consider himself pretty happy to get out with that.
Yeah.
Just a fine.
I heard you two waxing lyrical about that through the week on the ABC AFL Daily Podcast.
Beautifully done, Half. You can get it on the ABC Listen app or wherever you get your podcast from. Bob Murphy and Corbin Middlemas on a Tuesday.
Special edition tonight.
Special edition tonight with Ben Cameron. Are you in the chair?
No, not Ben Cameron.
Don't worry about him.
The big dog is barking.
Taking over.
We've had a little...
he's at the bowl and he's just... everyone else around.
During the week. Ben jumped in on Tuesday. I'm in tonight with Half.
It's a bit of face-off, you two.
No doubt.
Week. Bit of Travolta, Nicolas Cage.
Strange bedfellows, just switching it up a little bit.
Hey, just by the way...
Who's doing what?
In the media coffee area at half-time, there was a
catering area.
A lot of talk, catering area. A lot of talk about the gardenia.
Yeah.
Opposed to the gerbera. The gardenia is a positive endorsed flower.
Apparently big floral are after me.
Richmond by...
Gerber backlash.
Richmond by 10 points. Dawson, the first centre breakaway. Hits the kick inside the forward 50. Spills out Richmond's way, though. Sonzi just feeds a hand pass through to Miller. Under pressure. His hand pass picked off, though. Adelaide back with it. Neil Bullen. Handball away to Dawson. Shakes a would-be tackler. Kicks inside 50. Skids its way through to Bolter. It was touched on route by McAuliffe, and then he's tackled by Rankin. Rankin says holding the ball surely. Rochelle just keeps it moving and hooks it through for a goal. The Crows strike first in the second half, and that is exactly what Matthew Nicks would have ordered. Richmond's lead cut to 4. Adelaide inside a minute. 6:42. Richmond 7:46. Dawson touching it twice en route. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. Richmond by 4.
Well, we talked about it on half-time of what would Matthew Nicks have written on the whiteboard potentially for his Crows players, and I wondered whether it was just that question of how much do you want it. And the two examples that Matthew Nicks and the Crows have today of when they just looked like they've got more class than the Tigers is on the back of those forward 50 tackles. So in the second quarter, it was Daniel Curtin, and he goes back. On that occasion, it was Isaac Rankin's tackle that sparks the game into life and swings it their way.
Umpire's gone down as well. I think Nathan Broad will like that edit, as he thought Bolter had a clearance, but the hand pass, a turnover, and Rochelle did the rest. It's going the way of McAndrew as Bolter collected the umpire in the middle of the ground, so Adelaide a chance to get another clearance. Hand pass away to Jordan Dawson in the back line this afternoon, up towards the goal square. Toby Murray brings it down. Here's Rochelle again on cue. Hand pass to Rankin. When those two combine, normally it ends well, not on this occasion. Shot on goal is out to the right from Isaac Rankin, and a minor score. Margin cut to 3 points the Tigers' way inside 90 seconds, now 2 minutes of this third term.
He's been busy today, Rankin, hasn't he? It looks like he could be shaping as a potential match winner. That's his 17th disposal.
Broad goes on a bit of a run, and then the long kick in the foul direction, knocked away by Dawson, back inboard, picked up by Miller, fend off, and then a handball away to Keys. Adelaide going inside 50 again. Phil Thorpe got separation and marks.
Good.
Had his name written all over it.
Well, the setup forward was lovely for the Adelaide Crows. It was Phil Thorpe on one side of the goal square, and on the other side it was Toby Murray. So they had their one-on-ones, and you get, if you're Ben Keys, you just kick to one of them. Hopefully to advantage, which it effectively was to Thilthorpe. He's a pretty good target, I reckon, in a one-on-one situation. Kicked into the space in front, and he just came back at it beautifully. Too good. Good setup. Good
it was
formation.
actually a beautiful kick from Keys.
Thilthorpe for his first of the day, the thrill seeker. Thilthorpe goals, and Adelaide are in front. Just like that. After trailing by a game-high 11 points late in the second term, they kicked the first two after half-time, and it's Adelaide on top. 7-7, they lead Richmond 7-4, 3 minutes gone in the third.
Well, they look sharper, don't they?
Yep.
You put up the first 7 minutes of this quarter against what we saw in the first half earlier. They look like a completely different outfit, and it's in their intensity in their first step when they have to defend, and then it's in with the care they use with the ball. And when you get the combination of that first step intensity and some composure with the ball, well, then you bring in superstars like Riley Thilthorpe, who, if he's given that sort of service, he'll make most defenders look second rate.
Can't wait to see this next 4 minutes of the first 7 minutes of the quarter.
12 disposals to 4. They look like a team, Adelaide, that have copped the rocket at half-time. Back in the middle of the ground, no chance to clear as McAndrew has it trapped underneath him and Tim Taranto. Bolter tries to bounce into his opposing ruck. McAndrew clears a path for Berry. Hand pass to Rankin. Another clearance for the Crows. Inside 50. Thilthorpe works his way to the front. Can't take the mark. Bounces off his chest. Boston gets the hand pass away to Short. Gray out of defence for the Tigers up towards the wing. Miller up with one arm. Can't take the mark. Burton tries to compete at ground level against Laird. Miller just works his way through traffic. Gathers for Adelaide. Hand pass to Neil Bullen. Back to Miller. Couple of involvements here. High ball inside 50. Toby Murray in front. Tries to bring it down. None of the Crummers are there. And Miller, for the Tigers, gets a hand pass out to Vlosten. A clearing kick out towards half-back.
A big intercept there from Murray. At least it appeared that way. Leapt up. Wasn't able to take in the mark. At ground level, Adelaide come up with it. Rankin to Cook by hand. Then to Miller. He retreats by foot to Laird. Short lateral kick finds Dawson. He's been busy early in the quarter. His fourth touch already. Short to Berry. And this all part of the first 7 minutes Bob was talking about of this third quarter.
We'll get there eventually.
So 5 minutes
Still 2.5 to go.
2.5 to go. Bob's told us it'd be good, so hang on. There's still 2 more minutes. As Worrell continues slowly to Isaac Cumming.
Dripping tap for myself for the next couple of minutes.
Puts it inside the forward 50. Offhand spills to Thilthorpe. Handball meant for Curtin. Knocked down. And picked off, though, by the Tigers. Ross away towards Taranto, then to Rechko. Handball to Fall on the wing.
They're trying to transition here. The hand pass over the head of Burton, though. Dawson bumps into him. Hand pass forward for Ross of Richmond. Trying to combine here. Rechko at left half forward. Taps it to his own advantage on the right boot. Inside 50. Was looking for the foul in the end. Lynch almost took the mark. Dropped it in the end. Rankin's got back to support. Hand pass to Ball Ace. Nick Murray desperately defending. Started as a forward this afternoon. Gets it back to Miller. And now the kick to Cook. The hero of the showdown last week. Sends it out towards half-back. Adelaide all of a sudden get a chance to try and take a breath here. At left half-back, Ben Keys looks for options up the wing. Sends it into the direction of Toby Murray. Brings it down to the front. Vlosten for the Tigers. Hand pass back to Trainer. At half-back, it's Miller who sends a high ball for the Tigers. Lynch in a 3-on-1. He does his best to compete, but Cook gathers for the Crows. Hand pass to Worrell and now to Miller.
Big story developing on the Crows bench as a certain skipper just limped off. More on that in a moment as Miller goes short to Michael Annie. He goes back inside the defensive 50 and Adelaide through ball ace and now out to Nick Murray. Back in defence in his natural habitat. Goes short to Rankin. Rankin chips it to Laird. Laird dishes off a handball to Rankin and keeps on running. Crows by 3 points. They've kicked the first 2 goals, the third. Kicks down to half forward for Neil Bullen. Hand pass away to Isaac. Cumming takes a bounce. Loads up from 50. Cummings' kick fades across the goal face. It's almost marked by McAndrew on the behind line. It's through for a minor score. 4-point lead for Adelaide. 7 minutes now into the third term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Andrew Mays on the boundary.
Jordan Dawson just getting his left knee worked on at the moment. The doctors don't seem too concerned. He hasn't moved from the front row, so he's going to go for a few run-throughs. In fact, might be headed downstairs just to check that everything is okay.
I think it was in front of the wing on you, in front of you, Maisie, on the wing when he combined it with Burton there, that the knees got tangled and hopefully just a knock.
He's hopping on the bike now.
He was worried about that 7th minute.
Yeah,
ticking to the 8th now.
Oh, we all were.
Trainer to Ross at half-back. Jack Ross sends a high ball up the wing. Have a go at that. Bolter does. Got up early. And Fall at the very back takes the mark for the Tigers. So didn't give away the free kick by imposing the opposition. And the Tigers transition. Steely Green gets a hand pass away. Hopper running the boundary line. Kicks inside 50. Not a good kick.
He's waited too long. Waited too long, Hopper. Lynch leading in front of him down the boundary line. Could have gone to him about 2 seconds earlier.
Rankin takes the intercepting mark. Gets it back from Worrell. The live wire kicks up the wing on the bounce for Toby Murray. Good clean pick-up. Gets it away to Miller. Cuts back boundary side. Hand pass away to Cook for the Crows. Looks up towards half forward. And Rankin's on a long searching... Rochelli's on a long searching lead. He marks it left half forward. Neil Bullen's out the back. If he can get it to him, he does. Boston couldn't cut the angles. And Alex Neil Bullen marks up against the left behind post. He had to really get motoring.
You know, there's been a lot said and written about Isaac Rankin, and he's a finisher, and he's a great skilled player. He's been the igniter today in this third quarter in particular. He has started absolutely on fire in this third quarter, and he's started, and a few of his teammates have jumped on board.
1 goal, 2 for Neil Bullen this afternoon as he takes the deep breaths, opens up the angle, curls it around his body, and Adelaide have the opening 3 goals of the third term. Neil Bullen with his second. As Adelaide take back control here at the G. It's a 10-point lead after the Tigers got out by 11 ahead of half-time. Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport. Richmond 7-4-46, trailing the Crows 8-8-56. Bob Murphy and Daniel Harford, your experts on ABC Sport.
It's a good point, Bob. They're a different lineup when Rankin is really setting the agenda, and he's had 8 disposals already this quarter. 5 of those in the back half too. So you talk about their finisher and the excitement machine forward, but he's doing the work in this third term, and he's set this team alight. Miller has had 7, Cook's had 4, even Rochelle has had 3 with that goal as well. So, and they're dominating clearance and marks at the moment. 17-4 uncontested marks in this third quarter, 9-2 inside 50s. +7 contested possession. It's a festival at the minute for Adelaide.
3 goals in 8 minutes for the Crows, and all of a sudden they're out by 10. Their biggest lead of the day. Free kick in the middle, though, for Hopper and the Tigers. He can kick them inside 50. Looks in the Lynch direction, leaping up in front 4. No mark. Ball spills down in front of Bond. Centre half back for Adelaide. Handball to Peatling, to McAndrew, and now to Berry. Off the back flank, kicks it wide to Taylor. Zach Taylor sends the kick out to half forward. Phil Thorpe the target. Gets out the back. Miller's got it. Rochelli's got him. And a ball up between wing and half forward for the Crows.
Maisie, just keep an eye on Jacob Hopper as he comes into this stoppage. He doesn't look like he's moving very well to me.
Dawson back on as well.
Thanks, Maisie. Hayes Brown in front. Tries to palm it down to Ross. Gets the hand pass away. Richko runs out of room as he's tackled. But he was over the boundary line as Peatling put the pressure on. Adelaide 8-8-56 to the Tigers 7-4-46. Richmond led at half-time by 10 points. Adelaide with 3 goals in this third quarter to try and take back momentum. McAndrew sets himself in front of Hayes Brown. Palms it to the front. Here's Dawson. Beautifully roves it. Hand pass to Max Michaelani. He's tackled and dispossessed. Dawson tries to get it back. Hand pass to Saligo. Pierces a kick into the pocket. And some desperate defending from Gray, who spoils it away from Curtin, and it goes out of play in the right forward pocket for the Crows.
They're in splendid isolation forward of the ball, Adelaide. They've really set this forward line well. in this third quarter. They're all one-on-one.
It took an exceptional spoil from Gray to thwart that entry.
Yeah, they're owning the sort of 10-metre radius space each. They're getting results.
Forward 50 stoppage. Peatling passing through. He was clipped high. Tried to shake the tackle. The tackle went over the shoulder from Campbell Gray, and as a result, Peatling's going to get a look 20 metres out, just right of centre.
Yeah, Gray, he went the same technique with the tackle as he did with his exceptional spoil, and unfortunately, two different scenarios, Half. That one needed to go a lot lower, and the free kick was definitely there.
And Peatling didn't dissuade him from doing it with his body movement.
Down at half-time, the Crows are in front now, and it should be by more as Peatling misses.
Bad miss. Very bad.
Out to the left, he was 20 metres out, just right of centre, and missed to the far side. An 11-point lead for the Crows, 12 minutes gone in the third.
10 of the first 13 inside 50s the way of the Crows. It's brought back into play by Trainer. A late inclusion for Sam Grill, who was outmanaged this afternoon.
Red lights flashing in the coach's box of the Tigers.
Yeah.
Steely Green has it in the back pocket for the Tigers. Sends it as far as he can up the wing. Hayes Brown competes and did enough to claim the mark in the eyes of the umpire. Had the ball knocked out of his hands. And the umpire says, come with me. Jordan Dawson knocked it out of his hands, and a 50-metre penalty for the Tigers. So from half back, taken up to half forward.
Umpire had his arms out as if to say, what else do you think was happening?
Yeah, Oliver Hayes Brown decides to get the hand pass away. Hopper, right half forward, drives the Tigers inside 54, got underneath it. The mark is taken by Saligo at the very back of the pack. Adelaide leading by 11 points.
Timing front half, 80-20 percentages in this quarter so far. So living in Adelaide's end of the ground, and that's where they're going here. Ball ace to Dawson, his kick picked off. So Dawson back out there after the knee knock, and Trainer, a late inclusion with a nice intercept. In for Grill, puts it inside the forward 50, looking for Lafau, no marks. Spills through to Nick Murray. Handball away to his brother Toby, just knocks it on to Cook. Out to Worrell against the boundary line at half-back. Handball to Laird. Handball back to Cook, trying to work his way out of tight confines. He shakes three Tigers. Kicks down the wing, turns it over. And Miller with the intercept mark just pushes Philthorpe underneath the footy. Slash, the Adelaide big man just led underneath it. Short kick along the boundary line to Ross.
He's jumped under a few today, Philthorpe.
Yeah.
Kicked a goal in this third quarter after two behinds in the first half. Inside 50 the Tigers way. Jonty Fall there. Balls to the front. Steely Green, the crummer. Hand pass to Campbell. They're a dangerous combination. It goes out of play in the right forward pocket.
Big captain's ground bob. Maybe depth perceptions.
Well, it could be. Or, you know, we've got to give credit to Miller, his direct opponent, who has been able to... He's played him really closely. And Philthorpe hasn't been strong enough to hold his ground as he usually is.
Toby Murray doing the ruck work against Lafau. Lafau worked his way to the front, dropped it though. Miller tackled, dropped it to his boot, kicks it straight up in the air. Lafau goes back with the flight. Dangerous position for the Tigers. Steely Green gets down low. Wanted a high tackle, he didn't get it. The umpire will ball it up. It's only about 20 metres out from the Tigers' goal. Adelaide by 11 points. Richmond's last goal came at the 26-minute mark of the second quarter.
Tigers led by 10 at half-time, so big change in the game. Forward 50 stoppage for Richmond, but it's coming out of defence. Laird kicks into space, northern wing. Tresice needs it to sit. It does. Handball to Rechko. He's tackled out of play. Key's got him holding the ball. And Adelaide have their head of steam up at the moment. Looks inboard for Dawson, who had a knee knock earlier in the quarter. Sat on the exercise bike. He's back out there and again involved. Opens up through the corridor. Finds Michael Annie. Handball away to Taylor. Taylor sends a high bomb towards the hot spot. Trainer underneath it takes the intercept mark. Fullback for Richmond. 15 minutes into this third term. It's all Adelaide. Crows by 11.
Trainer kicks to Broad, who marks in the right back pocket. 15 minutes gone, third quarter. Broad call to play on. Centering kick to Miller. Takes the mark in front of Philthorpe. Wants to swing it out to left half back. And Richko leads into space and takes the mark. He's starting to get involved on the wing. Kicks up towards Tom Lynch, a long way from home. He wants to try and work around Saligo on the mark and almost clipped by the heels as he kicks the free kick. and then shouldn't have because he kicked to Hayes. Brown was too low. Easy one for Rankin to pick off. They might make them pay. Kickers over the head though at Thilthorpe. Can't take the mark. Gray makes the spoil, then gets it back from Miller for the Tigers. Across half back. Taranto's kick, a little loose for Vlosten. Coming the other direction, Taylor. Vlosten gathers. Taylor gathers him. Lost the footy, holding the ball. Gone. Great intent from the Crows there. They win back possession under the Shane Warne stand side.
There's a new interpretation this year. Try and shrug. That's your prior opportunity gone. So Vlosten penalised there. He's Zach Taylor. Grew up a North Melbourne fan. This was his favourite ground. I read his pocket profile in the record. Favourite ground, the MCG. Favourite change room's the MCG. As the Crows inside 50 and Thilthorpe with his jukes around it. Velcro for hands, takes the mark just right of centre, 25 out.
He's starting to vibe the MCG as well, Big Riley. It was a nice launch at the ball a couple of times, as Bob mentioned before. He's been under it, but he had a real run and jump at that one. Not too many going to stop him in that situation.
This is a worry, isn't it, for Adam Uze, his team.
Well, he's looking at the stat sheet at the moment. He's going, what the hell did we do?
And this man, a big part of that. Thilthorpe. Oh! Gee, they've let them off a couple of times. Peatling misses. Thilthorpe misses. Same spot on the floor.
It's normally a terrific kick.
He's missed that by a fair way.
Crows by a dozen, 17 minutes into the third term.
Shot of Matthew Nicks in the coach's box on our monitor. He just shakes his head. What can you do as your coach in that scenario? Their intent has been far better in this third quarter as they lead by 12 points. Miller out of defence from the back pocket, sends it up to the wing. Toby Murray spalls it down. Lafau does the crumbing for Richmond. Hand pass to Lynch through traffic. A turnover in the end there as Adelaide through Peatling gets it back. Here goes Keys. Hand pass to Thilthorpe to Berry. Arches the back. Almost brought down. Get it to hand pass away to Neil Bullen. Sharks it towards the goal square. Dawson's gone to full forward. Can't mark, but was taken high in the eyes of the umpire. Neil Bullen's kick was out in front of him. Had the arms outstretched, and in a moment of panic, Miller, his left arm just collected the Adelaide Crows captain high. He's played a bit of everywhere, Jordan Dawson, this afternoon. Started across half back for the Crows. A couple of moments in the midfield. Looking to try and steady with his ninth disposal for the Crows in this third quarter. Up to 22 for the match. On a 45-degree angle, about 25 metres out from goal. Jordan Dawson, great to see him back as his Adelaide teammates come and get around him. After a tough personal couple of weeks, he's back on the MCG and leading the Crows in this third quarter. It's now an 18-point margin as Adelaide put on 4 goals so far in this third quarter. 9-10-64 to the Tigers, 7-4-46. Bob Murphy and Daniel Harford, your experts on ABC Sport.
Yeah, it's a nice moment for Jordan Dawson and his family who'll be watching on. They've been through a terrible time of it of late. He's such a player, isn't he? And just to be able to add that string to the bow as well, to take the Tigers deep forward. And even the way he set himself up for that lead and jumped at the footy, which drew the free kick. Good forward instincts from Jordan Dawson.
42% the forward 50 of Adelaide this quarter.
Hayes Brown comes out of the middle with it for Richmond. Got a handball away to Taranto. Handball goes backwards to short. He kicks wide for Rechko. Traded from the Cats after a couple of years on their list at the end of last season.
Sounds like a spanner brand.
It does, doesn't it? I like it though. Patrick Rechko, the 20-year-old in his 4th game. Short and wide with the kick to the lefty Tresice. He kicks to half forward. Lynch leaps in the pack. It's Bolter, who was about 4 in the queue. Takes the mark on his way back down to the ground, and he's going to have a look here from all of 50 metres out, left half forward.
Yeah, I'd buy a Rechko.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the spanner you'd buy once.
You only need one.
Hand it down to your kids.
Yeah.
They hand it down to theirs.
Be well made.
Yep.
Last the generations.
Rechko. Buy it once.
He's Noah Bolter. He's going to kick from 55 metres out. He is a long kick of the footy. It's right to the goal line.
Touched, I reckon.
McKelty's touched it.
And we're going to check it upstairs. The goal umpire's not quite sure. He just takes a very slow wander over to the field umpire. We're off to the arc.
I reckon McKelty was thinking about marking it.
Umpire's call is touch from behind.
And he's the only one that could have touched it.
Yeah.
Well, the Richmond players are trying to point out he might have been behind the padding.
We said the ball's touched before crossing the back of the goal line. Decision on the scoreboard.
Oh, dear.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
It's an unusual move.
Oh, I feel a bit crook.
I feel sick, Dale.
Oh, I feel sick, Dale.
So it's McKelty Lafau, his own teammate, who touches it on the ground. And as it turns out, there were no Adelaide hands in there, and he just simply let it go. It would have been a Bolter long-range goal. Instead, it's a behind, and Adelaide lead by 17. Time on in the third term. They have kicked the only 4 goals in the quarter.
All of a sudden, the Tigers need it. Haven't kicked one since the 26-minute mark of the second quarter, as Corbin mentioned. The kick from Laird up towards half-back, and Berry, the showdown medalist, marks at half-back. Adelaide by 17 points, having got their rhythm in this third term. Kicks up towards the wing, and Toby Murray works his way to the front and takes the mark. Jordan Dawson's gone to full forward in this third quarter after a knee knock with Burton on the wing. Sends it in that direction. Broad in front, spoils it. It gets to the back. Racing back, Jaden Short gathers, cuts away from Keys. Hand pass away to Broad in the back pocket. He's got Neil Bullen hanging on to him. Gets a hand pass away.
Oh.
Boston taken high. Dawson coming the other way.
Coat hanger.
Nick Boston sort of puts his arms out and says, well, I didn't mean it. But I was sort of taken there by Jordan Dawson, who was trying to cut through, and that will be one which Jordan Dawson didn't intend, but it looks rather ugly on the replay.
Yeah, it looks worse than it is, I think.
Yeah, it kind of looks all right on the replay.
Yeah.
The replay, it's like, oh, yeah, it's just a high tackle. When it was live, it looked like Hulk Hogan versus Randy Savage.
And it's not as if anyone really went to remonstrate with him or anything like that. He didn't look too guilty getting up, and yet it was a free kick for Vlosten. Richmond work it down the wing and then falls hand pass, misses the target, goes out of bounds. And with the new rules, that's a last disposal free for Adelaide. Crows by 17. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. The Demons won by 32 earlier today. This is Isaac coming. He goes all the way back, 45 metres to Worrell. Now the switch is on. They'll try out the southern side. Ball ace takes the mark, chips it short, trying to get it to Miller. A little too much on the kick. Spills through to Sonzi. He's tackled, and now that's holding the ball.
Well done, Wayne Miller.
Yeah.
So Miller makes up for the error. Happy with the call, Half?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, try to get past him. I'm okay with that.
Short kick to Saligo. Marks right on halfway. Southern boundary line. Here at the G, with Adelaide on top by 17. Kicks down to half forward to a contest. Spills through to Miller. He's rolled over in the tackle. Ump says, I'll have it. There's a ball up. Left half forward for the Crows. 60 metres out from their attacking goal. Adelaide by 17.
14-7, the inside 50s. Adelaide's way in this third quarter. Bolter tries to win down the tap, but McAndrew gets it forward to Cook, back to Laird, and now to Rankin, all the way back to Miller on the wing. Feints the hand pass, gives it back to Rankin. Looks out laterally and spots Berry. As he's still at left half forward. A good 2 kicks out from goal at the city end. So comes inboard to Cook. He centres it to Laird. Adelaide trying to find a way through as Richmond are guarding the space. It's a congested forward 50. So Rory Laird decides to swing into the middle of the ground where Jordan Dawson is all on his own. It's a few Bronx cheers from the Richmond fans.
Enough to make it loud.
At the edge of the centre square, he veers out to the left. Spots an offer in Taylor into the pocket. It clears him, and Sonzi goes out of play for a throw in the left forward pocket for the Crows. Adelaide 9-10-64 to the Tigers 7-5-47. Adelaide with 4 goals 4 to the Richmond side. It's 1 behind in this third term.
He's a nightmare to do something about Jordan Dawson. He's now the loose man in defence. He's been at full forward, 1 out in the cage, and then roams through the midfield, gets centre breaks. He's having a big quarter as Richmond trying to get it out of defence here. Grabbed out of the ruck, clearing kick picked off. And Cook takes the intercept mark from the Bolter kick. 55 out, looks for Isaac coming, who's got it on his way back down to earth. Leaped up and marks. And he'll have a look here from about 25 out right half forward.
It's great team play there from the forwards of Adelaide. Had someone leading up, can't remember who was leading, it might have been Pedler, leading back at the leg, back at the kicker. And Cummings saw that. Broad was drawn out of that space, which opened up an alley for Cumming to get to. 2 Richmond defenders tried to close late, but it was just good team play. 1 in, 1 out, get the space.
Undoubtedly, Matthew Nicks asked for a response at halftime. He's got it. On the back of a 5-goal turn. Adelaide in control. They lead by 23 points at the 26-minute mark of the third term. 10-10 to 7-5. They trailed this game by 10 at half-time. They've kicked the last 5 of the match unanswered. Sunday footy on ABC Sport with Bob Murphy and Daniel Harford.
Well, there were plenty of questions being asked of the Adelaide Footy Club as they went to the rooms at half-time, and so far in this third quarter, they've answered them all emphatically. They have responded in the way Matthew Nicks would have liked and the Crows fans would have liked. There could be a nice photo in tomorrow's paper for that mark. There's also, when you watch it live and even on the replay, it's got a reasonably high level of degree of difficulty to it. It's not your classic Scanlon's footy cup. There's a bit of a twist in the air that would have made it even more difficult. Great grab.
Isaac Cumming becomes the 9th individual goal kicker for the Crows this afternoon. Back edge of the centre square. Hopper trying to get a hand pass away. Trainer argues he was tackled when not in possession of it. Rochelle for the Crows into the middle of the ground. Gets the hand pass away to Taylor. Drives it inside 50. Presenting Pedler. Got hands to it. Can't mark against Broad. Cutting through Rankin. Hand pass chopped off. Trainer takes it back for the Tigers. Kicks out towards half-back. A bouncing ball for Cumming. He's after it as well. Cleverly worked by Bond. Tries to slap it back to his own advantage. Now coming over the top. But the umpire will come in and ball it up. Centre wing on the outer side. The Crows by 23 points. Having trailed at half-time by 10 points, Adelaide with 5 goals to none in this third term.
McAndrew wins the hit out, picked up by Sonzi, hooks the kick over his shoulder and Fall. Spills the mark. Footy back in dispute, socket away by Fall, but straight to Miller. Adelaide win it again. Handball to Worrell, retreats back by hand to Laird. Short kick to Nick Murray at centre half-back.
Decision-making's been good today. Adelaide, ball in hand. Haven't tried to do too much, bite off too much. They just take the easy option. They'll see where the defenders are going. They'll kick to the spare guy that space is created.
Short kicking game here, still in the back half. Bond shares it with Miller. So it was a 10-point lead for Richmond at half-time. 5 straight goals for Adelaide. And the Crows by a game high 23. Centering kick for Miller finds Worrell. It's on the 2 Cummings, by the way. I did ask both the media teams from Richmond and Adelaide during the week, are they related? Whether distant cousins or anything like that, I haven't been able to get an answer as Cook takes the mark on the wing, looks inside 50, slips through the hands of Thilthorpe, picked up by Vlosten, he's tackled, dispossessed, comes out towards Sonzi, handball away to Taranto, handball to Hopper, hand pass over to Neil Bullen, he's tackled and we'll have a ball up between wing and half forward for the Crows. So,
coming under the wiser still?
No, Isaac coming from Broken Hill, 2.5 hours away from Wentworth is where Sam Cummings from, so both regional New South Wales. So there's enough there to think that maybe they're in and around the same neighbourhood, but certainly not brothers or any first cousins, close relations. But maybe somewhere in the coming family tree.
Yeah. And Scotty Cummings, he's got an S, he's out. We can rule Scotty Cummings out.
And Bart Cummings.
It's low-hanging fruit. Bart Cummings also out.
Yeah, he's out.
And Pat Cummins is sold Scott
as well. Oh, anyway.
Pat Cummins is not a part of it.
He's
not in.
We're still live for Isaac and Sam Cummings, so okay. I'll let you know when I get to the bottom of that. That's the end of that quarter, by the way, and it was a dominant one for the Adelaide Crows. They kicked 5 unanswered goals after trailing by 10 at half-time. They lead by 23 at three-quarter time. The Crows 10-10-70, Richmond 7-5-47. Clinchy mentioned it after that last goal, but Adelaide have had 9 different goal kickers. So 2 for Neil Bullen, and then singles down the page. Curtin, Thilthorpe, Rochelle, Nick Murray, Pedler, Dawson, Rankin and Cumming. Meanwhile for Richmond, 2 for Lynch, and then singles for Bolter, Sonzi, Lafau, Campbell and Green. Tom Lynch kicked the first of the day, which was a long time ago now.
Earlier, the Demons defeated the West Coast Eagles by 32 points. Jacob Van Rooyen kicked 5 goals. He got the 3 votes from Chad Wingard and Nathan Burke in the ABC Footballer of the Year. And Jake Waterman also kicked 3 for the West Coast Eagles, and a collision involving Cozzy Pickett and Jake Waterman in the first quarter will no doubt be looked at by the match review officer. The Eagles put it 4-2 in the final term to somewhat flutter the scoreline. Great to have your company on Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
For some, the world's a stage.
Theatre we make, it's visceral.
For others, it's a spreadsheet.
She has got to go.
Anne Edmonds and Kitty Flanagan star in the brand new comedy, Bad Company. Streaming now on ABC iView.
This is the 2026 AFL Premiership season with ABC Sport.
Skids its way through to Bolter. It was touched on route by McAuliffe, and then he's tackled by Rankin. Rankin says holding the ball surely. Rochelle just keeps it moving and hooks it through for a goal. The Crows strike first in the second half. And that is exactly what Matthew Nicks would have ordered. It's Adelaide going inside 50 again. Phil Thorpe got separation at marks. And his name written all over it. Phil Thorpe for his first of the day. The thrill seeker. Phil Thorpe goals. And Adelaide are in front. Just like that.
Sharks it towards the goal square. Dawson's gone to full forward. Can't mark, but was taken high in the eyes of the umpire. Vaughan's kick was out in front of him, had the arms outstretched, and in a moment of panic, Miller, his left arm just collected the Adelaide Crows captain high. On a 45-degree angle, about 25 metres out from goal. Jordan Dawson, great to see him back as his Adelaide teammates come and get around him. After a tough personal couple of weeks, he's back on the MCG and leading the Crows in this third quarter.
The AFL on ABC Sport.
On radio.
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And ABC Listen.
Three-quarter time at the MCG, the final match of round 9 of the AFL. And it's the Crows who've got to move on in that third quarter. They took control and put it 5 goals to none. They lead 10-10-70 to the Tigers 7-5-47. The Crows 4 wins and 4 losses in 11th spot on the AFL ladder. The Tigers with their first win of the season last week against the West Coast Eagles. There was an early injury, unfortunately, for the Tigers with Tom Brown out with a forearm or an elbow injury. He took no further part in the game after the opening couple of minutes. And Jordan Dawson had a knee knock in that third quarter, but was able to pop up and kick a goal in the third. The Crows leading by 23 points. Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemas calling the action. Andrew Mays on the boundary. The thoughts of Daniel Harford and Bob Murphy with you on ABC Sport.
I mentioned it as a festival for the third quarter there for the Adelaide Crows, and the numbers back it up. Contested possession, the first quarter they won contested possession plus 5, 31-26. Uncontested possession plus 38.
Wowzers.
86-44 for the quarter. Uncontested marks plus 28 for the quarter. So they just own possession. Marks inside forward 50, 4-0. 7-5 clearance. 18-7 inside 50s. 65% time in forward half. So what pleasingly for Matthew Nicks, not only did they get a response emotionally, I reckon, in that third quarter, Bob, but they're also able to transfer their game from a back half scoring game to a front half scoring game. 4 of their 5 goals of the quarter were front half turnovers.
But yeah, the emotional or the intensity, that adjustment was really evident early.
Yep.
And then, as you say, the strategic element to that as well. So they played with head and heart in that quarter, and they had to, because at half time we sat here thinking, gee whiz, where are the Adelaide Crows Footy Club at right now? And they did respond. I mean, you could almost, it's a option, so it's a broad menu of stats that you could reel out, because they just dominated every facet of the game in the third quarter. So whether the Tigers can rally and respond, we will see, but it did feel like a knockout blow. Particularly impressed with Wayne Miller and Isaac Rankin. I felt like Isaac Rankin really started it in that third quarter. He'd been busy and good up until half time, but it was the third quarter, particularly the first half of that third quarter, where it was all over the ground.
For 7 minutes?
Yeah, that's right. Well, the first 7 minutes in particular, that took a while to get to, but he was doing it, deep in defence and run and carry, and then also doing, what we know of him, more traditionally in the forward half. But he was super in that third quarter.
How'd you see the third quarter of the Crows captain? 10 disposals, 2 clearances and a goal. They started with Nick Murray forward, no Tex Walker or Darcy Fogarty, who played in the Samford yesterday, and Jordan Dawson went to full forward at various stages in that third quarter. Where's the most dangerous spot for him in the match?
Oh, I think in the middle of the ground at the moment. I think Hopper's not moving that well as far as I can see. Taranto's having no real impact on the game. I'd play him around the footy and getting the ball inside that forward 50. He had 4 inside 50s for the quarter, playing a variety of roles. And the way that Adelaide are seemingly overrunning Richmond at the moment, I think you get enormous benefit out of Jordan Dawson around the footy. And that's where he's starting, actually, at the moment, as we get set up at the centre restart here. Rankin, Berry and Dawson for the Crows.
Into the final turn we go. Adelaide by 23 points. Opening tap down going the way of McAndrew for the Crows. Follows up his right work. Gets a clearance to half forward. Toby Murray tries to knock it down and then lays the tackle on Trainer and locks the ball in a left forward pocket for the Crows. So Adelaide's pressure in that third quarter, 194. The Tigers slipped to 129.
129.
So that's low after Tigers were very impressive in the second quarter. Tackle from Toby Murray wins a free kick for holding the ball on Hopper. He couldn't get a disposal away, and The umpire said he had prior opportunity, so Adelaide with a chance to strike here inside the first minute of the final term.
So just for context on that, if you're running around half reasonable, you're hovering around 180.
180, yeah.
And then if you're going really good, you're touching 200 if you're through the map.
10.
And then 129.
129 is when they almost stopped bothering. We're not taking the stat anymore. If you're going to do that to us, we're not taking the stat.
Don't hear that number too often.
No. I don't think I've ever seen a 120.
No. Really, really low.
Toby Murray, the mid-season pickup in 2024, featured for Collingwood in the VFL previously. The younger brother of Nick fires on goal, misses to the right-hand side. Thilthorpe tries to keep it in. I think he was over the behind line. So it socked through by Ben Keys, but the all-clear is given for a behind. It's a 24-point lead the Crows' way. A minute 20 into the final term.
So Floston goes on a stroll from the kick out. And long kick up in the Bolter direction. In the end, Nick Murray leaps at it, tries to put his fist through it, sits up for Berry. He's rolled over in the tackle by Ross, and a ball up between wing and half forward for Adelaide. Crows coming home to the punt road end. And they lead by 4 goals in this game on the back of a dominant third quarter. They kicked the only 5 goals in the term. Ross somehow got Hopper got a hand pass out to Ross. Ross tried to give it to Taranto. He just pushes it away straight to Rochelle. Picks it up, dumps a long kick inside 50. Thilthorpe the target. Toby Murray also in the pack. Grabs it, runs into a would-be tackler. He was caught high. And a free kick is going to go to Toby Murray. It was McAuliffe who came in and got him. And in the end, that's a good bailout for Toby Murray.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where he thought he was going. The big man was off and running.
Adrenaline's a funny thing. Yeah, very lucky. It started in the middle, top of his back. Yeah, just dragged up a little bit as he went to duck underneath. He's probably a bit lucky in every respect there.
So to continue the course of this game, it's been all Adelaide after half-time, and Toby Murray knocks it through. He becomes their 10th goal kicker. They've done it by committee. And he's Adelaide 11-11. They lead Richmond 7-5, 3 minutes into the final term. Adelaide by 5 goals. They've kicked the last 6 in the game, and the only 6 after half-time.
It was a good finish. It may have been a little bit lucky in the first place. In the same way, you can understand the umpire paying it, but this tackle did start where you would want it to. But Toby Murray was good enough to take the half chance and finish it off. And they're playing with some authority now, the Crows. And the young Tigers outfit, they look to be flailing a little bit.
As Corby mentioned, the last 6 goals of the match have gone Adelaide's way. The Tigers' last goal, the foul at the 26-minute mark of the second quarter. Back in the middle of the ground, Hopper tries to get a hand pass away to Ross. Under pressure, missed Taranto with a hand pass. Berry for Adelaide, takes it back. Hand pass away to Curtin, who drives it inside 50. Here's Murray again. Presented well, taken high. He's going to get a third shot on goal inside the opening 4 minutes.
Yeah, dragged down. Right arm over the right shoulder.
Campbell Gray in all sorts of trouble trying to defend the 200-centimetre. The younger brother of Nick, who comes down and gives him a word of advice. They are the 3rd set of brothers to have featured in the Adelaide Crows history. And a chance to try and strike a second here. He's going to give it off. Oh no, off the instep. He leapt back, tried to spot Isaac coming and missed him by about 5 metres, and it trickles out of play for a throw-in.
It's just clever footy. Played for the stoppage. That's what they do these days. They kick to the pocket.
Set play, you reckon?
Set play.
The other brothers, Corby, of course. We mentioned the Jarman brothers.
Yes.
And
who's the other set? I'm thinking about that too.
Give me a minute.
Thrown back in. McAndrew knocks it down to the front. Rankin gathers, hemmed in the left forward pocket. Kicks towards the teeth of goal. Jordan Dawson comes leading out and getting back. Rechko takes the mark for the Tigers in the back pocket. There's a bit of tangling going on with Shelley, who was caught behind him. Almost ran through the protected zone in the end and chips it up. And the mark is taken in the back pocket by Trainer. Feeds the hand pass back to Rechko.
Tony Modra have a brother?
Scotty played the Crows. No, more recent than that. Hand pass away to Ross, kicks around his body, up towards Tom Lynch, started the game impressively, sport away from him, brought down by Ball Lace. Lynch gets a hand pass for the Tigers, into the middle of the ground, coming, tackle, just got it away at the last time. Hayes Brown down low, Floston got a problem, can't break away. What a quarter in which Toby Murray has had. Adelaide takes the advantage through the middle of the ground. Keys kicks looking for Jordan Dawson, can't gather. And Broad competing. He's lost his footing on all fours, tries to knock it clear. Dawson gathers, gets a hand pass out to the boundary line, looking for Keys. It goes out of play in the right forward pocket.
Crouch.
The two crouches, Matt and Brad.
Of course.
Wouldn't have got there. I was thinking big guys. I'm thinking, for some reason I didn't.
I was thinking Mark Nicken.
Yeah, I wanted something. I wanted sort of Rodney Maynard and a lesser-known Stephen Maynard. Or
From the boundary throw in, Taranto surge kick forward for the Tigs, and there's a good mark for Jonty Fall.
Yeah, had a name and all. You gave him a name as a player. I wanted it so much.
It's not
I created a whole persona of Stephen Maynard who does not exist.
Ball down to half forward. Bolter with a good leap takes the mark. 70 metres out.
What number did he wear?
He looks back in the corridor.
35, obviously. Obviously.
Lost it. Hand pass away towards Fall. Fall decides just to drive it deep. Lynch loses his opponent. Marks on the goal line. Pops it through. And at last, Richmond had their first goal of the second half. It's taken 7 minutes into the last quarter, and it stops the run of 6 consecutive Adelaide goals. Lynch has got 3. The Tigs 8-5-53 trail Adelaide 11-11, 77. It's Adelaide by 24 points. And this is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
He's been pretty good today, Tom Lynch, with limited opportunities. Hasn't been down there a whole heap, particularly in the last quarter and a bit. But he has looked dangerous when it's been in his area, and his judgment and strength were just too much there for Borlays, who slipped at the critical moment. And Tom Lynch won't kick many easier goals than that in this season.
He's the only multiple goal kicker for the Tigers this afternoon. One in the first, one in the second, and now one in the last. So he's tried his best. He's back in the middle of the ground. Bolter gets down the tap to Taranto. Hand pass to Hopper. Jags a kick back towards centre half forward. Flying in front. Max Michaelani dropped the mark. Bond gets a hand pass away to Nick Murray. Switches for the Crows out towards the Warn wing where Keys is working hard. And he takes the mark at right half back. As Miller, who wants it inboard, ignores that. Switches it to Worrell. He marks almost at centre half back for the Crows. And now led by 24 points. As Worrell gets it to Miller. He's continued to work throughout the afternoon. Possession number 29 coming up. He joins Isaac Rankin. He's going to go one further now as he marks on the wing. And amazing a few moments. Berry has come to the bench for the Crows as Isaac Rankin is called to play on. No real options other than to bang it as long as he can down the line, in which Noel Bolter is waiting for that kick. Takes an uncontested mark for the Tigers.
Bolter looks down the wing. It's a good option. And mark taken by Hopper. Lays a hand pass off to James Tresice. Looks inside the forward 50. Kick trying to make its way through to Taranto. Got a touch on the way through. Rankin just broke it up. Still a scrap on for the footy. Lafau stands up, not in possession. And yeah, it's held in by his direct opponent. He says it's all okay.
A hamstring from Isaac Rankin here.
Okay. He's got the stretchy motion on that left leg. Trying to reach it out, close to this stoppage. Lafau knocks it down to Taranto. Centering kick, just over the head of Fall. Picked up by Saligo. Handball away to Bond, who darts away. And just pokes the kick towards Neil Bullen, who marks at half-back. First of all, Andrew Mays, how's young Berry going down there?
Yeah, he's just got the left socket shoe off at the moment, just getting some attention to that ankle. He seems okay. Rankin, it's an interesting one. He's actually had a lot of massage this afternoon through both hamstrings and has made that motion a couple of times, though nothing too serious.
That's a bad kick from Pete Ling. Turns it straight over. Burton for the Tigers. Inside 50. Lafau juggles the mark against Nick Murray. And the Adelaide Crows defence has every right to go and have a chat to Pete Ling. It's hard to defend that.
And Rankin's no good. He's been walking still in the defensive goal square. Put his hand up. I think left hamstring, I reckon.
He did take pickle juice from the trainer, so that's the only
might be a cramp.
positive.
Yeah, she is. Well, it's just flexing his knee when he's running now, when he's jogging to the bench. He was stiff-legged for the last minute or so.
Kelsey Lafau kicked a goal in the second quarter. Brought good presence for the Tigers. He comes in from the right forward pocket from 40 out and misses to the right-hand side. 23 points is the Crows' lead at the 10-minute mark of the final term.
This is a big 12 minutes, I reckon, for the Tigers. We talked about their competitiveness all year. They were comprehensively outplayed in the third term, and they're showing a little bit here. This is a good sign. Finish the game strongly. Whatever happens, finish it strongly.
Adelaide coming out of defence, picked off by Bolter, who marks on the wing. So 10 minutes into this final term, it's a 23-point lead for the Crows. Bolter, long kick to the hot spot, full force to spoil at the back. Ball trickles away into the path of Dawson. Big time fend off as he pushes off young Sam Cumming. Dawson kicks down to half forward. Sat on the head of Keys and it's stolen away by Boston. Back the other way we go. Richmond in transition. Handball away to Bolter. Bolter spears the kick down to half forward. Mark taken here by Fall. Fall looks into the pocket. Wanted Lynch. Appealed for the free kick. Not forthcoming. Falls down to Taranto. Hand pass goes back to Ross. Centering kick to Hopper, who marks at centre half forward. And Richmond playing this out after really an underwhelming third quarter, it must be said. They're back in the fight.
Yeah, they are, and it's good. They've slowed Adelaide's ball movement down outside of that little intercept from Jordan Dawson before at half back. They've held them up a lot in this last term already, and they've been able to get some speed on their transition. So it's a very different dynamic to what we saw 15 minutes ago.
Interesting goal in the game. If he can kick it, he can't. Right on cue as he looks for the trip from 50 out. He's missed the whole set. Out of bounds on the full. No score. A dozen minutes into the final term. Adelaide still by 23. Isaac Rankin's come your way. Maisie, how's he looking down there?
Yeah, heavy massage at the moment, so it's good that he didn't go straight to the back and ice up that hammy. It looks like they're keen to test it out and get him back out there.
Ball lays to half-back. Pete Ling dribbles the kick up the wing. Jaden Short gets the hand pass away for the Tigers to Hopper inside 50. Sport away from Fall. Trying to run onto a Taranto. Hand pass chopped off by Laird. Gets the hand pass away to Cook. And now all the way back to Ball Lace, who's clearing kick up the wing is chopped off. And Broad takes the intercepting mark. Tigers trying to get it going forward. Kick by Richko. Smothered and turned over. The Cook's got a great hand pass to Laird. Sold him up the river. Tackled and not paid holding the ball as Steely Green makes the argument. And the umpire ball up just inside the boundary line at left half forward for the Crows.
Probably just needed to sit off him for another half step.
6 goals to 1 after half-time. Adelaide's way. String of handballs for the Tigers. Picked up here by Trezise. Floats a handball down to the boundary line. Finds Bolter. Got it back out to Trezise. Hooks a kick into the forward pocket. Touched by Worrell, but it got to Lynch. Lynch under pressure. Handball away to Sam Cumming, who snaps. Sam goals.
Here we go.
Here come the Tigs. 13 minutes gone in the final term. Richmond string a couple together. And Adelaide's lead trimmed to 17. The Crows 11-11, 77. Richmond moved to 9-6-60. And Sam Cumming, the youngest man on the ground with a big-time goal. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Bob Murphy, Daniel Harford.
Well, this is the type of fight and resilience that we saw a lot of from the Tigers last season. Not so much in the early going this year, but last week in their big win over the West Coast. But today they've shown in the last... how much time we got in this quarter half? You know, I need a bit of help with this. 13:44 in this quarter. They have rallied because the third quarter was an absolute nightmare for them. Adelaide completely ran over the top, and you looked like it was how far for the Crows. But in this last quarter, they have found something again, the Tigers, and hats off to them. Let's see if they can keep it going.
6-6-6 warning in the middle of the ground against the Tigers. So 2 goals to 1 Richmond's way in this final term. The next one will make it interesting. Back in the middle of the ground. Noel Bolter rises, wins down the tap against Toby Murray. Hand pass forward. Campbell's gone in the centre square. Drives it a full forward over the head of Hayes Brown. Fouls the Crummer, trying to gather. Desperately chasing him, Nick Murray. Spills out the way of Worrell. His hand pass almost chopped off. Laird comes back, off a support. Hand pass to Isaac Cumming. A dribbling kick to half-back. Taylor, good clean gather. Nice sidestep for the Crows. Hand pass away to Michael Annie. Takes a bounce through the middle of the ground. Runs for the Crows. Dodging and weaving. Good chase on offer, but he burns them off. And gets the hand pass away to Cook, who just takes a stationary bounce.
Tigers organised. Even the quick, fast break, they were organised behind the ball. This is much better.
Great call out. Just had nothing to kick to. Richmond well set up down the line. Adelaide trying to switch now as Dawson. Long kick to the wing. Toby Murray and Borlase both there. Borlase leaves it for Murray. Sends the kick out to Isaac Cumming. He marks 70 metres out. Looks inside the attacking arc. Long kick in the Thilthorpe direction. It's spoiled away. Nice work Broad in the cover defence and knocks it through. So it is Adelaide now who lead by 18 points. that's right. 15 minutes gone to the final term it is. Champion Data just knocking it through there. So 15 minutes gone, final term. Crows by 3 goals.
Short brings the Tigers back into play. Campbell in the midfield as he chips out to Miller, who marks in the back pocket for the Tigers. Sends it up to Trainer. Adelaide leading by 18 points. A crowd of 22,123 for a Sunday afternoon on Mother's Day at the MCG. And Campbell gets involved once more. He's in front of the Richmond interchange bench, so he comes inboard to Jaden Short.
Love to see him get bold here, Richmond. Like the Tigers of old.
All one-on-ones in front of him. Tries to lace out a pass looking for Trainer. It sat up a little too much, and Peatling he takes the mark and then caught one from Trainer in frustration that the kick was a little loose.
Peatling looks inboard, finds Michael Anning. Marks on the logo, off he trots. 3-goal lead for the Crows. Adelaide inside 50. Kicks for Taylor, he takes the mark.
Strong hands.
There's a couple of Tigers around him. He's not the tallest man on the ground, but Zach Taylor able to come up with a contested grab centre half forward.
That's a beauty. And 50 Shades bearing down. It was good enough. It just drifted late. Drifted to his advantage side late, just the flight of the ball.
It's one shade shy, Gray.
It's 49 there.
So here he is, the 23-year-old, goalless in his last 4. Big kick in the context of the game. It's not. It's a behind. Into the post. And a minor score. Adelaide by 19. 17 gone in the final term. Andrew Mays on the boundary.
Berry back on with that ankle and Rankin back on with that hamstring. So good to see him get the all clear.
Kick 3 against the Cats on a Thursday night when we saw them. Corby couldn't capitalise there. Zach Taylor and the Tigers take a deep breath. 19-point lead Adelaide's way. Trezise into Miller in the back pocket. Sends a high and long ball up the wing. Bolter tries to present. Can't take the mark. Off hands. Spills out. Sonzi can't break clear as he's tackled, and the umpire says high contact, non-officiating umpire. Free kick going the way of Tyler Sonzi. He has it at right half back against Isaac Cumming.
First contact was high. I'm okay with that. If you're going to pay the other one down the other end.
Sonzi in the direction of Tom Lynch. He's got 2 to compete against in the air as Toby Murray reaches up and spoils it out of play. Now, Deb's been in touch with me on the SMS, 0437 774 774. Says, I missed a set of brothers for the Crows, so there's 4. I didn't realise Mitchell and John Hinge are related. So Deb from South Australia. Mitch playing for the Crows at the moment. John played 1 game in 2007. My apologies.
Just for a moment there.
Hey, brothers.
Stephen Maynard was back in play. Just for a moment.
There is also correspondence saying that Rodney Maynard had a brother called Brenton who played for Norwood at the same time as Rodney was playing for the Crows.
Jeez, so close.
Always been the black sheep, Brenton.
Reluctant to encourage you, but the correspondence did come through.
A boundary throw-in. We've had 2 of them in a row. Not this time as trying to race away with the ball. The tick's caught there. Adelaide back the other way as Hopper dispossessed. And the short kick, good tackle by the way, that was our man Rankin who's back out there, and the short kick from Murray finds Pedler who marks in front of the benches.
What would you have done if the brother's name was Stephen? What would we have done?
John has actually said from Edgewater he did Google Stephen Maynard just to make sure whether he did exist or not. Apparently wears number 23 for Holland College in men's varsity football.
There you go. Pedler down to half forward, picked off by Trainer. Handball meant for Campbell, who fumbles out of play. Says spin that in, half forward for the Crows. Such a state of affairs here. Richmond led by 10 points at the half. Adelaide kicked the next 6 goals either side of three-quarter time, led by 30. Richmond have kicked the last 2. The margin's back to 19 Adelaide's way. 19 minutes gone, final term.
Crows looking to get ahead of the ledger at 5 wins and 4 losses. Hand pass comes out towards Sonzi. He runs out of space. It's Hopper's hand pass out towards the boundary line.
Little plug too, ABC AFL Daily.
Yes.
Home of your footy conversation, 5 episodes a week. ABC AFL Daily, wherever you get your podcasts, including if you commute to work tomorrow, Daniel Harford picking apart the key Sunday takeaways from each of the 9 games.
Normally alongside Ben Cameron on a Monday morning, but Corby's in the chair, so looking forward to the chemistry there.
Bit of an upgrade.
Isaac coming, hand pass to Miller, cheerio to Benny, hand pass to Isaac Rankin, spiralling kick inside 50, Thilthorpe at the back, Gray makes the spoil for the Tigers, Pedler's the crummer, front and centre, cuts on his right to just about end it. He misses to the left-hand side. It's a 20-point lead Adelaide's way. We're now time on in the final term. Richmond with 2 goals to Adelaide's 1-4 in the final term.
Kick goes straight up the pipe. Mark taken by Burton. He's going to keep it moving. Long kick for Richmond out to the wing. Skids into space. Picked up by Miller. Turnover. Adelaide back with it. Handball away to Michael Annie. Chips it down the wing. Over the head of his intended target. It's going to work out. Dilthorpe high half forward. Handball to Keys. Handball away to Neil Bullen. He's down on the 50 now. Gives a handball back to Taylor. Taylor on the run. Kicks a full forward. Curtin. A one-hander not to be. Tackled then by Sonzi. Held up. Caught. Holding the ball. Free kick Richmond.
That's it. Take them on.
The time running out. The Tigers out of defence. Down by 20.
Short takes the advantage. Gets it up to Jack Ross. He marks it right half back. There's one-on-ones further afield. Not a great kick for Tom Lynch. Nick Murray gave him a shove in the back though. There's not really much of a case to plead there, as the footy though will have to come back to Tom Lynch and allows Adelaide to get players back.
Wasn't subtle, was it?
No.
The last 5 minutes of Crows have dominated the game, really restricted Richmond's ability to move it, and also had their opportunities inside forward 50 themselves.
And they lead by 20 points, which feels enough, but one more would make it interesting. Tom Lynch sidesteps an opponent, gets to the back. Taranto trying to run onto it in the right forward pocket. Bounces it towards the goals, but hits the right goalpost. And what could have been for Tiger Tim, trying to keep his side in it. It's a 19-point lead Adelaide's way. 21.5 minutes gone, final term.
76% game time for John Hinge in that one game for the Crows.
Yep. Curtin out of the defensive 50. Miller marks defensive side of the wing. Short kick to Thilthorpe.
More than Stephen Maynard.
Thilthorpe on the 45. Inboard to Taylor. Hand pass away to Neil Bullen. How about this for a bit of transition work? Kicks to full forward. Rochelle one out in the cage. Ball hits the deck. Rochelle can't collect. Almost dragged down. Clever paddle away to Cumming. Isaac Cumming can't take it. And stolen away by Sonzi. Handball to halfback. Campbell reckless. Took the body rather than the ball. Cleans up Rochelle. Free kick for the Adelaide forward at left. Half forward.
Not sure how the Tiger faithful in front of this incident on the boundary line are actually whinging about this. He's thrown his body at Rochelle's head.
Yeah.
And then tried to get out of it because he knew he was made a mistake.
Not too many players are keen to headbutt other players' shins. So I don't know what the Tigers faithful are upset about.
His body changed direction towards the player, so he's completely lost sight of the footy or focus on it. Rochelle's drop punt is superb. How about that to Wyson? Hangs up the phone on the Tigers. And Josh Rochelle calls game. 25 points, Adelaide's lead. 23 gone in the final term. 12-14-86. Richmond 9-7-61. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Rochelle with a couple.
It was pretty heavy contact that he took there. Josh Rochelle over the footy. Knee or a shin to the head, but the finish, once he got up and dusted himself off late in the game, and you'd think the game was safe already, but if there was any doubt, well, it's removed after that finish. That's a beautiful kick of the footy.
Thoughts on the Ben Shelton hang up with the phone?
Yeah, didn't mind it.
Yeah. Well, particularly for those of us who grew up with the landline. Nice little throwback.
It doesn't make sense to the young kids.
No, my kids would look at that and have no idea what he just did.
Rochelle becomes the second multiple goal kicker for the Crows alongside Neil Bullen. Campbell out of the middle of the ground for the Tigers. His kick is intercepted and Rory Laird takes the mark for the Crows. 24 minutes gone. Adelaide by 25 points. Kicks out to Isaac Cumming, who marks it half back and work it around the boundary line. And here's Rankin. So stretched out those hamstrings, a bit of pickle juice. Good to see he has been able to finish off the game.
Been good, Rankin. Been
had
very
32
good
this afternoon behind Miller with 33. Adelaide back inside the defensive 50. Worrell can switch it. Genuflecting the mark is taken by Max Michaelani. He looks for options out to the far wing. There's not a lot of urgency for the Crows now because they can just pick off the targets and Peatley marks, although Miller dropped the easy mark. Lafau slides in, gets the hand pass away to Burton. His kick is smothered though. Well done by Nick Murray, who regathers. 1-2 with Miller at half-back for the Crows. Gets a few instructions where to go. There's not a lot of easy options. So cuts back to half-back. Hand pass to Ball Lace. And now hard against the boundary line. Laird chips it to Rankin. He marks centre wing.
Rankin looks inboard with the kick. Got it to Cook, his intended target. Continues the lateral shift to Dawson. Short kick away to Neil Bullen. He chips it through the centre square again. Peatley marks. Thought about dishing off the hand pass, does so in the end. Back to Dawson, keeps it moving, short kick. And McAndrew, the big ruckman in the corridor, marks 40 out straight in front.
If you don't mind, I'm not marking this down just yet for the big fella. It's a long way from hand to foot for the big man.
Yep. This would be number one half in the career, so now in his 11th game.
And has he missed? I reckon I've seen him have a few set shots.
He's at least 0-1 this year.
Yeah.
But they're just the ones that have registered it behind.
Pretty pessimistic build-up, you blokes.
I feel like this is the moment.
I'm on his side, just on the back of negativity from you two.
Former mid-season recruit, former SSP.
Get in.
Lock in Andrew. Caps his day with a goal.
Caught that Harford Middlemas.
He's first in the big time. Game number 11. I'm going to say never in doubt. Knocks it through. 26 gone in the final term. Adelaide by 31.
Then he's turned to the ABC commentary box and he's flipped. Oh, no, he didn't do any of that.
What was the shuffle in the walk-in? Describe this for me, Harford.
Well, see, this is why I have concerns.
I was with you until he started walking in.
You've doubled down. You're now going to critique the bloke's first goal that he slammed through.
Well, I wasn't going to bring up
absolute conviction, and you still picking it apart as to why.
He's like a cricketer that drags the back leg on the...
I wasn't going to bring up the shuffle step, but the ones Clinch did, I had to make reference.
I don't want any part of this. That was a glorious kick.
All's well that ends well for the Crows. They're now up by 31 points. Berry out of the middle of the ground. Half pass to Peatling. Dribbles a kick up towards half forward. Taylor bumps off it, but then lays the tackle on Boston. Got a hand pass to short. Can't get clear. Curtin says, come here. Holding the ball, wins a free kick back for the Crows. Adelaide have responded after being challenged at half-time. They trailed by 10 points. They put it 8 goals to 2 in the second half, including 5 goals to none in third. And Dan Curtin in his second game. He's an important contributor for the Crows. Up towards Thilthorpe. Campbell back with the flight. Didn't get full hands onto it. And Broad switches all the way back to the goal square. Richo off balance, sends it out on the full. So Thilthorpe's going to get a shot on goal here from the left forward pocket. He's going to centre it up. And the mark is taken by Ben Keys. The Stingers out of this game.
Give it to Lockie. Let's give us another look at that shuffle.
Yep. Former rugby union player, by the way, which a tall man to play rugby union.
Oof.
But apparently was a second rower.
Was he?
There you go.
Never watched the game of AFL growing up. He was a rugby union fan. His first game of footy as a 19-year-old, supposedly. Lockie McAndrew. What a story it's been to get to the AFL. Ben Keys, he's looking to put some cream on top here for the Crows as he looks to join the list of goal kickers from the left forward pocket. Couple of little small steps and steers it through. And 11, 12 individual goal kickers for the Crows as we tally it down the team sheet. And it's a 37-point lead the Crows way. 14-14, 98 to Richmond 9-7, 61. Adelaide now with 4 goals to 2 in the final term, including the last 3 goals of the match.
Is that always how Ben Keys approaches a set shot? I wasn't sure if he was trying to aerate the grass or if it's in Morse code.
Fred Flintstone.
There's a few stutter steps. No, he's been a stutterer.
Yeah, right.
Yep, he's a stutterer.
Yep, okay.
Not quite.
That seemed like a longer one, though, surely.
Might be a bit exaggerated, that leading. But he's a fine player, as we see, one of the greats of all time.
Been very good today, Keys.
Anthony Koutafidis.
37 points, Adelaide's lead in the waning moments here after trailing at half-time, having to play catch-up. It wasn't half bad from the Crows. A dominant second half showing. They tick off 1 for Mum on Mother's Day. Adelaide to 5-4.
Respected by our foes, admiration of the nation, our determination shows. We're the pride of South Australia, we're the mighty Adelaide Crows.
In the end, kicked 9 goals to 2 after the long break. Scores were level at quarter time. We'd had 5 lead changes by the early stages of the second term. Richmond led by 10 at the half. Adelaide kicked the next 6 goals to lead by as many as 30. The Tigers challenged, kicking back-to-back goals before Adelaide steadied up with the last 3. The Crows by 37 points. They've now won 4 of their last 5 here at the MCG, having not previously won at the venue since 2017. In front of just 22,000, the Crows by 37 points.
Australia, where the mighty Adelaide grows. Yes, the pride of South Australia, where the mighty Adelaide grows.
In front of 22,123 fans at the MCG. The Crows get past the 18th placed Tigers with a 37-point victory, while earlier it was the Demons by 32 points over the West Coast Eagles. The thoughts of Daniel Harford and Bob Murphy, your experts on ABC Sport.
Well, I was expecting a 50-point margin from the Adelaide Crows at the start of the game. Ends up 37. They lost their way a little bit due to some terrific play from Richmond for a period of time, particularly in that second quarter when they got the game on terms. So in the end, probably about par, just maybe subpar for Adelaide in terms of the overall experience. But I think the way they responded after half-time is what Matthew Nicks will focus on in the post-game, I reckon, in the review. This is what we were in the first half, and this is what we became in the second half. And that's who we have to be, full stop, all the time. Good teams won't allow us to just meander around from an afternoon and still be competitive. They'll put us to the sword. Richmond aren't that team just yet, but they certainly competed for the majority of the afternoon. Outside that third quarter, they showed that they are growing on the back of last week's win, that they grew a bit again today, I reckon. So Adamuzo, whilst he'd be slightly annoyed with that, no, probably really annoyed with that third quarter, in fairness. That was subpar for them. That was really disappointing. He'd be looking back saying, OK, well, take that away for a second. Are we better this week than we were last week? The answer's probably yes.
Yes. Yeah, I think the second half from the Crows today was ruthless. I think they went in at half-time, and that was the question. That's what they needed to do. That's what they needed to show. But fair play to them, they did. They were ruthless in that second half. The first half, though, they looked unsure. And I think the Tigers, they might not have the troops and they might not have the quality just yet, but they were sure of themselves in that first half, and I thought they acquitted themselves really well. They really disappeared in the third quarter, and that was the difference in the end, that the Crows just did all the damage in that third quarter. And the last quarter sort of petered out the way you might expect. But the Tigers did show a bit of heart, and they showed some resilience that maybe we haven't seen in the early parts of this year, but we did see last year. So the Tigers could definitely take something out of it today. The Crows get the right result in the end. Still that question of why couldn't you do it when the bell sounded at the start?
Yep.
Okay. That's that remains, but when they had to, they did deliver, and deliver they did.
It feels like if you were glass half full on Adelaide at the start of the day, there's probably nothing to really change your mind. You think, oh, they'll come good. And if you're glass half empty on the start of the day, you'll think, yep, you can see there's holes in them. It felt like it wasn't a day that changed your view on what you think Adelaide are going to do this year.
No, the dripping tap.
Well put.
The dripping tap is still there.
Yes.
There was nothing to change your mind.
And yet for Matthew Nicks, it's always hard when you play the side on the bottom of the ladder, because the question of who are you in 2026 is harder to answer when you're playing a team who's desperate. So unless you win by 100 points, most people are probably going to walk away saying, well, is that as good as you are? Is that as good as you can be this season? And yet Adelaide had 12 individual goal kickers. They shared the love. Alex Neil-Bullen kicked a couple. Josh Rochelle kicked a couple. Isaac Rankin spent time in the midfield. And we saw Jordan Dawson make his return, and he's certainly a handy contributor wherever he plays, whether it's across half-back, up forward, or in the midfield.
Oh, he was great. Yeah, all of those players you mentioned there, Clinchy, were all really influential, and I think you might hear a couple of those names in the votes a little bit later. But yeah, when the whips were cracking, when the game was up for grabs in the third quarter, Adelaide really did hit their straps, and Isaac Rankin was he was the jiffy firelighter for them in that third quarter, but he had a few teammates jump on board.
Toby Murray with a final quarter of what could have been 3 shots in the first sort of 3 minutes as he was able to kick his first goal in his third goal, I should say, in AFL footy, and join Lockie McAndrew, who put through his first. The Crows have gone down to thank some of their friends and family and the travelling fans who are down at the Punt Road end, and they'll make their way off the MCG in a few moments' time, and Andrew Mays will be down there to greet them in their rooms as they sing out the song and bring you some reaction. So as Corby mentioned, the Crows now move to 5 wins and 4 losses. For the Tigers, they're 1 win and 8 losses. And for Adelaide, they take on North Melbourne at the Adelaide Oval next Saturday. They've got Hawthorn and Geelong in the weeks to come. So they're going to have to be a little better than what they were today across 4 quarters.
Which is probably what they want.
Yeah.
I think the dripping tap analogy probably is more prevalent on days like today where, you know, what can they prove against the 18th ranked Tigers? Now, they've just got to show up and do it. But when they have those challenges against the higher ranked sides, I think that'll narrow their focus a bit and give them a little bit of a respite from the dripping tap of, well, it doesn't count until you get to the final. So good opportunity, I think, for the Crows when they take on some of the more fancied contenders.
It's been an overly taxing draw and from what they've had to play so far this year. I mean, Collingwood Bulldogs started like a house on fire, so we'll give them that one. They lost that game. Geelong down there was a challenge. Fremantle. Now it's been Carlton, St Kilda, Brisbane's tough, Port Adelaide, Richmond, North Melbourne next week. So this little window, they've needed to really put the foot in the gas and get ahead of the game, and they're just ahead of it at the moment.
And they've gone from, 11th spot now to 8th, and all of a sudden you look at the teams that are around. Sort of Melbourne in 7th spot, 6 and 3, they're 5 and 4. Bulldogs are 5 and 4. Collingwood are 4 and 4. St Kilda 4 and 5. Down to North Melbourne, and the Giants in 12th and 13th, 4 and 5. So you sort of look at them in that bracket and go, at their best, they're probably at the top of that bracket, but can they be more than that?
They've lost 3 games too by 8 points or less.
True.
So Port Adelaide have lost 4 games by 3 or less. 2 teams in South Australia, that's 7 close defeats for the 2 sides. The other thing to keep in mind with
But they've
Adelaide...
won 2 by a point.
Yes, so they've been on the right side of those. The other thing to keep in mind with Adelaide, and we talk about it all the time naturally, is that, the tragic events involving their captain too. So, what intangible role does that play in the background where, yes, it's something that Jordan's experiencing, but club-wide, that's a huge thing that the club's had to try and process during this period as well. So at 5 and 4, they're in the season.
They've got through the emotion and they're back on the winners list, having got the last 2 on the trot. Adelaide 14-98 to the Tigers, 9-7-61. Let's join the Crows. Andrew Mays is down there in their rooms as they make their way in, Maisie.
Hello, Clinchy, led by Jordan Dawson as well, who's picked up a couple of youngsters, and there's some excited Crows fans down here. I must say, this is pretty packed down here. This is just about as full as you get it in terms of friends and family, and Sam Berry is hugging lots of his friends who have come down as well. So a pretty content Adelaide performance here. And
any floral bouquets, mate? Any floral
but
bouquets?
I did spot that we could see some chocolates.
Right.
Could see
Here we
some
go.
post-song chocolates.
Right.
Stand by for that.
Any gerbers? No.
So I think a few mums are going to jump in this one as well, which is lovely. A few player partners, the kids are there. So it's a nice special Mother's Day. Plenty of mums, actually. And plenty of kids.
They know the words.
It's a big circle. It's a big circle.
They were going to get splashed with the sports drink there at one stage, the mums. There's 3 standing in the middle just waiting to get splashed.
Here we go. Really nice moment for all the mums, all the kids. Lots of cuddles, and we'll be back with Alex Neil-Bullen, one of the leaders, very shortly.
Thank you very much to Andrew Mays. We look forward to that. Adelaide winners by 37 points. They get ahead of the ledger, 5 wins and 4 losses, having won their last 2. A thriller in the showdown by a point over Port Adelaide, and this afternoon by 37 points over the Tigers.
That's a nice touch, isn't it? I don't know. Would Denise and Monica be the top people to jump in the song?
Oh, Denise will be there.
There wasn't 22 mums in there.
No, Nice is taking centre stage.
Monica would not have need to be asked twice. In fact, now she'll be watching that and dirty up.
It was mine.
Why did that never happen? Robbie, I'd like a word.
Nice would have been there front and centre.
Lyrics?
Sorry about
How would
that.
she have gone with the lyrics?
No, rock solid.
Multiple clubs, all good.
2 great clubs, 2
Two
very
great
well-known
Yep.
songs.
Yeah.
That was easy.
Yep.
Didn't sing it very much.
Good on the mums. They deserve their moment in the spotlight, and for the Adelaide Crows to get them into the song, it's a nice touch.
Would you prefer the bouquet of flowers or the box of chocolates?
Well, I think maybe Richmond realised the flowers at the start of the game might have been the way to go, but they probably showed more intent than what some might have feared this afternoon after their win against the Eagles last week. If you're a Richmond fan, you'd think, well, we got a little gauge into the future with some fight and passion, and Tom Lynch led the way in front of goal with 3, but Seth Campbell in the midfield in that last quarter. There's some little parts that are starting to show what Richmond might be possibly trying to build.
It's an interesting look, Richmond, and who's stepping up. I mean, look at the just purely major ball winners, right? So far today, for the afternoon. Taranto 28, Short 26. Some 2 experienced players. Jack Ross has come along nicely. He's coming along nicely. I quite like him. 26 disposals. Hopper 23. Rechko 22. The spanner is a solid young player. Floston 21. Miller down back 18. Trezise 18. Trainer 18.
What are they most in need of, Half, do you think?
They need mids.
Mids.
Give me 4 really good mids.
Yeah, okay,
I know that's not easy.
Yeah.
And they've got guys who are really good mids who are out injured at the moment, right? So it's not all doom and gloom, but you just look at that and you think, oh, okay, well, the old guys haven't done a lot of work here, a lot of heavy lifting here.
Yep. Bit single note, bit one pace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think 17 on the injury list for the Tigers. Josh Smiley has headed to Philadelphia to try to work with a reconditioning specialist to try and get his body right. So they have just had a horrible run with injuries with some of their high draft picks, and that's the sort of curiosity is we don't know what they're going to be until they can actually get out there. And like so many of the rebuilding teams, unless you get that nucleus sort of playing 30 to 50 games together, it's impossible to know how quickly or how slowly the rebuild might be.
Yeah, he's a fascinating case, Smiley, isn't he? Because from the day he got in, he's had troubles.
Mm.
He hasn't been able to get a run at it for any length of time. And he was an immense talent as a teenager, as a kid. Hence the reason they picked him up so early when they got the opportunity. But you do have to start to wonder about whether or not he'll ever be the player they thought he'll be with the hiccups he's had.
There's reports now because they're reteaching him how to kick, basically, because every time he starts kicking again, he does his quad again.
Yeah.
So now it's like rework the whole kicking action.
Yeah, that's
just not easy.
Don't hear that too often.
No.
Like, that is difficult.
Yeah.
So it's one thing to do it in the laboratory, then get out on the MCG when you got
try and do it.
Enormous pressure on you and you go, hang on, what are we doing in the lab?
Braden Maynard's on your hammer.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck,
It's tough.
I've told this story a few times. I went down to Richmond training early last year, and I was sitting with one of the Richmond staffers at the time, and I had to call a Tigers game. There were so many new kids, and they drafted 7 that year or whatever, and I was trying to work out who they all were. I pointed to one of the guys out there. I said, who is that guy? Like, he looks like an absolute demon. Sure enough, it was Josh Smiley. And they like unbelievable track work, big guy, kicks both feet, 50-plus metres, moves like the wind, good size, modern prototype midfielder. And yet, as you said, we haven't seen it for multiple weeks in a row, let alone...
Kicks no feet now.
Yeah.
Got to learn how to do it again.
It's awful. It's
it's
top
horrible.
10 pick. In his bottom age year, he was the presumptive number 1, wasn't he?
He was,
Slid to about 8, I think, where he ended up getting drafted. And, he's one of many. So 16 on the injury list. And unfortunately for Richmond, we've seen, so few of their top talent yet.
So that's the sort of Richmond dilemma, I suppose. How do you judge them when you've invested so heavily in kids and draftees, and a large portion of those? I mean, Samuel Lawler now out for 14 weeks, whatever it is. Large chunk of those we haven't seen for long periods of time. So what's your build look like? We actually don't know what the build looks like. We're working in the dark, really, trying to assess Richmond.
It's kind of like Essendon from last year, isn't it? I mean, they have, even with the Bombers last year and having that catastrophic injury list, Richmond over the last, so from 2024 onwards, have missed more games through injury than any other team.
Yeah.
So, and you look through their injury list at the moment, how about these for some types of injuries that they've got? So you're often listening here for hamstring, calves, things that are soft tissue injuries. Knee, foot, collarbone, ACL, hip, Achilles, foot, hamstring, ankle, calf, MCL, hamstring, foot, quad, groin. That's just about every injury there is. There's bone injuries, there's muscle injuries, there's strains and tears.
Yeah, that's everything.
It's not as if there's a clear line to say, why is everyone doing a hammy or whatever?
Yeah.
Adelaide winners by 37 points here at the MCG. Let's head back down to their rooms with Andrew Mays.
Alex Neil-Woodland, one of the leaders here at the Adelaide Crows, has joined us post-match. Job done, ticked. I suppose it's good to string a couple in a row, Alex.
Yeah, it's always nice getting a win, especially on the road. I thought today's game had a bit of everything. I felt like early days the Ticks were about to score a bit easier than we wanted to allow them, so we had to manage that. And then at the back end, the game opened up a bit. Richmond got a bit of momentum in the last, but really proud of our group of how we managed the late part of the game. We've been in really tight games probably the last month, so it was nice as they were coming, we were able to manage that part of the game and score a few goals while controlling the ball.
Tell us about your starts. I know it's been talked about a fair bit. I know you started really well personally today. How do you go about making them better?
It's a great question. It's something I wish they had an answer for. It's probably more around footy has always been won and lost in the contest, and without seeing any numbers, I would love to see the win-loss record within one-on-one contests early in games. Are we winning them enough? Are we not? It's certainly something the coaches address. They drive really hard. As leaders, we try to drive that message as well around your mindset. How do you start games? Be willing to step into the contest. But yeah, it probably just feels like we're not winning enough contests early, whether that be on the ground or in the air. Obviously, games swing on them. And yeah, it's something we'll continue to work on. Again, midway through the year now, or not even, and I'm just glad we're getting these lessons as we go through each week, because you see the teams who improve most throughout the year are often the teams there later in the year, and that's something we learnt last year. So yeah, really key message which is driven each week, but a lot of it's up to the players to step in the contest.
Have you talked about that much? Because last year obviously flew through the season and then disappointing finish, but then this year you seem to be hanging tough. Seem to be building, and as you said, you're learning lessons, but you are winning as well, which is always good.
Yeah, certainly, and I think probably from experience, Andrew, around you've got to understand each year is so different each and every year. No matter what you did the last year or years before, each year presents different challenges, opposition change, the game changes. So for us, we're in a mindset of developing our game, not chasing what you potentially felt 12 months ago or years before that. You've got to win in different ways, and that's why I'm so pleased today. Richmond are a young side who play on a lot of energy, and we even saw that late in the game. So for us to find a way to manage the game late compared to a few weeks earlier, in the last 3 weeks, we haven't been able to manage the last 15 minutes of a game well enough. So again, we take a step forward in that area, but there's a lot of little areas we're working on, and not overloading the players, but I think everyone sits in now, accepts that we aren't where we want to be, but we've got to go after where we want to get to.
Let's head upstairs. Daniel Harford and Bob Murphy with a few questions for you.
Alex, Bob Murphy here. Congratulations on a really solid win and your performance out there as well, mate. Just you talked about the starts, but it was a pretty lethargic first half from your Crows, but from half-time onwards, there was a really ruthless edge to it. What was the message from Matthew Nicks at half-time?
Yeah, g'day, Bob. It's one of those things when you're a part of a game where, and like I touched on it at the start of this interview, they were scoring a little bit too easy, so it does zap a lot of energy from the playing group, and we probably didn't have enough contest wins or actions that lift the group, so a lot of that is probably why we look lethargic, and as a player you acknowledged that's not where you want the game to be. We needed to stand up in certain moments, and I felt like after half-time, whether that be some direct messaging from our coaches or Dorse putting it on the players, but I felt like we stepped into the contest a little bit more and started to win those contests. So then you start to see a contest one at half back, you might chain the ball for 3 or 4 disposals, and then you get a shot on goal. So all of a sudden, everyone's feeling really good, and your game evolves from there. So although it was really good to come out in the second half and change it, it's still a challenge of ours to create more moments and contest wins earlier in the game.
And Alex, your footy club and your skippers had to navigate some really difficult times, a lot of heavy emotion. It was nice to see some family members and mums and little kids sing the song with you guys after the game. Can you take us into the atmosphere of the room and what it's like for a win on the road with everything the club's endured so far this year?
Yeah, it's the great thing about footy clubs, Bobs. It's you kind of see, how much footy means with the 23 players out there and then the group that we have at the club. But as soon as you walk into a change rooms, you see how many people have an impact on whether that be their son or family member or friends. And yeah, to see especially the Victorian lads. We have a fair few Victorian lads who play at the Crows, get an opportunity to come over here on Mother's Day and involve the families and kids. It's certainly special. And having kids around, whether you win or lose, they bring great energy. And having a kid of my own, it's one of the joys of being a dad. You come home, whether you've got a kick or not, they still put a smile on your face, which is fantastic.
Until they wake up at 2, Alex. It's Daniel Harford, mate. Congrats. Nothing worse than the 2 o'clock wake up when you're dealing with the kids. But that's fine. You've had a good win. You can move on with that. We were talking before the game about the season that you have and having and will have for the rest of the home and away season. On the back of last year, where we sort of had the feeling that
you'll qualify, probably, we think you will, for a finals campaign, but nothing really matters until you get to September. So it's a long season of sort of meandering and sitting in a space where you can't really change the perception of your footy club until and if you get to September. Is that realistic from inside the walls as well?
Oh, it's probably more so, the perception from people outside the four clubs. As you learn each and every year, there is absolutely no guarantee that you get that opportunity, and we've got to earn a right to develop our game in a state that gives us an opportunity to do that. And Nixie, ever since I walked in the club 18 months ago, one of the first things he says, and he coaches this really hard, is literally playing a week-by-week mindset, and that starts in bloody pre-season when he's talking about your time trial, and then he's like, guess what, boys, you got another one in 4 weeks, but we got another 4 weeks of training before you do that. And I was like, dear, I just want to knock this time trial off. And then 2 weeks later, you're doing a time trial, and then you understand, you've done a power of work to get to a point where you're slowly improving as a group and as a player, and then you put that into the calendar year of a footy year. You're 9 rounds in, it goes quick, but we're starting to see a little bit of momentum, little areas of our game that we're improving, but because we are literally week by week, we're not looking too far ahead around what's it going to take to change everyone's perception about us being a serious footy club. That's what the next 12 weeks are going to be for us to get an opportunity, and then, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's a largely unforgiving footy public in Adelaide with the two-team town and that type of thing, and you've lived it from a Victorian perspective, of course, in a previous life. The contrast for you personally with the criticism, the celebration, the coverage of that team, the Adelaide Crows in your town, as opposed to your time in Melbourne?
Yeah, it's a fair call. Like, the 18 months I've been there, I've probably been very fortunate. I walked into a footy club that had been through it a fair bit the last few years, and we had great success last year, so I got a great energy from the supporters and fan base in South Australia that they were really proud of the Crows. And then this year, although we weren't banking wins early on, there was still a level of optimism and a hunger and a belief within the playing group. And then, externally, it's one of those things you learn what the ears that you listen to, or the voices that you listen to, and then also understanding there's going to be times where there might be a little bit more scrutiny. But to be honest, the biggest thing I've seen is that training's in Adelaide. There's a camera there every week. We used to be at Gosh's Park here. The D's, we used to go 10 weeks without a camera. So it's one of those things you adjust to. And then the showdown, obviously, last week, you see how big it is within the state. But being a proud South Australian, I absolutely love it, and living out my childhood dream playing for the Crows here.
Alex, it's Corbin Middlemas here. No one's been able to tell me, so I thought I'd ask you. Do you know if Isaac Cumming and Sam Cumming are related?
It's a good question. I actually thought about that the other week with a bit of commentary that was getting around about the surname. I don't think so. Isaac's never said they are related, but I don't think so. No, I think he's a Clare boy, Sam Cumming, and Cheeseball's from New South Wales. So
there you go.
Could be long lost cousins. Who knows?
There you go. I think there was a Wentworth somewhere in there for Sam Cumming. So I thought maybe 2.5 hours down the road, regional New South Wales. Border towns might have been something in it, but
bit of homework for Alex.
I'll leave that.
When do we play at the G next? I'll have the answer.
I was going to say, I'll leave that with you, Alex. I'll ask you next week.
As you depart us, Alex, we were taken by Lockie McAndrew's set shot on goal. Have you seen a bit of that at training, and what was it like to see him put through his first?
It was good to see. We actually had a goal kicking comp about 8 weeks ago, and he knocked me off. So I was a bit, I shouldn't say surprised, but
we're surprised.
And then he came out. He's had a few set shots since his career started at the Crows, and it was so good to see him finally get rewarded, because he's probably someone I'd love to highlight publicly. The power of work he's doing in the mid, he's given our boys great first look at it, and he's the ultimate competitor, and you can just see his belief is building in himself. And then, we're the midfield group are benefits of his impact in the air, that's for sure.
We all thought he'd kick it anyway, so...
Graceful, Corbin.
His run-up was sort of subjective in terms of whether it was going to go through, but it was all smiles at the end.
Our man.
Alex, thanks. Good luck against North Melbourne next week, and congratulations on 2 on the hop.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Alex Neil-Borland joining us from the Adelaide Crows rooms, winners by 37 points, 14-14-98 to the Tigers, 9-7-61. The other question I could have asked him was... Isaac Rankin's GPS in terms of who has the highest GPSs for the Crows, because Neil Bullen himself covers some good territory. Jordan Dawson was at both ends of the ground at times. It would have been curious to understand as to who does cover the most kilometres for the Crows. Wayne Miller finished with 34 disposals. He had 20 uncontested possessions and 2 inside 50s, 9 score involvements, the leading for the match, while Isaac Rankin had 33 disposals, 22 uncontested possessions, had 8 score involvements and 4 clearances, including a goal. He had a little concern in that last quarter where we thought he might have been grabbing at the back of his hamstrings, where hopefully that was just a bit of cramp as he took the pickle juice from the trainers and did close out the game. So Miller and Rankin, the 2 players with over 30 disposals for the Crows, while Tim Taranto led the way with 28 and Jaden Short with 26 for the Tigers.
Yeah, they were pretty handy. I think Bob mentioned it before that they possibly could sneak in a few of those blokes into the votes a little bit later on.
All right, we can tidy up tonight if you want and give us the votes on the SMS 0437 774 774. Dom had his thoughts to yours on Richmond's midfield. I've got no doubt already that Ryan Mansell, Sam Lawler, Taj Houghton will be brilliant players for years. If Smiley can get going, we've got a lot to look forward to. Judson Clark might be a smoky as well. He's got something. That's from Dom.
Yep, I think that's absolutely relevant. We just don't know.
Yep. The Crows had a win. It's a good feeling, isn't it? 30-30 hindsight creates 2020 vision. And Rex from Port Macquarie says, "G'day, boys. Love the call and the entertainment provided by Bob and Harf for Sunday footy. Pure geniuses. And the reason I love listening to you on a Sunday." Bill in Adelaide wants to know what the free kick count was for the match.
Stand by.
Find that out for you, Bill.
Get you that.
Crows winners by 37 points, 14-14-98 to the Tigers, 9-7-61 in front of 22,123 fans.
Was that for Bill, was it?
That was for Bill.
20-18 in favour of Richmond.
Who called us geniuses?
That was from Rex.
Yeah, look, Rex, appreciate the compliments, Rex, and generally take those sort of compliments and just tuck them in the back pocket. I did get the wobbles a little bit in the third quarter just with the time at that stage. 3 minutes in, I said it was 7 in. Look, genius has many different forms, many different shades. Not 50 shades, but, Rex, I appreciate the compliment, Rex.
I don't think Rex could be disputed.
Nah. Well, I think it's
just an accurate assessment of things that are unfolding.
He calls it pretty straight, Rex. That's what he said.
Just while I'm on my man, Sam Cumming, who, of course, is in his 3rd game of footy, why is it, and we've seen coaches do this in the past, that a midfielder comes in out of the underage stuff, and I get that they're smaller guys and they haven't got the engine. The engine or the strength, I guess, of the big bodies in the midfield, but often they find themselves on the sort of in the graveyard shift, which is that half forward role, and that's where he was today, and he was spinning around having 8 disposals or whatever it turns out to be, and goes missing for large periods of the game. Have we not learned in recent years with the high draft pick guys, the guys that are top tenors and everything else, is it not better to start them on a back flank and maybe get them more involved there, like the Sheasel types, Nick Dacos even in year 1? Would you rather the first year player playing there as opposed to run? It feels like a notoriously difficult role to play, and we often give it to the kid that's straight out of school or whatever that's running around playing this incredibly difficult role at half forward.
I think it's a great shout. It's a much better opportunity for the kids to understand the game from behind the ball as opposed to in front of it, because you've got to make it happen in front of the footy. Not easy to do. That comes with experience and education and time in the game. Live it to learn it type scenarios. And kids who come in who haven't ever really, and I doubt many would really have played gun mids. That's been, they might empty the square at it from every now and then, but that's not going to happen in the AFL.
The only thing I would add is if that's where you saw the player going to end up in a matter of time. That half-forward role that just covers a lot of territory might fast-track the physical aspect of the player, just for the running capacity and running power and the intensity of that midfield role that you're going into, whereas halfback can be dictated to by the game and the opponent, and it can be a lower intensity, lower running capacity position.
Yeah, and you could possibly go through the rotation a bit easier from forward of the ball as opposed to behind the ball. Everyone talks about your back six and you lock out those guys, or 7, whatever it is. And they're the guys you use in that area of the ground. We don't see too many changes from half back to mid to forward.
Yep.
So maybe that's the genesis of that next midfield. You can do, 10% mid if you're playing forward of the ball for the first 6 weeks, then you might do 20%. You can adjust it without really affecting things behind the footy, which is clearly pretty important to teams and their structure. So maybe that's the way it is. But personally, I think your call is really good. I think talented kids need to have the chance to have their footy in their hands.
Yeah.
And let them go to work.
I mean, you look at the other side of things, guys like Archie Perkins, for example, who spent his whole life, running around on a half-forward flank after being a midfielder when he was a junior. I mean, I like what Clarkson's done. I mean, time will tell, won't it? It'll be the...
That's right, with 3 games here, we'll see bigger sample size and...
But the guys like Sheasel and McKercher, that have come straight out, gone behind the ball, found a lot of it, and now they're finding different roles, playing them up the ground a little bit more.
Sullivan.
Yeah, it just, I don't know, particularly in a young developing team. And Archie Roberts, for example, at Essendon as well, is another one getting a lot of footy now. He's a distributor. So, yeah, I don't know. I thought that watching him run around today that maybe they could have got him more involved at different times behind the footy.
Interesting. Willem Dersma attended 19 centre bounces today, and the West Coast Eagles lost to Melbourne by 32 points. So the top draft picks often get a little bit more exposure in terms of the centre square than some of those that hopefully will spend the majority of their career there. Adelaide winners by 37 points. Andrew Mays has made his way to the Richmond rooms. Maisie, what's the vibe like down there?
Clinchy, it's rooms that's pretty empty, to be honest, because of Punt Road being so close. Most of the players have left already. There's a little bit of a leadership meeting going on, so coaches and a couple of the senior players, including Tim Taranto, behind closed doors at the moment. I suppose doing the immediate review, the vibes are pretty good, to be honest. I think everyone understands the journey that the Tigers are on, so a lot of the players walked out, and there was still an upbeat atmosphere, obviously, after the success last week. So all in all, it's a pretty good vibe down here. I think they know where they're at. The only unfortunate thing is injuries along the way, and they've copped another one today, the poor old Tigers, with Tom Brown going off in the opening 2 minutes of the match. So another one to add to what is a pretty long injury list already. So fingers crossed. It's not as serious as it looked, but as we said at the time, he was straight off, dead arm, outside of that wrist, and hopefully there's nothing too serious there, but it didn't look too good after his day finished after about 90 seconds.
Thanks, Maisie. Thanks for all your work throughout the day. Excellent questions and bringing us the reaction inside the rooms. Adelaide by 37 points. Tom Lynch with 3 goals this afternoon for the Tigers, but as Maisie may mention, another injury in their crisis as they try and work out what is going on at Punt Road in terms of at least having a side to be competitive. The Tigers take on the Saints. I think we might have them next Sunday at Docklands. So all of a sudden, the Saints having lost to the Gold Coast Suns last night. A couple of injuries for the Saints. Cal Wilkie with that knee to the back from Ben King. Cy Wanganeen Miller are laid out for the Saints.
Managed.
So Saints are sort of building throughout the season, but as we saw this afternoon with the Crows, the Tigers can be dangerous if they get the game on their terms. So that will be an interesting game for us next Sunday afternoon.
I want to win that.
The votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year. Who's got the responsibility? Who got the handball today?
I'll do it today.
Good on you, Harv.
I'll do it. For all the mums out there.
Full disclosure, we were stride for stride.
No, that is true. We did it independently.
Yep.
And we had the same names. So that's a positive sign for what we saw today. 1 vote. No apologies. Oh, maybe a little apology for Lockie McAndrew with that very fluent motion.
Goal of the year.
Goal of
Tender.
the year.
Never in doubt.
He's a fine young player, and a good little shout out too from Neil Billen on him.
As a set shot, ever won goal of the year.
If we had anything to do with it,
I'm still questioning the drop leg as he comes in, but anyway.
He'd be in the running. Jordan Dawson gets 1 vote today. He was fabulous in all areas of the ground, mid, back, forward. He did it all. 29 disposals for Jordan Dawson. What do you have? 4 score involvements, 3 clearances, a goal, 7 inside 50s.
He got them going in the third quarter, didn't they?
Yeah.
10 disposals, 2 clearances and a goal in that third quarter where they needed the leader. They kicked 5 goals to none in that third term.
He was excellent, and he stood up, as you said. So he gets 1 vote, 2 votes to Wayne Miller. He's 34 disposals, led the game with 34 disposals, 16 handballs, 18 kicks, 14 handball received, real link-up player from the half-back, a connector. I call him the connector. 2 inside 50s, 9 score involvements for Wayne Miller. He was very, very good. He gets the 2 votes, and 3 votes for the guy, the fire starter. That really set things alight in the third term. He was much more than that, but he really did stamp himself on the game in that third term. 33 disposals, 10 contested, 22 uncontested, 10 uncontested marks, 10 handball receives, 8 inside 50s, 8 score involvements, 4 clearances, 1 goal, 1. Isaac Rankin is the 3-vote specialist today.
3 to Isaac Rankin, 2 to Wayne Miller, and 1 to Jordan Dawson from Daniel Harford and Bob Murphy in the ABC Footballer of the Year. As we bring an end to round 9 of the AFL, the Crows by 37 points and the Demons by 32 points at Docklands. Anywhere else we particularly want to go? If we look at the ladder, Sydney and Fremantle out in front, 8 wins and 1 loss. Hawthorn in third spot, 6 wins, 2 losses and a draw. The Brisbane Lions in fourth, 6 and 3. The Cats The Suns and the Demons are now all 6 and 3, so that's 4th all the way through to 7th. As we touched on, the Adelaide Crows moved from 11th to 8th. They're 5 wins and 4 losses. The Bulldogs 5 and 4. Collingwood half a game further back. They're 4 wins, 4 losses, and a draw in 10th spot. The Saints, they're 4 wins and 5 losses in 11th. Likewise with the Kangaroos and the Giants with their important win yesterday against the Bombers. Port Adelaide a game further back, 3 wins and 6 losses. The Eagles 2 wins and 7 losses. Then you have the Blues, the Bombers and the Tigers with 1 win and 8 losses. So a bit of a gap at the top, and those in the early stages of the top 6.
How many can win it? I think there's a clear 5, isn't there, at this stage? And you'd have to make a pretty good argument to put a 6th team in there. So the top 5, not necessarily in that order. I think you still got to beat Brisbane, Sydney, and Fremantle, and then the two.
So the Gold Coast, the one you're not convinced on yet.
And then Geelong and Hawthorn. I think and then the Suns. You've got the D's, who are thereabouts. Adelaide, if they can put it together. But it feels like that's almost a different rung at this stage of the year, isn't it?
And the Dogs, with their injury list, has made it pretty difficult for them, you'd think.
Any arguments on that?
Not too many. I will hazard, I guess, and say that there'll be something will happen within the next 15 weeks to one of those top contenders that will start to question whether or not they can win it.
Well, if something happens like what happened to the Dogs to any team,
we're still a long way from the finish line.
I'm sort of curious around the Demons, 6 wins and 3 losses. I mean, how long can Stephen King keep this side on the rise? And we touch on the Crows. That game against North Melbourne next week almost feels like a bit of an 8-point game. The Kangas in 12th spot, 4 wins and 5 losses. Adelaide have moved to 5 and 4, so they're in front of the ledger, but they need to start banking a few wins to try and start their climb.
It's a bit of an identity game, isn't it? Crows and North Melbourne. Who are they? How good are each of them?
North have made improvements since last season, but they can't take down a big scalp. Can they beat the Crows, who are not quite that at the moment?
It's kind of the perfect opponent for North Melbourne, Adelaide. That it's a side
At the Adelaide Oval.
It would be an important one. Away from home, highly talented but gettable. The Crows.
Yep.
North Melbourne, if they really set themselves for that, it'd be a good one to announce themselves to the competition as that they are on the rise, but more importantly to themselves.
Feels like their best 2 performances have arguably been in defeat. Like their game against the Giants and then their game yesterday against the Swans. But other than that, they're 4 wins, not to downplay those. They've beaten the bottom 3 and they beat Port Adelaide. So, I mean, the Carlton win was good at the time because it was before we sort of had the knowledge that we do with the Blues now, where they had to run them down and they were awful for 3 quarters. But I'm with you. It's a fun game of footy at the right time for the Kangas.
Round 10 kicks off with the Brisbane Lions hosting Geelong. So a good challenge for the Cats after their convincing win over the Magpies on Saturday night, while the Sydney Swans host the Pies, who will be without Darcy Moore through concussion. So Collingwood have got their challenges. It doesn't get much easier against the Swans on a Friday night.
A real watch, I reckon, the Magpies.
D's and the Hawks on Saturday in the twilight is the other one of interest.
Dig into that a little bit for me.
Well, I came into the season not expecting a hell of a lot, I must admit. I thought it was going to drop pretty quickly for Collingwood. They've surprised me. It's been on defence and pressure. That's got them to where they are at the moment. That's a tough brand of footy to play for 24 weeks. So I just think I think they lack quality and class through the ground, through all over the ground. They've got some absolute megastars, don't get me wrong. But I think they lack overall class. And I'm just not sure that's going to get them too deep. So I just reckon they're a real watch.
Alex Neil-Bullen's comments were interesting, weren't they, where he spoke about, we found the teams that keep improving as the year goes on, and sort of you can clearly tell that that's, one, something they've looked into and researched, but 2, it's something they're clearly telling them that's getting around that, hey, we don't have to be red hot at this stage of the year, but if we keep building slowly, and we saw that with Collingwood last year. I think the only top 8 team that they beat since winter hit, so from June onwards, was Adelaide in that qualifying final. Apart from that, didn't beat a single top 8 side. So they started hot last year and they fell away. Yes, they were in front at halftime in a prelim, but they didn't have too many sort of big scalps on the run home back into last year, let alone start of this year.
Yep, they're a watch. I mean, they've got great emotional reasons to be up and about, and no bigger in 2 weeks' time when Pendlebury breaks the record.
So have you got them? Are you saying you're worried they'll even miss the wildcard spots?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yep. Yep, I've got a real watch on them. In fact, my prediction pre-season was they miss wildcard. I don't see that
Yeah,
changing.
I think I might have had them 10th or 11th, right around that mark.
Yep.
So what are they? 10th at the moment.
Bubble team.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, they're a great team. I'd love to break for Collingwood because they just give you everything. And the way they play, it's all effort and desire and emotion, and they do it better than anyone. But the longer the season goes, the class has to come in.
Just a lot of our audience just winced then. Love to barrack for Collingwood.
Well, I used to as a young fellow.
Oh, you were a pie, were you?
I was a Collingwood supporter. It was great fun.
Another piece of the puzzle slots into place.
They've got some concerns around their forward line. Collingwood with Dan McStay trying to present there. Jack Buller as the young and upcoming, trying to fill the shoes of Brodie Myercheck and Mason Cox, who went across to Perth. And their small forwards aren't contributing in the ways that they would hope. Jamie Elliott's not getting the delivery inside 50 or the one-on-one matchups. Lockie Schultz is playing higher up the ground, and they're just so reliant on their pressure. And I guess the other side you compare them to, who's just in front of them on the ladder, is the Western Bulldogs, who are trying to just withstand until they can get some troops back. And Marcus Bontempelli playing on one leg, but they get the crucial win against Port Adelaide, and they try and build and hope that the reinforcements get back before the season has slipped too far.
Yeah, well, the Bulldogs watch for a different reason.
Getting close to Sir Marcus Bontempelli sort of area. Not my call to make.
Could be. You're part of the Hall of
He's
Fame.
been the top 3 ranked players in the ground 7 of the 9 games he's played this year.
I think if you had that big recliner in the middle of the MCG and you knighted him, there wouldn't be too many Bulldogs who would fight against you.
Look, I just think King Charles has got a lot on his plate at the moment, but it's something to consider.
I mean, look at Magpies. Look at their midfield. Outside Dacos, Penrith playing that sort of high half sort of role. To go, he's been spasmodic. He's not getting a lot of support. And then you got Moore and Howe is still... Are they going to stand the test of time for this season? They've shown a capacity to miss lots of games throughout the season, certainly in the last little bit.
And the problem is when one of them's out, their whole team looks out of whack. So everyone has to play a slightly different role to try and compensate. And the pressure which Craig McRae's sides are so reliant on is just not there to do it across the ground. It seems like Geelong can score it well, and Collingwood kicked 6 behinds in the third quarter, so they couldn't get their opportunities to count. But they had more inside 50s against Geelong than they did the week before against the Hawks, and they didn't look nearly as good a side as they did against Hawthorn.
Yeah, they could have shot the lights out against the Hawks and got half the reward for it. Probably should have got the full reward for it in that game. Hawthorn obviously coming back late to draw it, but Collingwood with a better team by a long way. And then on last night, despite the fact that they had lots of looks, they never looked like it, really, the way they used the ball.
No, they did well to hang in there, really. It was a 10-point lead at half-time the Cats' way, and they took control from that point onwards, 11 goals to 4 in the second half. The ABC AFL podcast's coming out with Corbin Middlemas and Daniel Harford. You can catch on your way into work on a Monday, so they'll bring you all the topics and themes from the weekend's footy.
ABC AFL Daily, place to find it, 5 episodes a week. So drive to work, Clinchy, perfect plug. Wherever you get your podcasts, you can pick that up tomorrow. Bob Murphy on a Tuesday.
Yeah, on a Tuesday. Oh, it's just been a revolution, this podcast series this year. Sunday nights, in particular, I've got to say. We do our best on a Tuesday, Corbin.
Yep.
You guys on a Sunday night.
No, the tone is set early in the week.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. We just jump on board on a Tuesday on the coattails.
It's like coming in after Bradman.
Yeah. We just the ball's just battered and the bowlers are just limping in.
Just some quick VFL details out of today. The Bombers had a big win against GWS. Obviously, Ben Mackay played. So he went at 93% disposal efficiency, had it 15 times, took 5 marks, had 7 intercepts. So running around in the Scoobies. And then Elijah Sardis had 34, kicked a goal, and Jade Gresham kicked 4. So that's a little VFL game of the day with the Bombers winning there over the Giants.
I did see Paul Amy on X as well reported, very good VFL journalist, that Alex Tarue had been involved in an incident involving Ben Stevenson. So given the concerns potentially for St Kilda with Cal Wilkie, if he doesn't get up, he's played 164 consecutive games behind Jack Crisp, but he would be one that might be keen to put his hand up. Toby Trevally has been playing in the VFL as well, so Tarue will be a little bit nervous to see what might happen there in the VFL as St Kilda played Sandy.
Yeah,
the old
right.
Lion
The
clubs
Trevor
this
Barker Cup.
afternoon. That was, yep. So a good occasion for them this afternoon. We can catch Bob Murphy, of course, on ABC 774 Radio Melbourne tomorrow alongside Rochelle Hunt when the alarm goes off at what time, Bob?
3:30.
Whew.
Yep. 3:30.
In the threes?
Yeah, it's in the threes. It's a shock every time. Every time.
That's not in the morning. That's the middle of the
That's
night.
when it's
Yeah,
middle of the
that's
night
right,
while you're sleeping.
It's not early. It's late Sunday.
Yeah, correct.
It's not early Monday.
Time for you to go to bed, Bob. Thank you for your company this afternoon. Thank you, Harf.
Thank you, Matthew.
Thanks, boys.
And thank you to Corbin Middlemas.
Thanks, Clinchy.
Rare company on
What
Sunday
company?
afternoon. And Ben Cameron, he might have to come back through the Scooby Magoos, having spent Mother's Day with his partner Alice and, of course, his family as well. So cheerio to Benny. Thank you to Jules McKenzie at the back of the box. Thanks to Andrew Mays on the boundary and to Jules Hayes back at base. Don't forget the ABC AFL podcast, taking you through all the details. Offside us this morning on ABC iView. And it was St Kilda who got the points over Sandy in the VFL this afternoon. The Crows winners by 37 points. The Demons too strong for the West Coast Eagles by 32. Thanks for your company for round 9 of the AFL. It's good night from the ABC Sport team.